QC Kinetics can get you there. You can have real lasting relief from chronic joint pain without drugs, without surgery, and without downtime. Discover your options with advanced regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics. The consultation is absolutely free. This is an all-natural approach that harnesses your own body's healing properties to treat the root cause of your arthritis pain. So call QC Kinetics today, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. QC Kinetics off 435 in State Line and in Gladstone. It's QC Kinetics, 816-412-6299. Call QC Kinetics today.
Chiefs coverage brought to you by Andy's Frozen Custard. Visit eatandys.com to find the location nearest you. Top your day with a smile.
Let me tell you about my good friend Andy from Andy's Frozen Custard. He's from Kansas City, never misses a game, and serves the world's finest frozen custard. Tailgate with a pick six, or grab a freshly made custom treat before or after a game. And tell him Mitch and Andy sent you.
Join 96.5 The Fan and Bud Light for the Fans Football Show with Mitchell Schwartz or Sean Barber and Jay Binkley every Friday this football season starting at 6 at participating Buffalo Wild Wings locations. Enjoy $5 talls, prizes, and Chiefs gear. For a list of locations, go to 965thefan.com. Listen to the Chiefs and Bucks game on Monday with pregame starting at 4. Kickoff at 7:15 with Mitch, Dana, and Kling right here on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan, KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, and Odyssey Sports Station.
All right, here we go on a Monday game day in Kansas City. It's Cody and Gold, Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you. You guys can always interact with us, 913-586-7965. That is the Jay's Southland Tow Service text line. You're gone for a couple days. Would you do some baking, or you stealing all the Halloween candy from your kids? What, you were gone Thursday and Friday? Were you out trick-or-treating? What was going on?
I was not. I mean, I took my kids trick-or-treating. But all good. Outside of that, they got my kids. I don't think fully understand how trick or treating work. The name of the game is acquire as much candy as humanly possible. About halfway through, my son's like, "This bag feels pretty full. I think I'm good." He was done.
All right.
And then he also asked, he's like, "Hey, I got a lot of candy. Can I just start giving them candy at the door?" Like he wanted to reverse.
That would be
roles.
interesting. Hand them the candy.
That's not really how it works either. And then my daughter got offered from one house. They said, "Hey, just take like 5, 6, 7 pieces, whatever you want.
Yeah.
Plenty of candy." They're like, "Get in there." And she said, "One's fine." And just took one, put it in her bag, and then moved on. I'm like, I don't think you get you could have so much more candy.
Does she know she's eating into mom and dad's candy allotment too? Because you're going to take a few of those. You might want to actually grab 5 or 6 because I'm taking some as well.
Get in there.
Did you sort through? Did you get a couple for yourself? Were you able to go through the bag?
I'll just take stuff out of a bag every once in a while. Nothing crazy. My kids are not organizers of their candy.
Okay,
they
so
can't
you're still
get through.
digging through.
The whole Tapp family can't get through the amount of candy they got. I mean, some of that's just going to the dump. Like, we're not getting through that amount of candy.
Bring some to work. Bring some to work.
That's fine. But, I mean, there's just no way we're getting through that amount. It's a crazy amount. It's like 2 gigantic bags full.
Good to have you. Good to have you back. It is a game day in Kansas City. Going to be rainy throughout the day, off and on. It looks like going to be thunderstorms during tailgating for a lot of you that are heading out there to tailgate.
Sloppy game tonight.
Going to be a little sloppy. It sounds like it'll clear out during most of the game, but it's obviously going to be somewhat of a factor. Could be a wet track, as the broadcasters love to say during the game. And so, of course, the game tonight right here on 96.5 The Fan. Pre-game coverage with Mitch Holthus, Dan Israel, Dane Hughes, Josh Klingler begins at 4 o'clock right here on 96.5 The Fan. What do you make of the Bucs? Let's just start right there, and I'll ask you guys on the text line too, because it's a Bucs team that was definitely scarier 3 weeks ago when they had a healthy Chris Godwin and a healthy Mike Evans, but they've still been scoring.
They got fight.
They've still been scoring. Baker Mayfield, give him credit, right? He continues. He has a brand new offensive coordinator this year. Now he's down a couple wide receivers, and they still put up points even in their loss last week to the Atlanta Falcons. They lose 31-26. They still, it was not an offense that couldn't do anything. They still put up 26 points in that game against the Falcons team that is in first place in the NFC South. Baker Mayfield still threw for 330 and 3 touchdowns. So it's an offense that can still score. My question for them is going to be, are the Chiefs going to be able to have one of those games where they just control it and run the ball throughout the entire contest? I know we want to see the wide receiver combination of Mahomes and Hopkins. We can get to that in a second, but
Definitely
this is a Bucs defense that yards per carry, at least, give it up. Yards per carry, they are tied for the worst in football. Over 5.6, I believe when I looked it up. 5.6 or so yards per carry is what they give up. This feels like a heavy Kareem Hunt type of game. Once again, 23 plus carries from him.
I think that I would expect some of that. Look, I think the Bucs are a good team. Decent defense. Baker Mayfield continues to play at a really high level. He's proven that he deserves to be a starting quarterback in the NFL, all those things. The problem with fearing them is not just that Kansas City's undefeated, but that as the season goes on, Kansas City's resume, like if you look at it from like a college football perspective, is beating a whole lot of teams a lot better than them. Okay? A lot better than Tampa Bay is as it currently sits. Baltimore is the 3rd seed right now, or 4th seed, depending on the tiebreaker between the Texans. In the AFC, Cincinnati's a game back of 500. Atlanta's in first place in their division. The Chargers would be in a playoff spot if it started right now. Like the 5th seed, they'd be like firmly in a playoff spot. San Francisco's only a game back in their division. I mean, like for the most part, their resume's pretty good. I think the Bucs can get you if you let Baker Mayfield pick on your corners. And I'll be honest, for as much as we've talked about this in the trade deadline being tomorrow, it would be concerning if Baker got to take advantage of you tonight. With the cast of crew he's got to throw to, because I know it'll be a heavy dose of Cade Otton. That's fine.
That's every tight end.
Yeah, every tight end's got their numbers against Kansas City, so be it. But do the wide receivers take advantage of Kansas City's corners because the depth has been tested and Najee Johnson left injured and Joshua Williams struggled a little bit? That would be the bigger concern for me.
Yeah, and I know the secondary looks a little bit different right now, Najee Johnson being out on top of the Jalen Watson injury. But this is still a team that against number 1 wide receivers, and honestly, the Bucs don't have one. Like, they have a receiver that was technically their number 1 tonight, but they don't have one right now because of the injuries. The Chiefs have shut down number 1. So do I think, is Jalen McMillan going to get after them? Is Trey Palmer, Sterling Shepard, I believe? I believe those are the 3 receivers that really we're talking about. I don't. And I don't care. I've said it throughout the last month and a half. Tight ends, I do not care what Cade Otton does tonight. I did not care what Brock Bowers did. We didn't care what George Kittle did. They can get all the yards they want. It's good for your fantasy football team. It's good if you want to bet the over on Cade Otton tonight. 53.5 yards. Keeps getting bet up, by the way, because the Chiefs give up about 80 yards to a tight end every week. Who cares? Who cares? Big plays, keep them out of the end zone, as long as you're not giving up 2 touchdowns to the tight end in the red zone, as long as you're not letting Bucky Irving run all over you. And, well, the Chiefs have one of the best rush defenses, as we know, in football. I'm really not that concerned. With that said, it's still a Chiefs game. I don't think they're winning by 20 points or anything. They're 9.5-point favorites. But this will be very similar, I think, to the last Monday Night Football game they played against the New Orleans Saints. It's a better Bucs team, but I could still see with the weapons that don't exist right now for Tampa, I could still see this being a fairly comfortable game where the Chiefs where the Chiefs put up 26, 28 points, and the Bucs struggle to get out of the teens. Like I think that's going to be the type of game it is tonight, knowing that the weather also could play a role in slowing this thing down.
I just don't think you can look at the Bucs and what they were at any one point and call them like Washington is a win they've gotten. They won at Detroit. Like, I mean, they won against Philadelphia. Like, they have beaten some good teams. Their resume is impressive as hell, but
they had a healthy Godwin and Evans.
They were still managed to put up, as you mentioned, 31 points on Baltimore. I still think they'll get some points tonight, but I think the biggest problem that they're going to have is they've been regularly scoring actually better than Kansas City on the season and better than Kansas City over the last month. Their biggest problem is they've been doing that via the rushing attack. They have been doing that versus Rachaad White, the local kid, by the way. Great story up at the Star of how he grew up 5 minutes from the stadium but never got to actually go to Arrowhead because he couldn't afford a ticket.
I think he was there this summer back in town for a camp, if I might. I believe that we got an email about that.
But didn't ever actually get to go to Arrowhead to watch the Chiefs play because he couldn't afford the ticket. Now he's going to get to play against the Chiefs. But if your offense is built around the play action, run game, Bucky Irving and Rachaad White, unless you're going to be the first offense this entire year to run the ball successfully against Kansas City, how are you getting enough points to do it? Look, they've lost 2 in a row, but they've averaged 29 points a game in those. They scored 50 the week before that, 30 the week before that. They're scoring 35 points a game over their last 4. I definitely think they're capable of scoring. The problem is it's the way that they score. The most interesting thing tonight for me is DeAndre Hopkins, because that tells me where Kansas City is. DeAndre Hopkins, so like the whole undefeated conversation that we're saving until after the Bills game. If DeAndre Hopkins is the goods, well, then that's how they get there. Because if you made me guess right now, are the Chiefs going undefeated? I'd say no. I don't think it's an unreasonable stance. I'm sure that I'll be called a hater.
How dare you?
Or whatever.
Yeah.
If you made me guess right now, I would not say the Chiefs are going to go undefeated. And part of that is because I still think that they've gone through 2 reinventions of their offense and might be facing down the barrel of a third. So I have high expectations for DeAndre Hopkins tonight. I want to see his role grow. I want him to prove that he's the number 1 wide receiver in this offense. He can still be weapon number 2 behind Travis Kelce. But this has got to be a big day for DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, look, so I mean,
not big, not 130 yards and a touchdown.
Look, I mean,
improvement.
Definitely would love to see him on the stage tonight to go out there and have 5 or 6 catches and 70+ yards. That would be fantastic. But I don't think the performance tonight, if you tell me he has 3 catches for 50, if it changes my view on what he can be in this offense. It still is just game 2. I think we're all expecting an uptick. He had, 28 snaps, something like that. Played a little bit more than we thought he would even against the Raiders out in Vegas and just had 2 catches. But the 2 catches he had were, you just use the word like show that he's the goods. I already know he's the goods. I'm not worried about it. I already know that. You know?
Feel very confident.
Yeah, I already know that. I mean, he had 1,000 yards last year. I don't think he just fell off a cliff. I mean, I'm not worried. He had 2 catches that we haven't seen in this offense, just in terms of, route running and the hands, right? The lack of drops that we've seen throughout his entire career. I already know he's the goods when it comes to that. I want to see an uptick in production, but I don't think that will dictate whether the Chiefs, win tonight or not, or anything like that. What I think tonight could change my thought on, like, if we get here tomorrow morning, whether the Chiefs win or not by 10 or they lose, whatever, would be how does the secondary perform? Does that impact tomorrow's trade deadline? We'll get to some reports at 10:30 from Diana Rossini here in 20 minutes. But does tonight's performance in any way, whether it's positive, negative, whatever, does that impact what we think the Chiefs will or should do before tomorrow's 3 o'clock deadline?
It's hard because it's a good passing attack, but with no good weapons left in it. So,
but that's the
maybe?
thing. If they somehow, out of nowhere, if Jalen McMillan or whatever somehow cooks you does that change your view if it's a rough go for a Josh Williams tonight?
Well, I will say,
like
if I were the Buccaneers, if I were going into this and I were Todd Bowles, and they just said, "Hey, Cody, you've watched the Chiefs maybe even more than us." Not true, but you've watched the Chiefs so much this year. How do we win this game? In what way do we control it? And my answer would be pass. I'd say test the secondary, because you're not going to win it doing it the way you've been winning. You have to adjust to your opponent sometimes. I know teams hate that. Teams hate to admit that. They're like, "No, we do what we do." You're going to lose. I'll tell you right now, Bucks, if you try to go into this game running the way you run and think that's the path to victory tonight, it isn't. That's not going to get you there. If you're actually trying to beat Kansas City tonight, you should test their corners. You should test their corners deep and in the middle of the field and all these other areas, because we have questions, but they haven't had to be tested because the pass rush has been really good and the run defense has been the best in the league. So nobody's had to put them to the test. Nobody's done that effectively really this year, except for maybe in the early when, like the Ravens in week 1 feels like a million years ago. Maybe that. So, I would say air it out. But my guess is that teams will come in and they'll try to run against Kansas City, which will get you nowhere but behind the sticks and down in the game.
The first drive is so telling to me, because we know where the Chiefs can be had sometimes defensively is the first drive. So if the Bucs on their first drive do not march down the field, then
you're in trouble.
Then I know it's going to be a long night for Tampa, because the one thing that teams have done against this defense that's been so good is the first 15 scripted plays against them, and then Spags adjust, and then good luck. But if the Bucs can't go down the field on their first drive and get points, and I'll say a touchdown for the matter, for the sake of this conversation,
field goal's kind of a loss for them.
Then I think they're done. I know it's oversimplifying, but truly, if you can't get them when they're most vulnerable and other teams have, then you have no chance to win this game tonight. I really think the first drive is. A lot of people would disagree with me, but the first drive is very telling for me tonight. If the Bucs cannot score on their first drive, then why do I think it's going to get any better than them for them the rest of the night? Usually the adjustments come and teams get into some real tough spots offensively. And so you got to get him on the first drive.
I know we're going to talk about the Michael Wacha deal here in just a minute, but there are like 10 texts talking about what happened with you and Bink last week.
Well, you
the
were
hell's going on here?
You missed a lot.
There are like 10 texts that said the show got really horny. There's a lot of accusations over the text line between what took place while I was gone.
You were gone Thursday and Friday, and Bink turned it up a notch, man. He turned it up a notch. There's probably
he was attacking Vern?
5 new drops in the system. Some people really liked it. There were some people that were very upset with Bink. We had a listener on Friday say, Bink, you need to calm down. Brought him in some alcohol, which I think had the reverse effect. So there was a lot going on. I mean, you haven't heard? I mean, I don't want to play all 5 drops.
Can you just give me like a taste, like just one?
Let's see, Drew. What do you think's the best one? You know?
I almost forget what happened last week.
I literally pissed my pants and forgot who the hell I am for the last 3 days.
That was a good one.
What was in that reference to?
I don't remember.
I don't either.
That and then he went after Vern. It was an interesting time.
Vern went around here for the longest time being a loser. He's lost all his damn hair too, by the way, because of marriage.
He told Drew he was talking about getting divorced, and Drew said, "I'm married, Bink," and Bink said, "Well, for now you are." So then people wanted Bink to apologize to Drew for basically saying his marriage is going to end in divorce. It was a mess.
Somebody texted in and said,
hell did I miss?
Somebody said Bink was talking to somebody on the apps, and that's no longer happening because she was their best friend, and it's over because she did not like the way that Bink was, I guess, acting.
Yeah, we had a snitch line on Thursday.
Oh, yeah.
Bink snitched on us. He's blaming our show for him, his relationship being over. He blamed our cameras. He wanted to know who set the cameras up. He was mad at you because
Wait, what was the cameras?
Because one day he was chewing on camera, and apparently the lady he was talking to, he didn't tell her he chewed, and so he was mad at us. We said, "Hey, Bink, you lied to her. That's why she broke up with you." It was the whole thing. Then he was making log jokes about the tobacco logs.
Somebody said Bink really, really, really hates Halloween, it turns out.
There was a lot. Yeah, he said it's just like Valentine's Day now. It's more about couples than kids. It was an interesting 2 days when you were gone while he filled in for you. Mm-hmm.
I will, I did see a lot of people complaining that, like, Halloween's not the same anymore. Like, trunk or treats have somehow ruined it. I don't know. It seemed like there were plenty of houses that were handing out candy.
Yeah, it's an additional thing. It doesn't ruin the actual trick or treat. It's an additional thing. The trunk or treat. In fact, it's a chance to get more candy if you're a kid.
Yeah, this was a win across the board. You could slowly spread out the candy getting over the course of time.
But
it sounded like it was an interesting. I might have to go back and listen to those shows.
Yeah,
Sounds like
there were definitely some moments, Drew. That's a good way to describe it. Meanwhile, over the weekend, got some surprising news. Maybe not as surprising if you listened to the show Friday, and that was in regards to the Royals and their announcement that they're bringing back Michael Wacha on a new 3-year deal. We know he had an option to opt out if he wanted to, could get more money on the open market. When we had J.J. Piccolo on weeks back, he was confident that they could get something done. That, they knew Michael Wacha liked his time in Kansas City and that his family liked being in Kansas City. They felt confident. We played you the audio on Friday when George Brett was on the morning show with Fesco and Dusty. And George Brett, then that was on Friday, was like, I think he's coming back. Well, he knew something. and here we are. Yesterday, the announcement that Michael Wacha is back on a 3-year, $51 million contract. Those numbers coming from Jeff Passan. The deal also includes another club option that could max out 4 years, $72 million.
With $1 million buyout to just say go away.
Here's where I'm out on the money real quick.
It's cheap.
They gave him an additional year that maybe another team wouldn't have to make him stay. Maybe that's true. But we had this very conversation a year ago when they handed out deals to Lugo and Wacha, and like, in a year or so that might be, that may not look good. Doesn't matter. They both performed at a high enough level. You're on a team now that just made the postseason. You're building off of that. You saw what this team is capable of doing. I'm not worried about what the third year when he's making $18 million or whatever in the third year is going to be. I'm not concerned about that. This was about making sure that this rotation stays strong heading into next season, and it gives you some flexibility with what you can do with the rest. Because now you know that you have Seth Lugo, Cole Reagans, and Michael Wacha, 1, 2, 3, and as net for now, Brady Singer 4. Okay, I feel pretty good about that again.
I mean, that worked last time.
It did, and even if you think there's regression coming, and there's, I think, a conversation to be had that there will be a little regression, perhaps from Lugo or Wacha, although I think Wacha has kind of shown us we know what he is. Then you're looking at your fifth spot as multiple options now. Like, you're not trying to have you're not trying to figure out a fourth and a fifth. You're trying to figure out just your fifth starter, and you've got some candidates. Do you have
Bubich and Marsh and a million others?
Yeah, there's a lot of options there. So I'm thrilled Michael Wacha is back.
I actually think that the thing I like about this is that it strengthens the bullpen for all the names we just mentioned. Daniel Lynch really worked well in the bullpen. Chris Bubich really worked well in the bullpen. From a financial end, it's pretty much peanuts. It doesn't even make him a top 50 paid pitcher, starting pitcher in Major League Baseball, right? I mean, $14 million a year by baseball standards is nothing. That's what they were paying Gil Mesh 20 years ago. So, yeah, the number itself. The only question I have is, does Michael Wacha have 3 middle rotation years left in the arm? Right.
That's what I told you. We had this conversation. Does he have 2 left? There was a lot of people when they signed him last year that said, "Oh, in year 2, you may not want to be paying him $16 million or whatever because he's gonna be getting old." And now we were all dying for him to come back. So I get that he'll be obviously 3 years older in 3 years. But that year, I'm willing to stomach what that might look like in 2 years, Cody, or 3 years, because of what I just saw him do last year and because of where this organization is at.
Michael Wacha had 3 bad years in the middle of his run, from 27 to 29, typically when starters are kind of dominating. He had a 4.76 ERA when he made 29 starts for St. Louis in his final year there. Rough year. He then got hurt, only pitched 7 starts and had a 6.5 ERA. He came back the year after injury and had a 5-point ERA. In the 3 years since, at age 30, 31, and 32, he has posted nearly identical numbers in each of those 3 years for 3 different major league teams: Boston, the Padres, and the Royals. 3.32, 3.22, 3.35 ERA, 23, 24, 27 starts, 102. I mean, they're
you know what you're getting.
Identical. He is a middle-of-the-road starter. I will pay for a middle-of-the-road starter because they know. I think what people are missing in this is the Reagans, Lugo, Singer, Wacha thing. You're right. The reason why it's important that the Royals do that to maintain their winning is they know, and you and I know, they need 2 to 3 years to buy their time to have their pitching development so that they can replace these guys.
Yep.
The system isn't there yet. The reason why they're paying this price is because the system is not capable of backfilling a Michael Wacha yet. They got to buy themselves a few years. That's what they did. They got maybe 2 years on Lugo if he picks up his option, 3 years on Wacha. They've got Cole Reagan's under control for another 4. Now there's some arbitration here, but under control for another 4. Brady Singer's got 2-3 years left of control. He's arbitration. Same thing. They could technically just keep the whole rotation together for years and buy themselves time to turn into the Rays of pitching development. They need time to do that.
And the other thing is, we know they were really healthy in the rotation a year ago. Not something that usually is going to happen consistently. Wacha, actually, ironically enough, was the only starter, right? Like out of the 1, 2, 3 here we're talking about, that actually ended up on IL for a little bit last year. Brief stint. But Michael Wacha
still made 29 starts.
And still made 29 starts. I bring up the health for one reason, that there's also a good chance next year that you don't stay as healthy in the rotation as you did a year ago. And so by bringing back Wacha, it means that you mentioned depth. It means that you're not trying to potentially fill 2 spots. If one guy goes down, then you're talking about the grouping of, Bubich, Wright, or Lynch, or if there's another veteran they go out and sign, or whoever, right? It's easier to cover for an injury than if all of a sudden you didn't bring back Wacha, Singer's your 3, then you're needing Kyle Wright to be your 4 or 5, or Bubich, or again, they could go
or a
out
different free agent.
Yeah, so this just gives them some more depth. Not only does it make 1 through 4 better, assuming Brady Singer, and we'll talk about him later, is still on this team. I think it does give them some options now with Brady Singer by making sure Walker's back. They have some flexibility with what they can do if the right situation were to arise in the offseason.
This is where it's hard. Like, if you're a Royals fan, how could you complain about this? The Royals, for an entire calendar year, had a top 3 rotation in all of baseball, and all they did was bring them all back. Like, that's rare in baseball. Typically, someone's got to go. Now, look, again, we can get back to Singer in a minute. Maybe something changes, but Lugo's back, Reagan's back, currently Singer's on. Like, they're all back. Wacha was the guy who is kind of that weird keystone piece where he's not the best starter.
No, but he was their. You know what though? Post All-Star break, he was their best starter post All-Star break.
He was never over a calendar year, whatever. He's never but he is solid as a rock. Something you just have to have in every qualified major league rotation. That's going to be there. So immediately, I just assume that if this is what the rotation is going into next year, well, it's a playoff team. Like, I mean, even if some of them underperform a little, Gold, they're not all going to fall off the map. And then all they need is, I don't know, the bullpen to be a little bit better or the offense to be a little bit better to cover the gap for the rotation being slightly worse. That's it. That's all we're talking about. And when you add back in these pieces, the bullpen is strengthened. Because then you can just, I would say, I mean, I'll be honest. At this point, I'd borderline, I don't care which one. Bubich or Daniel Lynch should be full-time bullpen arms from the start of day one. Weaponize them from day one as maybe high-level, high-leverage bullpen arms. Because they were that for this team in the middle of a playoff hunt, and they continued to, not during the playoffs, they weren't that during the playoffs, but I didn't think they wanted to toss them or throw them to the Wolves in that situation versus rely on the 2 or 3 guys that had gotten them there.
Josh Vernier, our Royals insider, going to join us coming up at 11 o'clock. He's actually listening to the press conference or at the press conference right now. Michael Wacha talking to some of the media about signing this 3-year deal with Kansas City. I saw John Morosi, who was on MLB Hot Stove over the weekend as well. He said, quote, "I'm not sure how many teams can look at their rotation and have 3 better pitchers than what the Royals have. Some very good building blocks." That was his reaction to Michael Wacha coming back on a 3-year deal. And as we mentioned when we had JJ Picola on the show a couple weeks ago, this was their top priority in the offseason. And they went out, they felt confident they could get it done, and they did. Like that, I think that once again says a lot about this current front office, says a lot about John Sherman willing to go to that. Now, does it mean that they're going to still spend a bunch of money the rest of the offseason? I have no idea. They also have some guys that are getting automatic raises as well. But Michael Wacha, it clearly wasn't, just something he was saying to the media at the end of the season. Him and his family clearly liked their time in Kansas City. We say that all the time. We're obviously biased. We both grew up here. But, man, there's so many – I don't care if it's the NFL or baseball.
Borderline a record number of athletes who say that.
If you have a family – I think the key part, too. Like, if you have kids in a family –
And you're like a normal person, right? You don't want the attention. You're just like kind of a run-of-the-mill dude. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no,
you're not looking for the limelight in L.A. You're just like a regular dude.
I mean, we can give so many examples of guys that are not from here that signed a contract with the Royals or Chiefs at some point in their career that – have, either had their kids while they were here or already had kids and moved here, and they're like, wow, this is like, I can give you a recent, Drew Tranquil, same deal, linebacker for the Chiefs. He loves Kansas City. Him and his wife love Kansas City. They're not from here. Obviously, he was in L.A. before. I think Michael Wacha fits it. There's countless examples of players that, are pleasantly surprised with Kansas City, and everybody agrees it's a great place to raise your family. And Michael Wacha obviously feels the same. Not to mention, the money doesn't hurt. He's getting a little more money, too, than what he was scheduled to get on the initial option.
Well, that's how that works. Got to give the man a raise so he doesn't go tempt free agency.
That's right. Yeah, they make sure he doesn't hit the open market. We'll talk more about this with Vern at 11 o'clock. Up next, though, what could happen with the trade deadline for the Chiefs? Who else could be coming to Kansas City? On the football side of things, there's a report out there about who the Chiefs could be targeting. We'll tell you who that is next.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
We hear a lot from our patients after we've successfully treated their erectile dysfunction. But one thing we hear the most is, why didn't I get treated sooner? This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health. And if you're suffering with ED and all the emotional and relationship problems it causes, don't wait. Call us today. ED is simply a medical condition like any other. And for most men, it's fully treatable, which means you can get your sex life back. And I'm not talking about sex that's just okay, by the way. I'm talking about good sex with the ability to enjoy intimacy without the anxiety that affects so many men who have ED. In fact, you might find you're performing like you haven't in years. At Heartland Men's Health, we're ED experts. We've successfully treated thousands of men with protocols that are successful in well over 90% of cases. And we have a variety of treatments and treatment combinations so you can get the one that's right for you. So stop waiting and call us. Your first visit includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com.
Fall in the Midwest is pleasant. The air is crisp, the temperatures are mild, and all is right with the world. But every one of you knows that lurking around the corner is creepy old man Winter. He wants to come into your home, put his feet up on the couch, and take over the remote. That's why you need to replace your drafty old windows with triple glass replacement windows from Thermo King. Triple glass? But weren't you told that double glass windows were all you'd ever need? Think again. Triple glass windows offer double the insulating barriers against creepy old man winter than double glass windows. And their super strong frames are guaranteed to never twist, warp, fade, or fail. And right now, Thermo King is selling their triple glass windows for the same price as double glass. Who would do such a thing? Thermo King, that's who. So don't let this beautiful weather fool you. Protect your home from creepy old man winter and call Thermo King today. 888-KING-WIN or online at thermokingwindows.com.
Robinhood is introducing forecast contracts so you can trade the presidential election. Through Robinhood, you can now trade financial derivatives contracts on who will win the U.S. presidential election, Harris or Trump, and watch as contract prices react to real-time market sentiment. Each contract you own will pay $1 on January 8th, 2025 if that candidate is confirmed as the next U.S. president by Congress. Learn more about the presidential election contracts on Robinhood at robinhood.com/election. The risk of loss in trading commodities interest can be substantial. You should therefore carefully consider whether such trading is suitable for you in light of your financial condition. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Commodity interest trading is not appropriate for everyone. Displayed prices are based on real-time market sentiment. This event contract is offered by Robinhood Derivatives, a registered futures commission merchant and swap firm. Exchange and regulatory fees apply. Learn more at robinhood.com/election.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Get in zone, AutoZone. Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Ah, sounds like wipers. If your wipers are streaking, skipping, chattering, or even worse, loud, you need to visit AutoZone and get some fresh new blades. We've got basic wipers to get you back on the road, as well as premium blades from Bosch and Rain-X. So if you're hearing this, just head to your nearest AutoZone or AutoZone.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone. Downy Rinse and Refresh. Break up with stinky clothes.
Rinse it out. Every now and then I get a little bit tired of the stinks that just will never come out. Going down in the rinse straight. Every now and then I rinse it out. One wash and it delivers. One wash, it smells so clean. Downy Rinse and Refresh, it's a dream.
Downy Rinse and Refresh. Fights odor in just one wash. Guaranteed.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. So at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited talk, text, and data for $30 a line when you buy 2. That's just $60 a month for 2 unlimited lines. So if you're 50 and up, make the switch and save. Come on, you've earned this. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today. Requires 2 lines of service, age validation, and credit approval, subject to system and area limits, taxes, and other fees apply.
If fashion is your thing, eBay is it. eBay's where I find all my favorites, from handbags to iconic streetwear, all authenticated. For real. This time, a little Supreme, some Gucci. I even have that vintage Prada on my watch list. That's why eBay's my go-to for all my go-tos. Yeah, eBay, the place for new, pre-loved, vintage, and rare fashion. eBay. Things people love.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Text line told me not to go back and listen to Jay Binkley's show.
I mean, you can. Again, our shows are always podcasted. Drew always puts them up, hour by hour or segment by segment, I think, essentially, right?
Segment by segment at the end of the show.
End of the show.
And then I put down all the hours and then the full show as well. So
Odyssey app, check it out there if you want to go back at
I kind of want to hear it.
Thursday or Friday.
Sounded kind of like it was unhinged.
There are definitely some moments where the title of the podcast is Bink is Unhinged, or the hour is Bink is Unhinged.
He had a good time. He had a good time filling in. So I appreciate him.
Isn't he filling in for you in a couple of weeks?
On a Friday here coming up in 2 weeks. My twin sister's wedding. So we got people coming in town. So I'm off on a Friday here coming up. Yeah, so you'll see. We'll see if he's.
How many people are we thinking at this wedding? What's the energy here? Couple hundred?
That's above my, I don't know the exact number.
Wow.
No, I mean, I'm obviously not involved. I think 100 and something. I'm not sure the exact number. Low hundreds, I think.
Not like 300. I've been to one wedding that's nice. And it's nuts.
I know it's not that. I think it's in the hundreds, and I think it's on the lower end of the hundreds. But no, it's not. I got to finalize the speech. I got to give a little speech at the rehearsal dinner here coming up.
Well, you got to give a speech at the rehearsal dinner?
Not at the wedding.
You are a twin. You should probably say something.
Not at the wedding, but a rehearsal dinner. I got short and sweet at the dinner. We'll be good.
You've already written it?
I know my intro and outro. I know how I'm starting it. I know how I'm ending it. I just got to work on.
Can we get a taste?
No.
Like next week, can we get the first 10
honestly
seconds?
Cannot do that. Cannot do that.
Huh. I just figure, we can help.
No.
Advise.
I mean, I'll take
as
your
a group.
I won't say what I have. I'll take
You'll
your
tell
advice. When we get a little bit closer, I'll take your advice if you guys have any suggestions.
There you
But I know the icebreaker, if you will, at the beginning, and I know how I'm wrapping it up.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, let's
Give
talk.
Alex advice, 913-586-7965.
Let's talk about what could happen tomorrow afternoon, though, because and maybe tonight does play a role into this. And tomorrow's the trade deadline for those that don't know in the NFL. And Diana Rossini over at The Athletic had some interesting tidbits. But doesn't mean these are going to happen, but I think gave Chiefs fans a little bit of hope and maybe some excitement about perhaps continuing how aggressive Brett Veach is going to be. Quote, this was from a report, quote, the Chiefs still may not be done. If a wide receiver falls into their laps, I'm told they're going to try to land another one with Sky Moore on injured reserves. There is also more to that. Quote, defensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo would love for Veach to get him a young, fast corner. Kansas City is trying to land the final pieces on its mission to a three-peat. That is from Diana Rossini. And yeah, that should excite you as a Chiefs fan to hear that it's not just about DeAndre Hopkins. They recognize they're in a unique spot. And I read that as if they can make another move for a conditional 6th, 7th round type of pick, they'll pull the trigger on it. I don't think you should expect them to give up a third or anything like that. And honestly, at this point, I don't really think they should. But if there's a cornerback or another receiver that's available for a future, a 2026 7th round pick, sign me up again. I'm good with that.
I would say, okay, one, I kind of want them to make the move now because the fact that they're kicking this around, this has been the most prognosticating all the rumors around the Chiefs have been to this point. The rumors were Chiefs are looking at wide receiver, and then, oh, here you go. Your show's one up, right? There you go. And then it was like, well, Chiefs are looking for, pass rusher. They do want a pass rusher. There it is. And now I'm seeing rumors that they want either another wide receiver or another corner to go with the mix. Then I'm all the way in. Corner is probably the position I would sell for. That's the one that I would give up the greater value for. Marshawn Lattimore's old, though. For him to be the name that's kicked around. And look, Dennis Allen just got his ass fired this morning.
Yeah, Saints.
So I'm going to guess more so than even 12 hours ago, Marshawn Lattimore is available. More than he was 12, 14, 15 hours ago, whatever, before they lost their 7th straight game or whatever the hell it was.
Remember when they were 2-0 and had the number 1 offense in football? Those were the good days for them, huh? Crazy.
Was that before they faced the Chiefs? Were they 2-0 when they faced the Chiefs? Or
No,
2-1, 2-2?
They had lost a couple already.
Clint Kubiak was a head coaching candidate.
Oh, dude, people were sending out
longer.
the stats about how the Bears bombed it with Eberflus. I still think they bombed it with Eberflus, but how they should have gotten Kubiak instead of Shane Waldron as their OC, because apparently they interviewed with him. Yeah, I remember how bleak it was. I think they should probably get a corner. I'm not nervous about it, but the Najee Johnson one is like, all right, it's enough water that if there's a 7th round guy for some depth, some competition, I think getting it now means to me that Spag can turn that guy into a quality level player by the time the postseason hits.
I'm glad to hear that you've come around on this because we talked about this.
I'm not desperate. I'm not, but get a corner.
Because we talked about this last week, and understandably so, you said, hey, I just have faith that they're going to continue to develop the in-house guys because Dave Merritt's done a great job and Spags had. And I was like, okay, that makes sense to me. Now it sounds like you're a little more willing. I told you I don't need them, and it sounds like the young, fast corner. I don't need a guy that's going to start opposite Trent McDuffie right away. I just think they need depth. So if it's
That's
a team, if it's somebody on an expiring contract, or if it's just a player that for whatever reason hasn't fit in with somebody else's scheme and you can get them for a future draft pick, I'm kind of interested. Marshawn Lattimore would be fun, but also I haven't looked at the latest prorated salary amount for him. Like, I don't, is that really financially realistic for this organization to go out and make a trade like that? There's also going to be some more competition for that. Lattimore is expensive, if I remember right. Here's where we're at. Okay, so prorated. Remember, we're
just signed
halfway
like
through
$100 million deal. So yes.
$14 million cap hit, $14.6 million this year. It's less than that because we're heading into soon to be week 11 of the NFL season. So it's not $14 million. It's probably half of that. But that's still a lot. Then next year, when he'll be 29, so he'll still be on the right side of 30, but he'll be 29. If you cut him, it's $20 million dead cap or $31 million on the cap next year. Unless they knew they could rework something, there is no way I think he's a candidate, Cody. How on earth are they? They're not paying a corner $31 million next year at age 29. No way.
They'd have to extend it out. Not extend it, but rework the deal for next year's contract cap number. I will say, the only benefit to this is the Saints are so screwed in the salary cap that any amount of salary you take off of their hands in this boat is going to mean Marshawn Lattimore is not going to cost them much to trade for. Like if
not compensation-wise, but the salary is an issue.
Yes.
And they have some void on his contract. They already have a couple void years on the back end of it. So I don't know how flexible that deal is. I think, can you find somebody that just provides some depth for a 6th, 7th round pick in the future?
I think it's just so hard because the deeper and deeper we get into an undefeated season where the 2-time defending Super Bowl champ, the more I am willing to sell my soul. Like more and more where I'm like, screw the future. I don't care about anything after tomorrow. If the later we get into this, it's like I'm not fully there yet. It's still like a balance between, yes, definitely buy into this year, but also you got Mahomes and Andy Reid, so let's play the long game for as many Super Bowls as you can get. But at some point, if they win this week, the trade deadline's tomorrow, they'll be 9-0. They'll have a 2-game lead on anyone in the AFC, a 3-game lead on anyone but Buffalo, a team they face in a couple of weeks. And a trade deadline sitting in front of you, it is going to be hard to not want to buy one more time. For just one more player.
Yeah, if they win the night, they'll be 8-0.
Wide receiver, something. And the wide receiver stuff might change because what we'll talk about later in the show with tight ends, where those guys weren't catching passes, but it was fundamentally how they operated as an offense. So I'm very interested in being active one more time. Just one more time.
I think there's a chance that, everybody, I'll go back to Nate Taylor, who will join us tomorrow, but when he joined us last week, we asked him, are they done? And he's like, look, they're willing to go make a move. It doesn't mean they'll actually accomplish that task. I think it's very clear. There's way too much noise. They are interested in making another move. As we all know, it doesn't mean that the deal ultimately comes together. But I think anybody worried that they're not actively searching for another wide receiver, another corner, you shouldn't be worried about that. They clearly are interested, and they clearly are willing to trade away an asset if needed to make it happen. We'll see if it comes together. There's a ton of factors. Financial. You're also competing with other teams that could use some help at corner, that could use some other wide receiver help. And based off of how teams have performed this week, you and I talked about the Rams situation a week or so ago. They're tied, basically, or a half game back of the division lead now. They're hot. The Rams are a hot football team right now. They're playing good. They're healthy again, even though Puka got ejected from the game yesterday. Those of you in fantasy football, I'm sure, love that. He finally plays in another game, and he gets ejected in the second quarter. by those, I'm talking about myself. That was ridiculous. So we'll see. I don't think the Rams are trading. Well, I guess what I'm getting at is I don't think the Rams are trading Demarcus Robinson anymore, who also had the game-winning touchdown catch in overtime last night.
D-Rob's having a
He's playing
year.
Great.
Career year.
Maybe they would trade a Tutu Atwell type or something, but I don't think D-Rob's getting traded. Darius Slayton continues to perform well for the Giants. They stink. I could see Darius Slayton being on the market still. Adam Thielen still could be on the market for the Panthers. Those are the kind of players. That's about it, man, in terms of wide receivers that I think are truly available.
Good for Demarcus Robinson. 327 yards and 5 touchdowns. That's by far. His career year in Kansas City was 406. That was his best year. 466 yards. This is already a career high in touchdowns for him, which is crazy.
But he's going to end up having a great career.
The reason why people predicted Demarcus Robinson is the Rams had wide receivers 3, 4, 5, 6, and they all seem like the same quality. And it was like, well, who the hell are you going to use out of this? And for the Chiefs, it was like, well, D-Rob's played here, so him. The Rams have clearly settled into D-Rob as the 3. So, if you're getting somebody off the Rams roster, it's not Demarcus Robinson.
Yeah, it's Tutu Atwell. What's the young kid? Tyler Johnson. It's somebody like that that you would get. I don't believe they're trading.
That's why I'm just so fascinated in DeAndre Hopkins night to night. I just want to see where they are. It's another test. I know that they're undefeated. I know that they're a really good team. Where are you at wide receiver? Juju maybe comes back in a week or two. Cool, that sounds good. Where are you at right now with with DeAndre Hopkins as your one versus what you had before the start of the season and Rashee Rice as your one and everything in between there? The Michael Wacha deal was interesting. We're going to talk to Vern here in about 15 minutes, get his opinion on it. We talked about whether or not it financially made sense for the Royals. You and I both agree. Makes sense to keep the rotation together. What does this mean for Brady Singer? I mean, it certainly renegotiates. It reopens the thing that people have been guessing for a full year, which is Brady Singer, trade candidate in the offseason. I actually think the only thing it eliminated is an extension. I think they could just play out the arbitration years and just let Brady Singer be a starter here, making no money for all those years. I think that they could trade him and acquire assets like a leadoff hitter or a corner outfielder. But I just don't think he's getting an extension anymore. They've committed their dollars elsewhere.
Yeah, part of the reason why I like bringing Wacha back is you have just about every single option, out there still for Brady Singer. If you choose to bring him back and not move on from him, and again, a reminder, he is under contract, so it's not even bring him back. If you just continue to go status quo, I should say, with Brady Singer, great. He's your fourth starter heading into the season. There were flashes again last year of why you were excited about Brady Singer. Why not? Why not? And he, to me, still would also give you flexibility in season. If the season goes the way you hope it goes, this doesn't happen. But if the season ends up not going the way you want, he's also a guy mid-season next year that you would have some flexibility to maybe look. I think if they were to trade him at all this offseason, to me, he wouldn't be a solo trade. He would be packaged together with a player or two that could then bring back a corner outfielder or a leadoff hitter.
A middle-of-the-order guy.
Something like that. But that's the Michael Wacha deal just gives you so much flexibility. I love this because now it doesn't eliminate. If they didn't bring back Wacha, then we'd be saying, well, no, they have to keep Brady Singer. Like, have to, because otherwise you're going to get really thin with your rotation. But as John Morosi said, you look at their rotation of Reagans and Lugo and Wacha and Singer, and certainly the first three names mentioned there, but I'll include Singer in that. What other team, certainly in the AL, and I know not in the AL Central, has a 1 through 4 like that? It's kind of what we said this year, why they were dangerous if they got to the playoffs. And in the Orioles series, we saw the pitching and why it was exactly what we were expecting. They didn't have any offense in the Orioles series. Didn't matter because the starting pitching and bullpen also turned out to be great. I don't know about you guys. I'm excited about the bullpen heading into next season too. That's the difference. There were some guys that flashed at the end of last season that really helped the bullpen. Let's not forget Hunter Harvey. I know we were disappointed this year. I still think he's going to be a big factor in 2025.
Yeah, I mean, he'll be a part of the core into the back end of the rotation, which now could be Bubic and Lynch and Urseg and Harvey. And, they've got some, and, they've got some pieces that they like. I think my play, if you said, hey, what do you want to do with Singer? And we'll ask Vern here in a minute because I'm curious. I'd hold him hostage. This is one of the few times in baseball where you do not have to act quick. And as I told you before, I still think they need years on pitching development. They have Brady Singer under control for 3 more seasons. He's not a free agent until after 2027. So he has tremendous value on the open market. I'll just tell you that. Because teams will look at a career 4 earned run average coming off a 3.71 season and a career high in starts, innings, strikeouts, and every other metric you possibly want to imagine at 27 years old when pitchers peak all the time, 27, 28, 29, 30, of 3 years of team control. He is an incredible asset if you want to move him, but you could just move him next year. Keep the rotation together. Keep the roster together. Prove that you can make a playoff in a back-to-back season where you got a generational superstar in Bobby Wood Jr., who just won a Gold Glove last night, to go with his 30-30-30 season that he already put in the books. Run it back one more season, and then when the arbitration number jumps up again, then make your decision. For this year, I'm holding on to Singer. He's just going to have to make the arbitration number of $4, $5, $6 million, and we all live our life. You get a raise. We're happy you're still here. The only hesitation I have is versus the other guys. We just mentioned Wacha. Does Singer ever seem like he wanted to stay here forever? You ever get that energy from him? I can't ever tell with him.
In baseball, in baseball, that is not something, especially in Kansas City, that I think is in play as much. Like, look, Michael Wacha was re-signing with Kansas City because, one, the money's right, but also he loved his time in Kansas City, as we said. That's why Wacha's back. His family liked Kansas City. That's why it made sense for him to re-sign with the Royals. Yeah. But in general, in terms of homegrown guys and retaining, usually with the Royals, it never comes down to like wanting to stay here. It usually with homegrown guys is the money.
Yeah.
And whether or not you can signability, essentially, re-signability is the question. So I don't think so. I mean, I know that's always been brought up, like with Brady. That to me, when you have as much control as they have, that doesn't really matter. Like if you don't want to be here for 3 or 4 more years, then like what are you going to do? In baseball, you don't like see for a player of his stature. There's no like request a trade. That's the stuff we worry about if you're a Juan Soto type. Is like, does he want to be a Yankee still or not? Someone's going to give him $600 million this offseason.
You want to be here or no?
It's a little bit different. Where like he better want to be in said market or whatever.
Yeah, there's never a hometown discount. I guess it's just like his commitment to his problem is that he spent 4 years in Kansas City where they were a loser. They traded away his best friend. Let's be honest, like in Whit Merrifield. And this is an organization that didn't fully commit to him as a starter a couple of different times, right? Where they were like, they made him a starter, but they're like, bullpen, maybe not. We'll see. They wavered, not a ton, but they wavered a little on him. I just think it makes sense. 3 more years. He's still valuable 2 years of control next year. He's still valuable to all these teams a year from now. Why am I selling now? And I get it. You can be like rob Peter to pay Paul. Screw that. They're good because of their rotation. Stay good because
they are. They are. The only argument, of course, is just if, and we don't know the answer to this because we're not in the room of how much money does JJ Picollo maybe have to work with this year.
Yeah, we don't know.
Well, generally speaking, though, if the only way to acquire a leadoff bat or to acquire an outfield bat, if you're telling me that the only way to do that, and I don't know,
not just pay for it on the open market, but
is to package a trade that requires him, then of course I'm open to that. I don't know if that's reality, but if you told me that was a scenario, I could go and actually get a leadoff bat that makes sense, or corner outfielder, and he has to be involved in a trade to pull that off, I would totally be open to that. I don't think you should flat out say, nope, can't do it. He's not a guy you're like, can't move him. No, that's not where he's at. But also, hey, if I can acquire in other areas, or if that trade doesn't exist, well, then, yeah, I have no interest in moving on from him if it's not going to equate to something like that.
Is part of the reason you feel that way is because over the last 2 years, the Royals have proven that they are decent at finding pitching again? Like, because that does give me a little more confidence. They're pretty good at it. They've been finding some guys.
At the big league level, they found, at the pro level, they've been great in scouting that. The question will be long-term development in the minors, but they have done a really nice job, whether it's bullpen acquisition via trade. We all know about Cole Reagans, of course, as well. They've done a great job of evaluating other big league clubs, big league talent, if that makes sense. That's where they've thrived.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, finding guys who are already established. But, they get credit for Singer. Like, they don't get credit for many because all those guys. And look, sometimes the Bubic, Daniel Lynch's of the world become good bullpen arms, and you get credit for that too. The whole thing is like, by the way, out of those two guys, Bubic should start next year, shouldn't he? I mean, Bubic should be a starter. I saw enough out of Bubic to be like, I'll take one more crack at that one.
I think that depends on, A, are they going outside the organization and getting another free agent, or what's Kyle Wright look like? It's remember, he's coming right off of an injury just like Bubic. Is it the reverse where Bubic is in the rotation, Kyle Wright's the guy that ends up helping them more in the bullpen? I don't know. We're going to have to wait till spring to get to that. We'll ask Vern this question. Vern, I'm told, is going to join us in studio too. So we'll get an in studio Vern in the offseason.
Josh Vern.
It's too early to call it hot stove, right? But I kind of it's colder outside. It's rainy. We already moved the clocks back, which sucked, by the way. Dark at 5:05. Ugh. So it might as well be hot stove.
You get a little seasonal depression disorder.
I just don't like it, man. Yeah, it sucks being dark at 5. Now for you and I, at least, we're off at 2. So it's not like we're going home and it's dark. For some of you, a lot of you, a majority of you, I should say, you're driving home in the dark. That sucks. That just sucks. So yes, I don't like it. Spring forward.
My whole thing is
just get rid of it.
Stuff.
Can we just get rid of the daylight saving? We don't need it. Get rid of it. I guess now we're on the right. We're now on the normal time.
Yesterday,
isn't that right?
At 7 p.m., it felt like it might have been 10 o'clock.
Oh yeah, could have gone to bed at 8 o'clock last night.
Yeah,
totally could have gone to bed at 8 o'clock last night.
I would prefer that we didn't switch the clocks, but also like that's maybe kid related. They don't know. They don't know that we've sprung.
Kids need the daylight. Back. They don't need it dark at 5. The kids need more light in the evening, So
they're not playing outside in the evening when it's
it's
been
cold.
Unseasonably warm.
Yeah. We'll get back to baseball here in 8 minutes with Vern. Did you guys see 2 things that happened yesterday? One involving a former, or at least ties to Kansas City, I should say, and one involving a former local college basketball player. starting with Joel Embiid. So he got in a fight with a
A lot
reporter.
of athlete fights this weekend.
Then former Philadelphia Eagle Jason Kelsey was at the Penn State-Ohio State game. Biggest game of the college football weekend. Ohio State ends up winning that one. Before the game, Jason Kelsey, he's on video. He's carrying around his garage beer, right? That's the brand him and Travis have. And somebody's clearly shouting and getting up kind of in his face with the phone.
And yelling hate speech.
Yeah, basically a homophobic slur about his brother. Like, hey, Travis is a blank, okay? What do you make of that? And so he turns around and he grabs the phone and he slams it. We've all seen the video. And I got no problem with it, man. I got no problem with it whatsoever.
Actions have consequences.
Yeah, that kid's lucky. I'm glad it didn't get to this part. That kid's lucky, though, that he didn't get his ass beat.
I'll just be honest with you. The internet, and I get it. I'm of the internet age. I don't remember a time fundamentally past middle school in which I didn't have regular access to these things. The internet has made people online think that they can say tough guy stuff to, as a non-tough guy, to 6'3", 280-pound tough guys. And I would just tell you, that's a bad decision. I would not talk trash to a former NFL player saying derogatory hate speech about his sibling in a public forum. I'm glad he smashed that guy's phone. Because the other one you're mentioning is Joel Embiid, where the reporter mentioned his dead brother.
Yeah, there's a column from a reporter.
Kid in a column. And eventually, Joel Embiid did not like that. It turns out some of the things you say, including what we say, right? I said I would fight Bill Romanowski. If I ever have to face him face to face, I'm going to have to wear that. But, like, I don't know. It just made people feel like they're too tough. I don't care. I wouldn't bother by either.
Would you say it to him face to face then?
Only one way to find out, you know?
Yeah, I just think, you're 100% right with, I think a lot of it does have to do with online social media that, people can hide behind whatever random, Twitter account or Facebook account or anything like that, and they'll say whatever they want, and there's no consequence to that. Maybe they get banned from the platform. Nowadays, they won't even do that, so you can do whatever the hell you want on there. And so the fact is, when it's some 19 or 20-year-old kid that's probably also been drinking himself, he just thinks there's no consequences whatsoever. So yeah, I'm glad that Jason Kelsey didn't actually get into a physical confrontation. Big deal. Buy him a phone. It's big deal. But he stood up for his brother. I think most people understand that situation and respect that. And it's hopefully a wake up call to that kid also in a way. Like, hey, you got a wake up call without getting your ass kicked, because there will be some other college kid, if you say something to that too, that will have no restraint.
Oh, I feel like in both instances, the athletes are I think should be commended for how they handled it, because it could have gone further.
It's tough for me because he's in the locker room. Maybe you don't shove a guy there.
Yeah, but I think too I guess the background on it with Joel, it makes sense why he was heated. And Joel even said, if you do it again,
yeah,
I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna deal with the consequences.
So there's a Philadelphia Inquirer columnist, Marcus Hayes. Marcus Hayes mentioned Embiid's son and late brother, both named Arthur, while questioning Embiid's professionalism, trying to stay in shape and all that, which has been an issue for Embiid throughout his career. And Embiid responded, quote, "The next time you bring up my dead brother and my son again, you're going to see what I'm going to do to you, and I'm going to have to live with the consequences." He continued with profanity. Hayes offered an apology, which Embiid did not want. That's not the effing first time, Embiid said. So they've had it. That reporter relationship obviously hasn't been good for a while. That whole scenario is much different than Jason Kelsey, where he's just there as a fan on his own, and people are, this one person, I should say, is trying to get in his face and obviously saying terrible things about his brother.
Most of them will allow you to question things that exist on the field. Yeah. But if you start questioning, this is the same thing. I wouldn't question Patrick Mahomes' performance this season related to, like, his wife. Like, you just leave that stuff out of it.
Yeah.
There's no bearing here. Leave his brother out of this, and he's not going to come at you that way.
Up next, Josh Fernier, our Royals insider, joins us in studio. We'll talk about Michael Wacha's extension. And, what are the repercussions from that? What does it mean for Brady Singer? What does it mean for other moves? That's coming up next.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Do what I did. Find yourself a new ride at Volkswagen Lee Summit. Yeah, I drove the same car for 12 years. Had close to 200,000 miles on it. It was time. It was a Jetta, and I was like, well, I'm going to look around, though. I'm going to drive to a bunch of different dealerships. I'm going to drive a bunch of different cars. I'm going to deal with a bunch of different sales staffs to choose the car for me. That's how I ended up at Volkswagen Lee Summit. It's been a great family car for me. We needed a little more space. Kids are getting a little bigger. You want to start being able to take their friends places too. So you can go to those birthday parties and not worry about the space that you have. And I wanted an easy buying process, and that's what I got at Volkswagen Lee Summit. I told them the type of car I was looking for, the range I was looking at. They popped out a few options for me. We went through, and I found my dream car. Over at Volkswagen Lee Summit, you can pick no payments for 90 days on any new car, 0% APR for up to 60 months, or at Volkswagen Lee Summit, you can double your down payment where $3,000 becomes $6,000. Look, I went 0% APR for 60 months. I wanted to save that interest over the life of my loan as I got my new Tiguan from Volkswagen Lee Summit. Huge selection, all your new cars, Atlas, Crossport, Tiguan, Taos, and Jetta, plus a huge used car selection in all makes and model. Just pick your promotion and pick your car at VWLeeSummit.com.
If you're living with chronic joint pain in your knees, hips, lower back, and shoulders, I've got exciting news for you.
Emmett Smith, all-time rushing leader and Hall of Famer.
Now you can get relief from pain without harmful medications and surgery. Call my guys at QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics specializes in biologic therapies that can repair and restore damaged tissue. I'm talking about natural pain treatments now available, not just for pro athletes, but to people like you.
At QC Kinetics, we're seeing patients every day who suffer from chronic joint pain but who desperately wanted to avoid surgery. We're treating joint pain with biologic therapies, regenerative solutions with long-lasting results.
Listen, it's all about getting your life back. Playing touch football with kids, walking upstairs pain-free, getting back on a job, and patients at QC Kinetics are raving about the results.
QC Kinetics. Call to learn more about restorative treatments that can get you back in the game.
Call QC Kinetics, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. 816-412-6299.
Xfinity here. How can we help?
Yeah, there are so many football games streaming this season. Can Xfinity Internet handle it?
Oh, we know the game is only live once, so we built a network with all-pro speeds and low lag so you don't miss a snap.
So I can yell, "He's open!" when he's actually open?
Yeah, but the quarterback still can't hear you.
Switch to Xfinity Internet and TV and enjoy instant access to your favorite live sports with the Xfinity Stream app. Actual speeds vary and not guaranteed. Streaming content limited to the U.S. Programming subject to change.
Hey, it's Bob Fesco, and I'm here with my friend Brian Manning of Manning Roofing. And Brian, if I have friends with insurance claims, why would I recommend them to you at Manning Roofing?
Well, Bob, we're a one-stop shop for all trades, roofs, windows, siding, and gutters. We have licensed and insured subcontractors and a dedicated project manager that'll be on site to deal with your insurance company and make sure we submit all the documentation needed.
So do what we did and set up your appointment today at manninggc.com or give them a call at 816-448-8208. The choice is simple. It's Manning Roofing.
Hey, it's Rex here with RexBuysKC.com, your local KC home buyer. If you own a property in the Kansas City or surrounding area and want to sell it fast and at a fair price, write this number down, 816-330-6000. I'm a private real estate investor, not some hedge fund or large national chain. My family and I live right here in KC. I can pay cash and close on your timeline, even in as little as 3 days. Here at RexBuysKC.com, we're improving Kansas City one house at a time. I buy inherited houses, vacant houses, foreclosure houses, behind in payment houses, my tenant won't pay the rent houses, and properties that need complete rehabs. Do you own a house that's trashed and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at this number, 816-330-6000. That's 816-330-6000. Or go to RexBuysKC.com. That's RexBuysKC.com. And I look forward to working with you.
At Main Street Credit Union, your success is our goal. Whether you're a financial rookie or a pro, we're here to help. If you're looking to pay down debt, improve your credit score, or buy a car, we'll be right there with you. We're dedicated to providing guidance, education, and essential resources to empower you on your journey toward financial success. We'll help you understand your financial options so even financial rookies will be on their way to reaching their goals. Go to mainstreetcu.org for more information.
You hear that? That's the sound of another year counting down. Another year missing your revenue goal. Another year wondering why your marketing isn't more effective. Another year worried about next year. The clock is ticking, but you still have time. Time to contact the experts at Scale Marketing. Scale Marketing is a full-service marketing agency who is expert in lead generation and revenue growth. How expert? Our clients see an average of 20% growth in the first year alone, with sustained growth from there. It's all part of our process. From your traditional marketing to social media to paid search, we'll take a forensic approach, digging deep to find the root problems in your marketing strategy. Then we'll fix them fast. At Scale Marketing, we can't stop the clock, but we can change your company's future. Find out how you can make your marketing budget work harder and drive more revenue. Contact us at scalemarketing.com. That's scalemarketing.com.
Robinhood is introducing forecast contracts so you can trade the presidential election. Through Robinhood, you can now trade financial derivatives contracts on who will win the U.S. presidential election, Harris or Trump, and watch as contract prices react to real-time market sentiment. Each contract you own will pay $1 on January 8, 2025 if that candidate is confirmed as the next U.S. president by Congress. Learn more about the presidential election contracts on Robinhood at robinhood.com/election. The risk of loss in trading commodities interest can be substantial. You should therefore carefully consider whether such trading is suitable for you in light of your financial condition. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Commodity interest trading is not appropriate for everyone. Displayed prices are based on real-time market sentiment. This event contract is offered by Robinhood Derivatives, a registered futures commission merchant and swap firm. Exchange and regulatory fees apply. Learn more at robinhood.com/election.
What's up, KC? It's Trent McDuffie. Catch the play-by-play all season long with Mitch, Danon, and Clean right here on your home of the Chiefs. 96.5, The Fan.
KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City in Odyssey Sports Station.
11 o'clock hour here on a Monday. Cody and Gold, Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you. Here in about 15 minutes, we'll get to what now looks like a long shot for any of the local schools to suddenly make the college football playoff, which is a bummer. All this build-up all year, I thought all three had a great chance. There's only one school that still has a chance, and it got a lot tougher after the weekend. So we'll get to that in a little bit. But let's keep talking Royals here a little bit, as well as Josh Vernier, our Royals insider, joins us in studio. We were talking Michael Wacha extension. You were just at the press conference. In general, did you think they were going to get this done? It seemed like it was trending in that direction. George Brett was on with Fesco and Dusty Friday, and he's like, oh, yeah, he's coming back.
You knew that Michael Wacha enjoyed his time in Kansas City, being an Iowa guy, being a Midwest guy, his family all within driving distance. You knew that he enjoyed it. Obviously, his performance warranted the Royals' desire to bring him back. The question was, would the Royals once again back up the type of money that it would take to bring in one of the most consistent right-handers in Major League Baseball over the past half-decade? And once again, for the second straight offseason, John Sherman, whatever it takes, to continue to put a winner on the field, to me, it's a no-brainer on both sides, right? It's not as if Wacha gave you any sort of a hometown discount. No,
3 years.
You paid the price.
You paid the price, and in a league where there is no salary cap, I don't really care what the price is. If Sherman's okay paying it, it makes the team better. It's a big thumbs up for me and a no-brainer for Wacha and his family.
I think the easy part is the way I viewed it, Vern, is like this is like bigger picture stuff, but Lugo, Reagans, Wacha, Singer still, which we'll ask about in a minute. I thought the Royals knew internally they need a couple of years with the pitching system before it's like, oh, we turn and burn these guys. And the next guy from AAA replaces the starter we just got rid of. I think they know they need time before they can fully turn into that as a pitching staff.
Sure.
So, like, this secures the fact that they're a good pitching staff for a couple of years while they continue to try to make playoff runs.
Yeah, that's certainly the hope, is that Wacha and Lugo and Singer will maintain what they did this year. I think Reagans, you don't have concerns, as he's younger than all of them and nastier than all of them. Although, if I'm stacking up those top four starters, next to Reagans, Wacha might be the one I'm most confident in duplicating what he did in 2024 again in 2025. But yeah, there's no argument that Chris Bubich, Daniel Lynch, Alec Marsh, Chandler Champlain, Noah Cameron, that the guys that are next in the organization aren't ready for 2025 unless we're going to have some sort of a built-in excuse. And honestly, that to me is what this deal today eliminates, is that so easy excuse as to why this team was going to take a step back in 2025. Well, when you lose a clubhouse pro And I heard Q say this a few times over the course of the season, and I would echo it. And obviously, it means more coming from Q. But from my perspective, I really can't remember another starting pitcher to come through Kansas City, or really any other that I've covered in my time around Major League Baseball, that just checks every single box of how to be an absolute professional. In between starts, the day of his starts, communicating with the media, with his teammates, motivating guys, working with the guys, Michael Wacha is just the perfect teammate, and I think the perfect match here in Kansas City. But yeah, eventually you would like to get to a place where you don't have to break off $16, $17 million for 1 year.
I also thought it was big because this was a pretty healthy rotation last year. Wacha was like the only guy that ended up on the IL, and it was for like a week and a half or something.
Just a quick broken foot.
That's all. Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah,
he pitched his ass off with a broken foot.
That's right. Yeah, like so they were really healthy. You always wonder, like, whether it's regression or just even health regression to some extent. This to me allows you to have some more depth, not just off of performance, but look, there's a decent chance somebody in that rotation is going to be out for a little bit next year. Yeah. And so if you were already down to 3 guys you could trust, then you just get thinner and thinner. They're just much deeper by having Wacha back in a variety of ways.
Yeah, and it's wild when you look at last year's team and how many guys met or exceeded expectations. And for the most part, you're running that thing back again next year. Now you're expecting, and I heard you mention this earlier in the show, the bullpen on opening day 2025 should be far superior to the bullpen in 2024. Yes. So if there is any sort of regression from a Lugo, from a Singer, from an Alec Marsh, you're hoping that the bullpen could offset that. But as far as the innings that were logged by a Cole Reagans, by a Michael Wacha, I think I'm going to need those to be duplicated. I don't know if I'm banking on 200 from Seth Lugo again. And like you mentioned with the injury, whether that's Singer, Wacha, Reagans, whoever ends up finding themselves on the IL for a few weeks, to me, hopefully it's not as damaging as it was this past season, because when they lost Michael Wacha for that week and a half, they were a shell of themselves. To me, that was the one stretch that you kind of just throw out. The Dodgers series, the Yankees series where they dominated the Royals at Kauffman Stadium. You kind of throw all that stuff out. So when you factor in the likely injuries, you feel better about having Michael Wacha, but you also feel better about that renewed belief in the bullpen that I think a lot of Royals fans will have on opening day.
What's the next move? Do they need to move Singer to get the leadoff hitter, middle of the order, corner outfielder guy they want, or is it just pay for that pleasure? Obviously, I don't think they're signing Juan Soto next week, but like, what is the next move for the Royals? They've openly said they want another bat. They'd like some more lineup protection.
An on-base bat, no question. Yeah, that to me would be the next move. And, I almost brought this up to JJ today when I asked him about John Sherman and the role that Sherman played in this. And, as soon as the season was done, Sherman goes to JJ and says, hey, the reason, and obviously JJ knows this, the reason why we're here is the pitching. So whatever it takes, we're down to bring Michael Wacha back. So there was no impediment from ownership. And Cody, that question that you asked, again, reminds me of the old mindset in Kansas City that, again, when this offseason started, I'm still in that old mindset of course, Michael Wacha is going to deny that player option. He's going to go to free agency, and someone else is going to pay him 3 years at $51 million. Right. He's too good to get $3 and $51. Someone's going to give it to him. Well, now that's the Royals. So, no, I don't think you need to trade Brady Singer to offset the $16, $17, $18 million that Michael Wacha is going to be bringing in. Now, I think you can hang on to Brady Singer. You can trade him at the deadline. You can trade him next offseason if you need to. But the next move to me, would be an on-base bat, but you need to look a little bit deeper than that, because I don't know if there's an everyday spot right now that is open on this team. So when we, cast out that line for the free agents, the names that you're looking for, to me, are not guys that are expecting 145 starts, expecting 400-plus at-bats, because when you look at this team, right, Vinny and Salvi and Freddie and Bobby, right, Massey, I think everyone agrees, is the second baseman. JJ was going on and on about Maikel Garcia and their belief in him and their belief in MJ Melendez in left. We like Izzy in center. Renfroe, you have to pay him as he picks up his option. So maybe you can bring in someone to platoon with MJ, someone to platoon with Garcia or Renfro. But as far as here's the third base job, here's the second base job, I don't see him bringing in that caliber of player. So I don't see them spending that amount of money. Right, because to bring in an everyday guy, that's $10 to $15 million.
Because you've seen the names that fans have floated out, Teoscar Hernandez and some other, doesn't seem all that realistic.
Every team should want Teoscar Hernandez after that performance. I mean, a Ha-Seong Kim, I think, would be just outstanding on
but
this
he's going to get a ton of, he's the most sought-after middle infielder in baseball, maybe, that's available, right?
And if you're the Royals, I'm not interested in going much beyond a 2-year deal, maybe with a mutual option for 3. So when you're talking about the top free agents available, I can't imagine many of them are interested in a platoon role for a 2-year deal.
Would you entertain trading Singer? Because just from a standard standpoint of teams typically trade pitchers early, I feel like I'd hold on to at least a year. To have him under control, 25, 6, and 7.
I think it's only 2. I think there's only 2 more years. He's already had 2 years of arbitration. He's a Super 2, so he has
he's a
2
Super
more.
2. Okay.
So he has this year arbitration. Last year he made almost 4.5, so you would expect that to jump to $7 to $8 million this year, maybe $9-10 million in 2026. The only reason I'm open to trading Brady Singer is if you're trying to dump salary. And there's nothing that I've seen from John Sherman over the years that leads me to believe that he's interested in dumping salaries, interested in putting up pennants, hopefully. You're better with Brady Singer on your team. Of course you entertain it. If the right deal comes along, and I think JJ and this front office have earned the leniency of, you see something in James MacArthur, you see something in Lucas Erceg, you see something in fill in the blank in another organization, pull the trigger. But if they ask me, no, I want to hang on to Brady Singer and go for this division title.
Lastly, for you, they're just now announcing season awards in baseball. It's my biggest. It drives me crazy. We wait till mid-November for MVP award. We wait for mid-November for Silver Slugger. What?
And they think it's a big deal with how they do it over the week. They're like, Mondays.
Yeah, day by day. What are we doing?
Should announce it during the playoffs. It's a regular season.
Why not
award.
announce? They did the Roberto Clemente Award. Obviously, Salvi got it this year, which is great. They do that in the middle of the World Series. Why can't they do the MVP award the same way? Honestly, is there a real reason?
No, I can't imagine there's a real reason. I think it's a TV show.
They do the MVP for the Super Bowl the 2 nights before or whatever at the NFL Honors.
Yeah. Well, in my opinion, baseball's trying to poorly copy the NFL into making every award a show on its network, on MLB Network. You got to tune in to watch Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani's reaction to winning the MVP. My frustration is American League, National League. We can do away with that now.
Oh, just entire league MVP. I don't hate that.
You don't have
idea.
Eastern Conference, Western Conference,
Can
AFC,
they wait till
NFC?
after Bobby wins one and then we can do that? Can we wait till Bobby gets his first one?
Because otherwise, Shohei might just win it every year.
Yeah, we need to wait. Can we wait till Bobby gets his first MVP? Then we can just do an MLB MVP award.
But won't we get to the place where you get Mahomes fatigue or LeBron fatigue where, they should win it every year, but they don't, right? Shohei should win it. Aaron Judge should win it. To me, it's antiquated in that we don't do it in any other sport, split it up, because we no longer split it up like we used to back in the 70s where you didn't see anybody in the National League.
That's true.
It should be one America or
I like
one
that.
Major League Baseball.
That makes a lot of sense. Vern, good to have you in studio, man.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of the off season. I wondered if we could call this hot stove or not. Is it too early?
No. I mean, well, it's not that chilly out. You got to play for me real quick for tonight? Or is that coming up later?
Well, we can. I think Kareem Hunt over rushing yards, Kate Otten over receiving yards.
Thank you very much.
There you go, Vern.
All right, appreciate it.
And hopefully you can legally bet in Missouri coming up and starting in a few days. At least it'll be
Don't
legalized.
ruin this for me.
Hopefully.
Okay, I need
tomorrow.
this.
Tomorrow, just saying, tomorrow, vote yes on Amendment 2 if you want sports betting legalized in the state of Missouri.
Gold even wants it. He doesn't live in Missouri. He just wants to be able to bet at a Chiefs game.
Yeah, I want to be able to go to Arrowhead tonight and eventually actually make a wager. Go to Kaufman, make a wager. Go to the downtown ballpark in the future or whatever, if that's where they're going to play, and bet on it. While we were talking to Vern, and I don't know, Drew, if you saved the drop, but the text line's requesting a new drop. Considering your comment a week or so ago about pleasure, I guess I didn't catch it live. Cody, we were talking to Vern, and multiple people texted in and says, please cut the drop of Cody saying pay for pleasure. And
I said that?
I guess. I need to hear it.
That's unfortunate.
It was
I need
during.
to go
You're
back
gonna have
and
to go
find it.
back and listen to that, Drew. I think it was when Cody was talking about trading Singer or something, or like paying. Yeah, it was something pay for pleasure.
I regret that turn of
What
phrase.
pay for pleasure?
I mean,
Really?
I didn't
We
catch
call that something. It's there's a difference.
How the dots connect sometimes.
I don't know.
You can legally do that in Vegas, I think, in some places.
Certain counties, I think, or something. So I'm told. I don't know.
So you're told.
I'm not sure.
Rumor has it.
I don't know. You know, thinking of Scott Parks over at KMBZ literally came up to me on Friday after the show. He was like, "How was Vegas?" I was like, "It was great." And he's like, "You ever pay for an escort?" I go, "No."
What the hell?
I go, "No, Parks." The fact that he would ask me that question, I was insulted.
Kinda.
I was insulted.
That it's so bad you got to pay for it?
I was like, "No." I go, "I have people that message me. I don't need that."
Pay for an escort?
That's never happened.
That's a bold question from Parks.
Yeah, Scott Parks.
Did you tell him
if
the
you're
other
listening,
story from Vegas?
I did. He was not happy with me.
Oh, really?
He goes,
the dad in Scott Parks. A
Yeah,
disappointed,
that's what it
disappointed
was.
dad Scott Parks. That's what
He's
that
like,
sounds
"Were you still talking?" I go, "No, because it is what it is." He's like, he couldn't believe it. It's like, come on. All right, let's talk a little college football while Drew maybe gets a drop of that
Let me search
later on
for
in
it.
the show. Coming into this season, we were all excited about all three local schools. All three, I know it may sound silly now, but there was real reasons for all three to have belief that they could make the college football playoff. Then, of course, KU quickly was eliminated from that. Missouri did their part in eliminating themselves with their performance. Also, quarterback injury did not help. Kansas State, I don't think, has eliminated themselves.
Really?
They have
Houston
one path.
stinks.
Technically, not yet.
They have one path. One
Win
path
the Big
now.
12 title game?
Now they do not have a way to get there unless they win the Big 12. They had a bad loss down in Houston to the Cougars over the weekend. I mean, that was a really bad loss. And so their only path now requires them winning out, and they need some help to get to the Big 12 title game. That's their issue. It's a tough path now. They don't control their own destiny or anything like that. I don't think you can say they're eliminated because if they were to beat Iowa State and Colorado were to drop a game, then K-State's in the Big 12 title game in Arlington, and they've got an opportunity. But they screwed this one up big time, man.
Mathematically eliminated, no. But I'll be honest, this is the frustration with this. There are now 12 teams in the college football playoff. All three teams, fundamentally on paper, should have had a chance. And K-State lost to Houston? Houston? I watched Kansas beat them by like 5 touchdowns last week. How is that the game you come up short on? That's the question I have. And like, to me, that's coach. That's all coach. College football, that's coaching. That's 100% coaching. I barely have any time for the kids to complain about performance based on that end. How the hell do you as a coach not get your team through Houston after you just got the scare from Kansas? Look, they gave you the scare, right? Wake up call all you want. Whew, Kansas almost got us. That chance for that Big 12 title, whew, that almost slipped away. That almost felt real bad there for a minute. And then you go and lose to Houston? Like, that's embarrassing. That is an embarrassing loss. That's one of the most embarrassing losses they've had in a program in 5 years. You can't just take down Kansas in a game that is heated and a rivalry and close and then fall asleep at the wheel.
Yeah, they have to win
Missouri's,
out.
I think,
They
is
have-
maybe injury, but maybe they weren't as good as I thought.
yeah,
Kansas just
it's
lost
just-
every one-score game on the planet. They're just a disappointing team. They're way worse than I thought.
Yeah, the Big 12.
Kansas State had it.
The Big 12 now, unfortunately for the league as a whole, it's going to be a one-bid league. It's going to end up being a one-bid league. You're going to have to win the Big 12 title game. Right now, the favorite to do that, of course, is BYU. They're the only undefeated team. But Iowa State, also, fortunately for K-State, I guess, is Iowa State also lost to Texas Tech. Otherwise, yeah, I would be with you. Then it's over. But it's not over. It's not over because they get the head-to-head against Iowa State still. But they have to win out just to get to the Big 12 title game.
Well, they also, not only do they have to win out, they need Colorado to lose a game, too.
Yeah, some of the text lines said Colorado has a tiebreaker, but I don't believe that's
Head-to-head they do, but I
don't
think
believe
Colorado's
that's
got one
true.
less conference loss.
Kansas State has the tiebreaker, but that's if they have the same, because
Conference
conference
record.
record
Correct.
always trumps the overall record for whatever reason, and Colorado only have one Big 12 loss. So that would be the killer
Yep.
for Kansas State. They need Colorado to lose and to win out. So, I mean, there's a shot, but it's slim.
I mean, I
Which
thought
is
we'd
very
get one
disappointing.
local. That's the truth. And now Big 12 looks like a one-bid league.
Yeah, honestly, it's kind of a bummer. I was there was a real chance to get one or two in the college football playoff, and now it's one, and the one team is still K-State, and it's I think pretty slim chances. It's not impossible. I guess you and I are you're acting like it's like a 5% chance. I think there's still a 25% chance Kansas State ends up in the Big 12 title game, as in then has a chance to get to the college football playoff.
Their percentage is around like 20-25%.
Is it? Okay.
I think according to ESPN's FPI or whatever.
I guess the reason why I'm talking about it like it's doomsday is you could have controlled all of this. You could have controlled all of it, where the Iowa State win would have been like the nail in the coffin for getting yourself in the Big 12 title game, and you fell to Houston.
Yeah, someone says the weather was monsoon. Both teams were playing in the same weather.
It doesn't matter. You lost the game.
I understand, and I understand that like they lost the ball as a result of that, and all the other things that come in between.
And to me,
but I'm with you, Gold. I'm disappointed. I really thought we were going to get one of the local teams in a college football playoff. I told you, in the old archaic system of college football, not a single local school, in my opinion, ever had a chance to win a national title. They had no chance, 0% under the old system. They at least have a percentage chance to do it under this current system. And look, Avery Johnson's still young. They've got a good recruiting class coming in. It's not just like all she wrote for K-State for the future or anything. This was a really good opportunity year for them. In a year in which nobody was dominating the Big 12 and Iowa State went down, like things were falling in your favor before you lost.
Yeah, Texas, one scenario, yes, for it not to be a one-bid league, if BYU went undefeated, then lost in the title game, yes, there's still a path potentially. But it depends on what happened, like any of this. It depends on what's going on in the SEC, what's going on in the Big Ten at that point, what other scenarios are in play. The first college football playoff rankings come out tomorrow, right?
Yeah, tomorrow night, the first one. So who knows if it'll be? Normally, it's a lot like the AP poll with maybe some adjustments in there, but who knows what that poll is going to look like.
How's difficult BYU schedule the rest of the way?
Their schedule overall has not been very tough, which to me is very interesting. If you compare, let's say Texas A&M went out and they beat Texas. Does BYU with one loss in the Big 12 title game get in over a two-loss Texas A&M team who's beaten Texas? And I wonder, that's the conversation
typically isn't it
for BYU.
Typically, it's an obvious no, they don't get in. It's the SEC versus the Big 12. They're going to side with the SEC, right?
Because and then you look at the signature wins. What signature win would BYU have at that point? Maybe SMU.
K-State.
Yeah, BYU has Utah,
K-State,
Kansas.
Beat the hell out of Kansas State.
BYU
that's
has
a ranked team.
Utah, Kansas, Arizona State, and Houston.
Well, and if you're BYU, you almost hope that Kansas State wins out, and then Iowa State plays you in the conference title game or something like that, because you almost want your resume to look better. So you're almost rooting for Kansas State to keep playing well.
Yeah, and if you're a Kansas State Wildcat fan, you're hoping KU somehow upsets Iowa State. You should be rooting for Kansas this weekend at Arrowhead if you're a Kansas State fan.
That's crazy.
How gross of a feeling
You should be, though. If you want, you should be. You should be doing that, though, if you're a K-State fan. I know
that's to Colorado, by the way. They got a real shot at the Big 12 title
props,
game.
You know what?
Nice for them.
Props to Deion. They deserve credit. They're actually now they're not getting talked about enough. They're actually backing up the talk they once had with performance on the field, and now nobody's talking about them as much. It's kind of interesting.
And
it's weird.
Genty production starting to go down a little bit.
Yeah, Boise State, though, I think it's going to make the college football playoff as the group of 5 team. Navy just lost to Rice over the weekend. I really think Boise State's going to end up as the group of 5 rep.
I think the big question is Army. Army plays Notre Dame. If Army goes undefeated and they beat Notre Dame, I think they're in.
If they beat, it's a big if. Beating Notre Dame's still a big if.
That is the if. I mean, because if you're comparing one losses, Boise State almost beat Oregon, so they're obviously getting the nod if it's a one-loss, if it's between schools with one loss. By the way, Cody, yes, for the text line, it's funny because there's a little pause in there, too. You almost didn't want to say it.
Pay for that pleasure?
You almost caught yourself. But you said it anyways.
Searching for a word there, I guess. Is that what that was?
I think so.
Should have gone with a different word. I think, Gold, you're the only person who hasn't
just wait.
said that word randomly as part of a regular sentence. So
I'm going to try to avoid that.
Next week.
I'm going to try to avoid that. Yes. Yeah,
I think I was going for the alliteration,
Yeah. Someone from the 785 said K-State actually wants Iowa State to beat Kansas, then K-State beat them to prop up the resume. Yeah, you're assuming, though, in that scenario that K-State is in like an at-large bid. What I'm telling you is I don't think K-State can get in without winning the Big 12 title game. So I don't think the resume, want Iowa State to keep winning so we can knock them off. And no, you need to beat Iowa State anyway, but I don't think you're getting an at-large bid. So I don't think that matters. And so you want to get into the Big 12 title game, you wouldn't mind Iowa State losing. That's all I'm saying. I don't believe the resume thing should be your worry. You're not getting in as a 2-loss team out of the Big 12.
If you were a 2-loss team out of the Big 12, but your loss was to Iowa State or BYU instead of Houston, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
But because of the loss, just no way.
All right, up next, let's get right back to the Chiefs. Chiefs getting set for the Bucs tonight. We know they're also banged up at the tight end position and why it could impact how they perform this evening. We'll also get right back into how we view the Tampa Bay Bucs and how this thing's playing out tonight.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for K-State Athletics. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
We hear a lot from our patients after we've successfully treated their erectile dysfunction. But one thing we hear the most is, why didn't I get treated sooner? This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health. And if you're suffering with ED and all the emotional and relationship problems it causes, don't wait. Call us today. ED is simply a medical condition like any other. And for most men, it's fully treatable, which means you can get your sex life back. And I'm not talking about sex that's just okay, by the way. I'm talking about good sex with the ability to enjoy intimacy without the anxiety that affects so many men who have ED. In fact, you might find you're performing like you haven't in years. At Heartland Men's Health, we're ED experts. We've successfully treated thousands of men with protocols that are successful in well over 90% of cases. And we have a variety of treatments and treatment combinations so you can get the one that's right for you. So stop waiting and call us. Your first visit includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com.
When a KU versus K-State rivalry game begins, emotions run high, legends are created. School pride hangs in the balance. Memories that last a lifetime will be made, because each game is the most important game in history. At least, until the next one. Get in the game with your chance to win up to $50,000. The Rivalry Riches instant ticket from the Kansas Lottery. See kslottery.com for details.
Shane Company knows fine jewelry. That means a lot when you're looking for a dream engagement ring, a beautiful keepsake, or the perfect gift. Come see us in store and compare our wide selection of diamonds, rubies, and a rainbow of sapphires in different shapes and sizes. Create your dream engagement ring and browse our selection of fine jewelry gifts. From diamond studs, tennis bracelets, birthstone necklaces, and more. With our everyday competitive prices and unmatched free lifetime warranty, Shane Company knows how to work with your budget, not against it. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
It's Bob Fesco, and I'm here with my friend Brian Manning of Manning Roofing. We know you guys are the best in the business when it comes to the roofing industry, but what truly separates you from everybody else?
We have a great group of people that take care of our homeowners. Our number one goal is homeowner satisfaction, and we won't compromise the quality of our materials or the quality of our labor to do that.
If you want to set up an appointment with Manning Roofing like I did, check them out at manninggc.com or 816-448-8208. Manning is my one-stop shop for roofs, gutters, siding, and windows. The choice is simple. It's Manning Roofing.
Right now, 38 states allow sports betting, including 7 of Missouri's neighboring states. Amendment 2 gives Missouri sports fans the freedom to bet on games too, and that will generate over $100 million for our schools. Amendment 2 is endorsed by the Chiefs, Cardinals, Royals, Blues, and Missouri's 2 biggest newspapers, the St. Louis Post-Dispatch and the Kansas City Star. Here's Hall of Famer Ozzie Smith asking you to vote yes on 2.
Back in my day, I was the wizard of the infield. Now, I'm a grandfather. That's why I'm voting yes on Amendment 2. It means over $100 million for Missouri schools and teachers, and no more broken promises. There's a constitutional guarantee that the money goes to our schools, and legalizing sports betting is great for us fans too. That's why the Royals, Chiefs, Blues, and Cardinals all join me in saying yes on Amendment 2.
Paid for by Winning for Missouri Education, Mike Pridmore, Treasurer.
Having unexpected car trouble or just in a car accident? You need Jay's Southland Tow Service. They have over 20 years of experience servicing the KC Metro. They specialize in light, medium, and heavy duty, as well as commercial transport and construction equipment. Keep this number handy, 816-779-4869 or southlandtow.com. Use the tow service trusted by most local police departments, Jay's Southland Tow Service. There's nothing they can't do, so be in the know and use Jay's Southland Tow.
All right, gentlemen, this is Emmett Smith on behalf of The Pen, and I've got the perfect play. Run straight to your doctor's office for a life-changing catch. Because when prostate cancer is caught early, it's up to 99% treatable, and one blood test might be all it takes. And now through November, Depend is donating to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for select purchases. Talk about a great play.
From September 1st to November 30th, Depend is donating 40 cents to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for Depend Shield Guards Real Fit products purchased in the U.S. up to a maximum of $300,000 void in Mississippi.
Hi, I'm Angie Hicks, co-founder of Angie, and one thing I've learned is that you buy a house, but you make it a home. Because with every fix, update, and renovation, it becomes a little more your own. So you need all your jobs done well. For nearly 30 years, Angie has helped millions of homeowners hire skilled pros for the projects that matter. From plumbing to electrical, roof repair to deck upgrades. So leave it to the pros who will get your jobs done well. Hire high-quality certified pros at Angie.com.
I'm at a smoothie bar asking people if they'd switch smoothies with me for $574.
Oh, I'll switch.
So what about $574 if you switch your home insurance to Allstate?
That's a headache.
Nope, it's painless.
Oh, so it's easy money.
Yep, check Allstate first and you could save hundreds on quality home insurance today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Not available in every state. Based on the national average annual savings for new home insurance customers surveyed in 2023 who switched to Allstate and reported savings. Savings vary.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. Welcome in to the Chiefs Red Half Hour. Every day at 11:30 with Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
I was gone 2 days, so I didn't know what kind of steam I still had left. But
You were gone.
From the 816. Does Cody still want that bust of Spags? Yes, of course, obviously. Talk to my guy who does and has done multiple of them in Arrowhead's Hall of Fame. He told me this week $10,000 would be pretty close to what it costs. $10,000 is $1,009.65 heroes. Maybe an extra couple hundred for the laser eyes. Not sure if that's an upcharge. One bust of Steve Spagnuolo straight to the Chiefs facility. We just offer it up now so I don't have to worry about getting it later.
It's so unnecessary. He
should be honored for his contributions to this team.
Hopefully going to get his own bust anyway from the Chiefs down the road, and maybe becomes the first coordinator one day to be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He doesn't need a $10,000 bust from you.
Sure he does.
There's so many better things that we can raise $10,000 for than a bust for Spags. At least
what? Name one that this city would enjoy more than being able to give Steve Spagnuolo that.
Save your money for our Cody and Gold garage sale. Let's raise another 15 or 20 grand for the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum. I'm just saying, at least when we raised money and it was half the cost for the Creed is Good video, that was for a Rookie of the Year campaign. That changed frankly, I would argue, marketing-wise, Creed Humphrey's career. All of that. Creed, the band, is in town this week. I'm sure Creed will be at the concert.
Wednesday.
Yeah, Creed will be at that concert, as in
Creed
Humphrey.
at Creed?
Creed Humphrey will be at Creed. And
sources tell me.
Sources, rumor is, might even end up on stage Wednesday night with Creed, in Creed. As in Scott Stapp and Creed Humphrey.
Someone says, enough, Cody. Bring Bink back, Gold. They're ready to have Binkley back.
That changed in a hurry. Started the show and people were...
Spags? One Spags comment?
Just like that.
Trying to fire me?
Someone says we should spend 10 grand on hemorrhoid awareness.
No, I'd rather spend it on Spags. He doesn't get enough national credit.
I
think presenting him a bronze of his face.
I'm totally on board with Spags getting some love. I mean, 2 years ago when people were critical, this show, as a matter of fact, was telling people to relax a little bit, that it's week 3 of the season, and historically Spags' defenses always get better. And sure enough, they got better. And this year, they were great from week 1, and that's why they're off to the undefeated start that they're on. So, no, he deserves more and more love and praise. I just don't think you need to get him a bust when he's going to get one from the Chiefs or be in the Chiefs Ring of Honor one day or get acknowledged in that regard. I don't need to waste it.
What if it was something else like
Like what, a gold watch?
No, not,
He's retiring?
No, not a Rolex. Like, I don't know, like a painting or I don't know, something where it's not.
I like this latest offer on the
it's a
text line.
gift, but it's
That's
not-
a better use of the 10 grand. I love that. And it goes to charity too. Perfect. Someone says, I'll give Cody 10 grand to charity, right? If he takes one punch from Mike Tyson. Isn't that coming up this week? Isn't the
15th.
Tyson Paul 2 weeks away?
Yeah, next week.
Perfect. Oh, it's on a Friday night.
Are you actually going to watch it?
Probably not.
That's why I was asking the 15th. I'm busy that weekend. I hope it's not that weekend. That's
It's the
wedding.
15th.
That's wedding weekend.
It sounds like you
15th.
would watch it, Gold. Like, if
of
you
course.
could, you would watch it.
Yeah.
No plaque. We don't half-ass things on this show unless it's selling a box of goods from the pallet place. Everything else, Gold didn't half-ass his performance in a Hallmark movie.
That's coming up later this month.
We didn't half-ass our effort for Creed is good. A plaque is lame. A painting is stupid. That man needs a bronze. He's a 2-time Super Bowl champion.
Just make sure it's not
back-to-back
old
Super
dude
Bowl
that did a
champion.
Dwayne Wade's statue. Just make sure it's not him.
Yeah, that's how this all
Please.
started.
This guy,
too, I
it
feel
sounds like I got a connection to the local guy who already does them for the Chiefs Hall of Fame. They're very nice there.
Mm-hmm. And
I'm sure he's nice, but are we sure that it's going to be 10 grand for him to do it?
that's a lot of money for very little payoff.
I think it's a great payoff, and I don't care.
There is no payoff, though. It's the one day for 10 seconds when you get take a photo with Spags holding the bus next to him.
I don't even have to present it. You can take it.
It's just, I don't know, man.
Cody wants his name engraved. A gift from Cody Tapp.
It doesn't have to have my name on it.
That's what you want.
I already
You
offered
want a
it.
sign.
If you are a savvy business person, if Volkswagen, Lee Summit, or one of the other great sponsors of the station, if Centric, if you're a savvy business person and you would like to put your name on the thing we present to Specs, fine. It's fine. I'm sure that can be included in there.
And Bacon, why are you guys giving this to me again? I just don't think the payoff.
4-time Super Bowl champ, 3-time in this city.
Yeah,
He deserves it. Someone says they'll get him his number and he can call you. Great. I'd at least like to have a conversation. It's worth exploratory talks.
Mm-hmm.
Exploratory. Maybe he's willing to do it for less than his normal rate. For the fine people here at 96.5 The Fan, in case anybody else needs a bronze bust made later.
Someone says you never gave an answer on the 10 grand for a punch.
I mean, how are we going to get this
I think
arranged?
that's a new Cody Gold garage sale item, and you're volunteering. It sounds like
It's like a dunk tank, but to punch me.
Yeah, it's way more. It's $965 for each punch. Okay, it's $965 for one punch.
Seems like kind of a cheap price for a punch. That better be.
Well, you'll have some face guard and stuff
Okay.
on. Yeah.
I was like,
How many
protection.
punches do you think we could raise for the museum?
It'd be a concerning amount.
I think we would break a record.
Concerning
I think
amount
we would
of people.
I think we would get at least 10 people.
If you made the
that would-
$96.50,
Oh, that's too cheap.
a
That's
punch.
too cheap. We might get 500 people that do that. That's too cheap.
I do think, though, that your idea, if it was presented, like if you had enough money to put a commercial out during a Chiefs game, you'd have more than enough money raised for a quality bust to be made of Spags for the Chiefs.
Mhm.
I think.
So I need 10 grand.
There'd be enough people who would say yes.
You guys are worried I needed 100 grand. I only need 1,000 people. We're on the FM dial. 1,000 people? It's nothing. Nothing. Speaking of the game tonight, let's move on to the offensive side of the ball.
Please.
Not Steve Spagnuolo's
Please.
effort. I saw the multiple tight end injuries this weekend, and I know it'd be easy to just be like, okay, Wiley's got one catch. The fourth string tight end's got no catches. Does Jody Forth, right? He had like 3 catches. Does this matter? It does. It actually does. Not for the reasons you would typically think. But the Chiefs use 4 tight ends. After all the wide receivers went down, they reinvented themselves into a successful, effective run team. And they did that based on the fact that they could use their tight ends in big sets to block. Kareem Hunt is currently second in the NFL in rushing efficiency, which is, I'm sure, shocking to a number of people in the NFL. And, of course, this is why I hate fantasy football. All the names in the top 10 were like Rico Dowdle and Kareem Hunt. People you, would have drafted under other people, but they are an effective run team, and they use their tight ends. I do think for at least one game, this concerns me offensively until they can once again reinvent themselves again.
They'll have to get acclimated, but I will say, I don't think suddenly they just are no longer able to use multiple tight end sets. Could it impact them tonight? I guess, but they already activated Peyton Hendershot, who's been with this team multiple times throughout this season. They went out and signed like Anthony Ferkser, who's still in the league apparently, to be on the practice squad. He was with the Chiefs.
Nick and I had a bet on Anthony Ferkser one on
He was with the Titans for a couple of years,
Mm-hmm.
but he was also on the Chiefs in like 2017 or 2016. I think he was a training camp guy or something. Anyway, he's back with the team on the practice squad. My point is, as they get over the next week or two, I'm guessing Peyton Hendershot can fulfill some of the same blocking duties. That's what we're talking about here. Is can you have someone that can block as well as Jared Wiley was? Because the last two games heading in, Wiley had 27 offensive snaps, no targets, no yards. Jody Fortson had 29 offensive snaps, 2 targets, no yards. They need Peyton Hendershot to just be a strong blocking tight end. They did not lose a receiving threat. There was no receiving threat of that bunch. Maybe Jared Wiley can be that at some point in his career. It sucks in his rookie year. He tore out his ACL. I feel terrible for him. But from a receiving end, they didn't lose that. So if they believe Peyton Hendershot or Anthony Ferkser can end up being good enough blocking tight ends, that's what this is. That's where this is not an impact. Now, if Hendershot's not successful at blocking, that'll be a problem. He's also a special teams contributor. Wiley was, and so is Pendershot.
I just think that like Pendershot was below those guys for a reason, right? They could have chosen Pendershot instead of Jody Fortson, instead of Wiley. They chose the players they chose to be in those spots.
I'm laughing because I got you screwed up now too. I called him Hendershot. I called him Pendershot. Now you're calling him Pendershot. Peyton Hendershot. That's my fault. I got you saying it now.
The point is that when you look at where their tight ends are, it actually is fundamentally how they operate as a team. Look, because I got asked earlier on Twitch. Someone had said, "Hey, do you think that Kareem Hunt's body can keep holding on to this? You guys worried about like the wear and tear?"
Coming back soon.
Thing? It's like, and that was kind of my response. What I need out of Kareem Hunt is to stay on his 2 feet long enough for Pacheco to come back, and then they can be each other's safety net from a reps perspective. You don't give too much Pacheco coming back from the injury, and you don't give too much to Hunt, who had not gotten a training camp, played much this season, all the things that come with it. They need the rushing attack. Tonight is big, too, because the Bucs stink against the run.
Yeah,
They're not
I was
good
surprised
against the run.
to see, just on a yards per carry basis, they're tied with the Giants for the worst defense in football against the run yards per carry. The Giants defense as a whole has been good. The Bucs defense as a whole, not bad. Overall yardage against the run, they're middle of the pack. But yards per carry,
which is all that matters.
They're not good. And then to couple with the stat you referenced in success rate, not yardage, but success rate out of all running backs this year with a minimum of, X amount of carries, Kareem Hunt is the second best running back in football. And they got him off the street. So, like, tonight, in terms of how do we see this game going and all that, like, I think that's an area, once again, the Chiefs lean heavily on. I think Kareem Hunt's getting 22-plus carries tonight against Tampa. It should be an area that they have success. The weather also seems like it's going to trend into that kind of game. I know usually it's more about the wind than it is the rain or the wet conditions in terms of is it going to impact passing the ball. But you got to keep an eye on that tonight, I think, out at Arrowhead, given the weather forecast for earlier pregame, and I'm sure what'll impact the first quarter more than it will the rest of the game. I just think from the Chiefs' offensive perspective, running the ball should be, once again, a huge point of this offense. And then on the Bucs end, we all know the injuries for them. I mean, much different matchup going in. This was building up to be a huge Monday Night Football game. Chiefs are now 9.5-point favorites. There's no Chris Godwin. There's no Mike Evans. I don't think this is going to be nearly the kind of football game and tough of a matchup as it could have been 3.5 weeks ago.
I might be wrong. It's just like when I look at this team, and maybe I'm just every once in a while, about once a month, I don't go like full Bob, but like I become
full Bob.
I become overly confident in what they are. Like tonight, it just feels like I'm like, all right, Kareem Hunt's gonna have a couple touchdowns. Trent McDuffie's gonna get his first interception, and they're just gonna win 30-10. They do not do that, but one time every year, singular. I mean, that's it. It's one time a year for the Chiefs. They don't go through a run like the Lions are going through right now, where they've just been kicking the teeth into teams, or like the Bills have done maybe to 3 teams this year. The Ravens have done to 2 to 3 teams already this year. They have more losses in Kansas City, but have just run away on a team a couple of times this year. One time a year, they just beat up a team. And it just feels like most of the time when you get these teams like the Bucs, who have been scratching and surviving despite all of the water that they have taken on, eventually they're just going to fall flat. And while Baker Mayfield and Patrick Mahomes are probably responsible for one of the single most entertaining college football games of all time, and Baker Mayfield has certainly made the most out of being without some of these weapons for the Bucs, I just feel like it's going to turn midnight. They can bounce back next week and all these things come into play. But to be a team that doesn't stop the run well and Kansas City runs the ball well, to a team that relies on the run, especially now that those wide receivers are hurt against the number one run defense, this feels like a favorable matchup for Kansas City, more so than even last week's matchup in some ways.
The Chiefs, though, other than the Bears game last year, the last time the Chiefs just like completely blew out an opponent was the Bears game. And so maybe you think they're due, but that's just typically not what they've done. But at the same time, last Tuesday or Wednesday on the show, we went through the last 4 games for Kansas City, and they've won by a touchdown or more in all those. But they also only have one where it was or 2 that were double digits. And so if you're thinking you want to add it to the Niners game, they won 28-18. And then, of course, the Saints game.
And the Raiders was really close.
I do think tonight could be a lot like that Saints game on the Monday night when it was 26-13. It was the night
like
it was the night of the divisional round game when the Royals game was going on. We were trying to watch 2 games at once. Yeah, not a stressful Chiefs game. Maybe it was not stressful for the Chiefs because we were all stressing out the Royals. I don't know. Maybe that's why it seemed less stressful. But they were a Juju Smith-Schuster tip pass in the end zone away from really extending that lead and having that be the first real blowout the Chiefs have had in a calendar year. Tonight we'll give our official game predictions in the 1 o'clock hour. But I think you guys can kind of tell where it sounds like you're trending as well for this one. I don't think the Chiefs will end up covering the 9.5. I just think it's very difficult to cover. It was won by 10 in the NFL. Yeah, they've done it twice this year, but it's just really tough to do that. It's typically one of those where the Chiefs also kind of pack it in later in the game if they feel good about their defense and that the Bucs aren't able to do anything. We'll know very early on in the game whether or not the Bucs are capable of hanging around, and even in that first drive, because typically that's when teams do have success against the Chiefs defense is the first drive of the game. If they can't even do that tonight against the defense, then good luck.
We did this for game 1, so I'm curious for game 2. What is your stat line prediction for DeAndre Hopkins tonight?
Okay.
We did that for week 1. You ended up being, yours just like slowly increased day by day because we got closer to the game. You're like, you know what? And I think we were all, let's just ballpark it, in the 4 for 50 range. And I thought he was going to have a touchdown. He didn't have that. He's about half of that on the yardage total. What is our official predictions for DeAndre Hopkins in game 2 as a starter? Because that's the biggest swing for what is the offense going forward is just how good is DeAndre Hopkins. Obviously, he's a professional wide receiver. He's going to handle the job. But to what level is he? I'm in that same range, like 4 for 60. I think he's going to play 65% of the snaps. I do think they'll try to find him in the red zone again this week. I don't know if they'll find a touchdown, but for the same reason that I just told you, I think that they might just run away with it. I think it's like a 2-3 touchdown night maybe for Mahomes, too, if it's not Kareem who's getting 2 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, he had 2 catches for, 20-something yards last time.
I think is what it was.
But they were key catches to move the sticks. You would think the snap count is, of course, up another week plus in the system.
It has to be, yeah.
Getting to know that, going up against a Bucs team that, I wonder where their focus will be, if they're going to try to key in on the run more, or will they just focus perhaps more in on shutting down Travis Kelce in this game because Kelce started to get going the last 2 weeks. Yeah, as far as stat line, I mean, I think he ends up with 5 or 6 targets in this game. So let's call it 5 catches for 70 yards or so.
You think
that's where I'm at.
You think it's touchdown?
That's such a fickle stat.
Would you bet an anytime touchdown for DeAndre Hopkins?
Not with the value that it's at, no.
That was a better way to ask that question.
Yeah, I mean, not with the value. I mean, I can pull it up. Anytime touchdowns tonight, who would you rather bet on to get touchdowns based off of some of the numbers that are out on the board?
Kareem's probably favored, isn't he?
Over at FanDuel,
he's minus 200.
Touchdown score props. Kareem Hunt minus 180, Kelce plus 115, Hop 180. I'd almost rather bet Xavier Worthy at plus 220 instead of Hopkins. I could see Worthy on a jet sweep or something tonight gets a touchdown.
Worthy's got 5 touchdowns on the year.
He's found the end. Yeah, he's found the end zone. I mean, if you want to go way further down the board and you just think, hey, it's going to be one
Justin
of those.
Watson revenge.
Justin Watson
revenge game.
Well, I don't know about revenge, but 6-1.
Here's a buck.
Yeah.
What about Noah Gray?
This is what's crazy. FanDuel still has Jody Fortson on the board. Please don't bet on Jody. Now, look, it'll get voided because he doesn't play. He is on the IR, and you can still bet Fortson 17-1.
goodness.
Something
I'm gonna
tells
pass
me.
on that one.
Can they give me a two-way market on that? No. I'm going to bet no that he
He's
does
just Stone
not
Cold.
go.
He's going to flip the thing off of the wheelchair, and this was
It has
all
both.
a big.
They have Jody Fortson and Jared Wiley still on the board to get a touchdown. They both are out for the season. I want to update that. That's the problem. This is the live market. Now, if this is why I wish they offered like two-way markets, but again, the player.
I
has
bet
to
the no
actually,
pretty fast there.
The player has to
I think
actually.
that would also get voided.
The player actually has to play in the game, in order for it to even be an eligible bet. But interesting.
I mean, that makes sense. Someone said, bet the anytime touchdown for D-Hop. You
Yeah,
know?
I mean, look, I'm not saying you can't get a touchdown. Just at plus 180. Oh, first touchdown, 10-1. That's more intriguing. Got enough juice where
The same problem with the Chiefs, though. I hate betting Chiefs first touchdowns because
they kick off.
they're letting up a touchdown on like 80% of opening drives, and they kick the ball to the other team like every time they get to win the coin flip.
And they keep winning the coin toss, too, but it's happening again.
I wish that they would do, so the NBA does this. The NBA does first team basket score. So you can do first basket score, then you can do first team basket score.
I mean, you can do first Chiefs touchdown. I mean, that exists.
Are you able to do that?
On some books, yeah. You're not going to get as good of odds, but there's some books you can do.
You might be 5-1 for Hopkins instead of 10.
First team touchdown scorer, you can do that. Kareem Hunt for his team is plus 230, whereas by it's plus 410 across the entire game. So it's cut in half.
Second plus, but yeah.
So you might get 5 to 6 to 1 on D-Hop if you went that way. Drew, you going to finally go to a Chiefs game tonight? We got to get you to one this year.
You got a press pass. Nice, warm, cozy press box for you. You haven't been to Arrowhead before?
Have not.
Before it gets really cold?
This sounds like an automatic no coming here.
I think that next week the Broncos game is the one.
Broncos noon Sunday game, huh?
Bo Nix. Yeah.
Yeah, I will not be there tonight.
Plus the game might mean a little bit more for me individually as well, depending on how Thursday goes.
Oh, that's what this is.
If
You have
the
a Sunday where your Bengals aren't playing. But the Bengals aren't playing tonight.
If the Bengals beat the Ravens on Thursday and the Chiefs beat the Broncos, the Bengals are the 7th seed.
Drew, I don't want this to come off as attacking.
Here we go again.
I don't want this to come off as like Cody's just picking on Drew to do this. I'm not just saying this to get a rise out of you like I think maybe other people in this station would do. I'm not just doing it to get a rise out of you. Cincinnati is fraudulent. They are not a good football team. Their only wins are against really not just bad. The word go. Can you just do me a quick favor? Can you pull up the current draft order? Can you pull up the current draft order for the teams picking in the top 10 of the 2025 NFL draft for me?
They're all in there.
Just real quick.
I've got it.
All right. New England, where would they rank? That's one of
They would be drafting first overall.
First overall. Okay. That's. Oh, wait. They didn't even beat New England. I'm sorry.
That was a loss.
Sorry.
They lost.
Sorry, let me get to their wins now. Panthers.
4th.
Giants.
7th.
Browns.
5th.
Raiders.
6th.
I mean, dude, that is a fraudulent resume. To be 4-5 and only beat teams that have a combined like 8 or 9 wins.
It'll make it that much more embarrassing when the Bills lose to them when they're the 7th seed and the Bills are the 2.
They got to try to get to the playoffs.
I told Gold last week, and I firmly believe this is all I'll say about it. If they make the playoffs, they will win the game, and then they will play the Chiefs. I'm not saying they're going to beat the Chiefs. They will beat the 2 seed, and they will play the Chiefs in Arrowhead.
I love the confidence.
Look, if they make it.
I love the confidence. I don't. We don't need to rehash this, but it is funny to me that for a 4-win team, you can be so confident to say, "Oh, they'll beat the 2 seed, no problem." The 2 seed that could be Baltimore or Buffalo, no problem, or the Texans even, no problem. They'll beat them. Your team is a 4-win team right now, and you're confident that they're going to beat the number 2 seed in the AFC.
Hey, Eli
Manning on the road too. On the road.
Eli Manning won the Super Bowl with a 9-win team.
Let's pick the most outlier of outliers possible.
And Joe Burrow is a better quarterback than Eli Manning. That's all I'm saying.
Yes, he is.
That's all I'm saying.
Eli Manning's maybe a future Hall of Famer, 2-time Super Bowl.
I'm sorry, Drew, but I got to say it. I hope on Thursday the Ravens just put your team out of their misery. I'm sorry.
I'm sure
the Ravens aren't getting the number 1 seed anyway. I hope the Ravens just beat the Bengals on Thursday night and put you out of your misery. That way you don't get false hope the next 2.5 months. Just put them out of their misery.
I'll tell you right now, if the Bengals do make the playoffs and they beat the 2 seed, the Chiefs should be scared spitless of the Cincinnati. I said it from the jump. And I'm consistent with it. There's one team. Yeah,
they're going to be scared of They're going to be scared. The team they beat 3 times in a row.
I just like
7 seed Cincinnati.
Like we could have all these hypotheticals. The truth is, like, again, not to like, they're just a bad team. They just have a soft schedule. They're playing a last-place schedule.
And your quarterback is very good. That's true, but the team sucks.
I know, but the season restarts in the playoffs, boys. It's always that way.
I don't think they're ever getting to the playoffs.
It's always that way.
That's the point. I don't think they're getting to the playoffs.
You just said the schedule's softer. I like it. The fact that
no, it's already been
the
soft.
Colts don't know who the quarterback is. They're having issues. The Broncos, we all think are fake.
I mean,
compared to what the record was.
I mean, look, there's still plenty of games that are winnable.
Yeah, Chargers, Colts, Ravens will be the wild card teams. It's already solidified. It's already done. Chargers, Colts, Ravens, wild card teams. Up next, let's get to what's trending. We'll get back into
today.
Michael Wacha. Michael Wacha's new 3-year deal to stay in Kansas City.
Cody and Gold.
I didn't sleep well. I was drunk.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. 96.5, The Fan.
Storms coming through Kansas City tonight. There were some over the weekend, of course, too. This is when you find out whether or not your roof's okay. Century Roofing can take a look at that for you. If you've been hearing that drip, you're worried about that little water spot in the corner, don't wait. Don't wait till small problems become big problems, and work with a roofing company that's been putting roofs on Kansas City homes for 34 years. 34 years, over 30,000 roofs. Experts in hail damage, working with your insurance company. They'll handle all of those things from start to finish on your product. So whether it's a roof replacement or you just need some roof repairs like me, those things you can take care of. And why not work with a local company? I said that they've been in Kansas City for a long time. They're also trying to do good, which matters, I think, as well. And when you're talking about companies you want to work with, you want companies that do good things in Kansas City and to continue to give some away the rest of the year to Operation Breakthrough this year. Go to Century Roofing and find out for yourself how you can make this better and be in better shape so your home is taken care of. Schedule your estimate today from KC-based and female-owned Century Roofing. Trust the pillars of strength. Go to CenturyRoofingKC.com and tell them that Cody sent you.
Cap off NFL Week 9 with a chance to win on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. New customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins on tonight's game. And, of course, it's Buccaneers right here in Kansas City. Let's take Patrick Mahomes over 1.5 passing touchdowns, Travis Kelce over the receiving yards, and Cade Otton with an anytime touchdown. Just visit FanDuel.com/610Bob to make every moment more this season. FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL and of 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
MD Anderson Cancer Center is again ranked #1 in the nation for cancer care by U.S. News & World Report's Best Hospitals rankings. Our physicians treat more types of cancers in a day than many see in their whole career. This unmatched depth of expertise, combined with our groundbreaking discoveries, gives our patients access to the most innovative treatment options. Learn more at mdanderson.org.
The nightmare stories are all too common with home services companies. Shoddy workmanship, subpar materials, or everyone's favorite, getting halfway done with the job and taking a 2-month break. So, if you need to replace your windows, siding, or doors, you could spend hours online researching companies. Or you can start with the perfect company and call Thermo King. With over 25 years selling and installing energy-efficient windows, James Hardie siding, and the most beautiful entry doors available, Thermo King will make your home project hassle-free and easy. Their triple glass replacement windows will save you money on your energy bills. Their James Hardie siding will last decades, and their entry doors will make your guests say, "Holy cow!" Right now, you can save thousands on replacement windows, siding, or a new entryway door. Great financing plans are available to make paying for your project easy. Get the process started today. 888-KING-WIN or online at thermokingwindows.com.
Our favorite reason to choose Diamonds Direct over any other jeweler? Free service for life with no fine print. That's right. When you buy your engagement ring or any piece of jewelry at Diamonds Direct, you will never have to pay a dime in the future for sizing, cleaning, or routine maintenance. At Diamonds Direct, there's no gotcha clause, no fine print, no looking for ways to void the warranty. Diamonds Direct, the jeweler you can trust with a no questions asked 100% free lifetime warranty with no strings attached. Come see us to learn more.
Reason number 52 to choose Diamonds Direct over any other jeweler. Only Diamonds Direct gives you a 110% diamond upgrade guarantee. Diamonds Direct will give you 110% of your original purchase price toward the new stone. That's 10% more than you paid the first time. Guaranteed appreciation. Who else does this? There's no fine print and no minimum purchase requirement. It's 10% more, period. Buy with confidence. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Robinhood is introducing forecast contracts so you can trade the presidential election. Through Robinhood, you can now trade financial derivatives contracts on who will win the U.S. presidential election, Harris or Trump, and watch as contract prices react to real-time market sentiment. Each contract you own will pay $1 on January 8, 2025 if that candidate is confirmed as the next U.S. president by Congress. Learn more about the presidential election contracts on Robinhood at robinhood.com/election. The risk of loss in trading commodities interest can be substantial. You should therefore carefully consider whether such trading is suitable for you in light of your financial condition. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Commodity interest trading is not appropriate for everyone. Displayed prices are based on real-time market sentiment. This event contract is offered by Robinhood Derivatives, a registered futures commission merchant and swap firm. Exchange and regulatory fees apply. Learn more at robinhood.com/election.
You can listen to the play-by-play of the Chiefs and Bucks game with Mitch, Danon, and Kling right here on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan, KFNC FM and AM HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, and Odyssey Sports Station. What's trending?
What's Trending is presented by Baker University, where graduates earn higher salaries and land jobs faster than any other university in Kansas. Apply today at bakeru.edu. Number one, of course, Chiefs, Bucks tonight at Arrowhead. You can hear the game on 96.5 The Fan right here. Your home for the Chiefs, your home for Kansas City sports. Mitch, Dane, and Kling, Dan Israel on the call, 4 o'clock pregame. Get you set for this one. Chiefs 9.5-point favorites, trying to get to 8-0 on the season before they go back to the AFC West next week, taking on the Broncos.
Pretty big game, it would seem like, for the Bucks, who try to stay. The NFC's wide open. There's going to be some weirdo. There's going to be like a lot of 9-8 teams down there in that final spot.
Could start to distance themselves in their division if the Bucks go down tonight, just slightly. Otherwise, it'll be still a two-horse race there.
Kirk Cousins has been playing really well. Next up on What's Trending, Kansas local college basketball starts tonight.
Yeah.
Kansas against Howard tonight at 7. Kansas State at New Orleans at 7. MU at Memphis at 7. And UMKC takes on Hannibal LaGrange at 6 o'clock.
That's the matchup I can't wait for. It starts at 6. It's early. It's before the Chiefs game.
The Chiefs game, dude.
Is that even available to stream anywhere? Is there
ESPN Plus maybe?
I don't even know if that's an ESPN Pluser. That I don't know. But that's the one.
I
the
have
other
a hard
one.
time finding that one on
the
traditional
other locals are playing right at the start of the Chiefs game. Sorry. Not going to be watching Kansas against Howard or K-State against New Orleans. Mizzou at Memphis is interesting, but again, same time as the Chiefs game. Sorry. It's also November 4th.
I can't pay attention till college basketball until conference play regularly, right?
Mm-hmm.
Big game here or there. Kansas, North Carolina, let's talk.
Then.
Conference play. That's when I start locking in.
Next up on What's Trending, Bobby Wood Jr. and Seth Lugo each taking home Gold Glove Awards yesterday. That's, of course, the first one for Bobby Wood Jr. Also, Bobby Wood Jr. and Salvador Perez, finalists for the Silver Slugger Award. keep getting some more hardware for Bobby Witt.
I think Bobby Witt is going to win that, so he'll be a Gold Glove winner, a Silver Slug Award winner in a 30-30-30 season.
And going to finish second in MVP probably,
Salvi probably, too. He had a great offensive year, especially at catcher. That's less competition, at least on that end. But good for Bobby Witt Jr. and Seth Lugo. Royals had 4 nominees, got 2 Gold Gloves out of it. Not bad. I also saw that Frank Mazzucato won the minor league Gold Glove.
He did.
First in Royals history.
First for a pitcher, yeah.
Yes.
First for a pitcher in Royals history in the minors.
Not bad. Next up on Watch Trading, Dennis Allen was officially let go by the Saints this morning after losing his 7th consecutive game yesterday. He's now been fired as a head coach twice in the NFL. Both times Derek Carr was his quarterback at the time of his firing. The Raiders have also let go of their offensive coordinator, Luke Getsy, after their 2-7
Who could have seen the Luke Getsy thing being a problem?
He wasn't good at the last time.
Bad in Chicago. Then they brought him in to coach Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew. What did you think was going to happen with that offense? He's the first scapegoat there with the Raiders. Unless they just don't want to pay 2 head coaches at once. Antonio Pierce likely will get fired too, but they're already paying Josh McDaniels, so maybe Antonio Pierce keeps his job somehow because of that. Otherwise, this is just the first step there in Las Vegas before they kind of blow that whole thing up.
Can I take the shortest, saddest victory lap? Dennis Allen hiring.
You're
from the
so
beginning.
happy today about Dennis Allen getting fired.
It was such a stupid hiring. He was one of the worst coaches historically in NFL history. They bought all the way in. Signed their quarterback, made a million moves, mortgaged the future, and then put it all in the hands of Dennis Allen? I mean, that was just dumb. That's just bad footballing. Anytime you wonder if you would be the worst NFL GM if they gave you the job today, no. The answer is no. I'd have done a better job at hiring than that dude did.
Yeah, they just went with the easy replacement. He was already in-house as a defensive coordinator when Sean Payton left. He has not been good, but I also think, we're acting like he's the worst. 7-10, 9-8, and now 2-7. Not great, but also 9-8 last year would already put him in much better category than some of these other coaches. He should be fired, but we're acting like Dennis Allen's the worst head coach of the last 5 years is just not accurate. There's been way worse. That's how bad coaching has been.
Josh McDaniels
in the NFL. McDaniels, Nathaniel Hackett.
I was honest.
What's his name?
I said McDaniels stunk too.
Vance Joseph for the 1 year that he was. There's a lot of guys that are great. Fangio, great coordinators. Vic Fangio, great coordinator. Just struggle to be a head coach.
I'd rather have Fangio than
Vance Joseph is back in Denver now, doing a nice job as a defensive coordinator. Wasn't a good head coach. Romeo Crennel, great coordinator, not a good head coach.
Went ahead and looked it up. Dennis Allen has the 3rd worst winning percentage for a qualified head coach in NFL history.
And Derek Carr has been the quarterback both times he was fired. Ironically enough.
Stinks.
By the way, Cody.
And now everything is solved for the Saints. All good. It's all his fault. They're fine now. They're going to start winning games.
Yeah, they're going to put Rattler in.
Don't think so.
Derek Carr, that's a mess in New Orleans. You got former wide receivers, Michael Thomas calling out Derek Carr for, Colin Saunders, former chief, acting like he should play quarterback. At least it'd be entertaining. I mean, it's a mess. It's a mess. What are you saying, Drew?
Unless you have Midco Sports Plus, you will not be able to watch UMKC.
Oh, we did have it during the Summit League Championship last year.
Oh, well, you might be able to watch it then.
I don't have an active account anymore. I was borrowing someone's account. I had that so we could watch UMKC.
I'm going to get us a
Denver
login so we can watch UMKC.
against Hannibal LaGrange.
Uh-huh.
Isn't the game at home? Why don't you just go, Cody?
Let's
Mr.
bet on the spread.
UMKC.
I'll be on campus.
Why don't you go?
It's a Chiefs game, dude. And my class technically is before the class starts.
Oh, so you'll cancel. Hold on. You'll cancel class for the Royals, but you won't cancel class for the university's team.
We left early for the Royals. I notably did not cancel class. Maybe I should just let them out early. I've already had 3 students tell me they have to go cover it.
I don't think your students will go to the game, though, unless they're, covering it for the student paper.
3 of them are. 3 of them have already requested to
We got to find
early.
a game. We're going to go to a UMKC game this year.
It's not LaGrange.
No.
Not tonight. Not a Monday night football for the Chiefs.
I don't think so.
Can I bet on that one? What's the?
There's no way.
gosh.
That is.
Relax. They're a Division I team. You don't think I can bet on you?
No, the issue is the team they're playing.
Hannibal LaGrange is not.
The issue is the team that they're playing, Cody. That might be the problem.
Setting a line on that does, and it seems like it would be challenging, admittedly. So,
if you're betting on that game, you're like down bad almost too. I mean, you're.
Maybe I just feel like I know more than the other people, No available bets at the moment on UMKC on at least one side.
They are an NCCAA team. They're lower than NAIA.
Yeah. Missouri is a 4.5-point underdog to Memphis tonight. KU is a 26.5-point favorite against Howard. K-State, New Orleans. I don't think that's. I haven't seen that
game's
one.
tomorrow.
Oh, it is tomorrow. Sorry.
That would be why.
Last thing for an additional what's trending.
Okay.
Obviously, they thought, but they confirmed Eric Hall Jr. for the Bengals did tear his ACL.
That's tough.
And also Zach Taylor saying Zach Moss is out indefinitely due to his neck injury.
Chase Brown was great yesterday when he got all those carries. I know, Cody, you were saying they just need to feed Chase Brown. He had 27 carries yesterday.
And then like week 2. I don't know what the hell took so long.
I don't know either.
I think Chase Brown is on my guillotine league team, which is surviving another week, Gold.
Still around.
Surviving. We lost Drew week 2. You and I are still kicking around, man.
We're still around in that. That is true. All right, coming up in 20 minutes, we'll get back into a couple names that are floating out there for the trade market ahead of the deadline tomorrow for the Chiefs, 3 o'clock deadline. That's coming up in just a bit. But Michael Wacha signed a 3-year deal with Kansas City to stay with the Royals. We had Vern in studio with us earlier today. If you missed that, you can check out the podcast on the Odyssey app in the 11 o'clock hour of the show. There was a sense of confidence, it felt like, anytime we talked to anybody with the Royals organization about Michael Wacha staying here. They were confident that he enjoyed his time in Kansas City. They obviously were confident they could find some financial ways to make this happen. I think the 3rd year, of course, is the key here. He was going to opt out otherwise because he was going to get more money on the open market. 3 years, $51 million is the reported dollar amount from Jeff Passan. If they exercise the club option in year 4, that would be pretty stunning, but I guess they could. Then it would all of a sudden be over $70 million. I would be absolutely shocked if the club option ended up getting exercised in 4 years from now.
He'd have to be pretty good.
It'd be pretty wild if that was the case. But I love that he's back. He was sensational. I think in the second half he might have been their best pitcher actually in the rotation. That is, you get him back. We know about the leadership aspect of this, and now your rotation 1 through 3, and if you want to extend it out to 4 with Brady Singer. We know what that meant to this team a year ago. We know that's the biggest reason, along with Bobby Wood Jr., why they had the turnaround from 56 wins to getting into the postseason, to winning a postseason series.
It certainly comes with a risk. Similar to that is because it's probably a really close dollar amount to like the Ian Kennedy deal, which eventually blew up in Kansas City's face. But Walker's been a far more consistent big league player. He was consistent for you this year. He's been identical in 3 consecutive seasons since coming back from the injury when he was like 27 years old. This is a win. I don't know how this isn't a win. Obviously, Walker's fine. He had just had to sign a 1-year deal. The Royals had to add the option year to convince him. There was no other team in baseball willing to give him 2 years last year, or he wouldn't even have been a Royal.
Yeah, it is similar to a year ago in that regard, where I don't know if there was another team that was willing to give him 3. So they give him 3 this year. Last year, they gave him 2. People were worried about the option year when he signed last December.
And they would have happily just had him pick it up.
Yeah, and that's why I'm not worried about the years. If you're asking, hey, can he be effective for 3 more years? I'm not as concerned about that because we had the same conversation when they gave him the 2nd year last year. And also, when you take a look at the financial situation, I agree with Vern. It's like, hey, it's not my money. If they're willing to pay 3 years from now the $17 or $18 million,
even if he's not a good player,
then
which he might be.
But we're talking about for this year and next year in particular. You're coming off a playoff appearance, so now can you back that up? And I thought you brought up a good point, which is they don't have enough guys to replace 2 spots in the rotation. I say 2 because if you lost Wacha, then Singer becomes your 3rd, and you're looking at a 4th and a 5th starter internally, unless I guess you went and signed another free agent. Now you know that you're only asking yourself, unless you trade Brady Singer, to fill the 5th spot. And that'll be a bunch of different names likely competing for that, whether it's Bubic, Lynch. If they still believe Lynch is a starter, I think he's a bullpen guy at this point. But Bubic, Lynch, Kyle Wright, some other in-house candidates. Maybe they'll bring in some other vet in February. They'll sign some random veteran and bring him in just to have some competition. I don't know. Stuff like that. That's much different than asking to fill the 4th and the 5th spot.
I think it's really important. So if they're serious about winning, which I thought last offseason proved that they were, John Sherman put his money where his mouth was, right? He said he wanted a wild card team. He gave Bobby Wood Jr. one of the richest contracts in baseball history, certainly the richest contract in Royals history by a factor of like 5 times. So like way above anybody they had paid. Salvi, I think to that point, like $80 million was the highest contract they had paid. Gave the money for Wacha, gave the money for Lugo, gave the money to win. How did they win last year? Go real quick, recap the Royals season for anybody who missed it. What was the single biggest reason the Royals went to the postseason?
James MacArthur. No, it was
the starting
rotation.
Correct. MacArthur hurt there towards the end. Helped in the beginning, though.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
I'd like to make note of that now. But when you look at it, was the starting rotation. So now what you've done is, if you choose to do nothing else the rest of this offseason, you are the exact same team you were last year. Same starting rotation, same starting lineup, same players who got you there will be back again next year. You are no worse on paper than you were last year. Was it a fight to get into a playoff spot? It was. Would you like to get better? Yes, you would. But I think the bullpen is better. But from a rotation and a starting rotation and from a starting lineup perspective, you're the same now that you bring Wacha back. And I think that that's massive.
No, it's a huge deal. That was their number one priority, and they got it done. You know, that's a credit to John Sherman once again. It's a credit to J.J. Picola. We'll talk about the options this gives them in the 1 o'clock hour, because I do think, and I see it on the text line, and we'll get there at 1 o'clock, which is, well, what does this mean for the outfield? Does this give them a trade asset? Hey, that's all. Maybe. It's all in play. I mean, it's pretty clear. If the number one priority was bringing back Wacha, the number one priority now is finding a leadoff bat. Is that available? And you know, we had Vernon. The issue is there's not a ton of open spots unless you move somebody. Like
unless you're going to move MJ Melendez,
correct, or
move Kyle.
Because Hunter Renfroe last week opted in to his player option. He's taking advantage of that. Why not? Yeah, good money for him. So you're not messing with that spot. So you're really talking about, would you move a...
Are you moving on from Michael Garcia? Are you moving on from MJ Malone? Are you trading those people away and then bringing... and then also paying Alex Bregman, whatever the hell it takes?
Something tells me that will not happen.
Okay, Santander.
Something tells me that I would love that, but that may not happen. I do know the organization... I think
Teoscar Hernandez. Who's your dream? What? Jurickson Profar. You want me to give you a reasonable answer?
Profar's my guy.
There's your reasonable answer.
Well, he would be a platoon guy. He could also he could platoon.
Play anywhere.
He could platoon with Renfroe and MJ Melendez. Yeah, he can play basically anywhere. No, I do not think Alex Bregman is coming to the Kansas City Royals. Don't think so.
Why not?
I don't believe
that's less
happen.
ridiculous than if I had said Juan Soto.
I feel like
I think that's really realistic, actually.
Alex
Screw
Bregman's
it. Juan Soto.
Alex Bregman's
he said he's open to any team. Did you hear that post-game comment? He's open to any team. Someone said, do the Yankees have, paraphrasing, like an inside path or something? He's like, no, I want to talk to every team. So, get it done. Get it done.
Bregman's one of those guys that if he's not on your team, you hate him. I think from
he's arrogant, but
all the Astros stuff as well. Mm-hmm. He comes across as that sort
of... The Royals and the Astros got a little bit of a history.
No, Alex Bregman won't be here. I would obviously love him as a baseball player in Kansas City. Duh.
But you're not willing to predict that.
I'm not. Are you?
No.
Are you?
No.
Juan Soto, better chance of coming here, actually, yeah.
Juan Soto has a better chance?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Could you imagine, just for 1 minute?
No, I can't imagine.
Could you imagine a world in which John Sherman decided he was just going to be the highest bidder on Juan Soto, and then tomorrow we're like, breaking news, the Royals are giving Juan Soto $650 million to play outfield for them. I'd be like, what?
That'd be insane.
What the hell happened here? What world is this? I'd be worried I got concussed and then I was suffering from a medical emergency that was making me delusional.
Yeah, it would definitely be a dream. That's all it's going to ever be. It's going to be a dream. You'll be dreaming of that show, that moment.
It's a pipe dream at this point.
That's all you're dreaming.
At this point, I just want Stanton for a playoff run. I don't even need regular season Stanton.
He was incredible.
He's so good in that playoff run. But, they lost, which brings me joy. You know what? The Royal season ended not the way you wanted, right? You want them to win the World Series, not lose. Mm-hmm. The Yankees still being even longer than the Royals since their last World Series. That warms my heart, though. That will, when the sun goes down at 5:05 tonight, I'll still be warm knowing that the Yankees lost in the World Series. Yeah. They got kind of embarrassed by the Dodgers.
Well, the fifth inning was terrific. Fifth inning, Aaron Judge can't catch a fly.
The entire thing.
Aaron Judge couldn't catch a fly ball, and Garrett Cole doesn't cover first. And it was entertaining. It really was. All right, let's talk more about the NFL from yesterday, because it was one of those nice days. Maybe you were out and about with your family and everything, but also it was a great red zone day because the Chiefs weren't playing. So if you're watching NFL red zone and some of the things that went down, it's very clear, in case you needed confirmation on it, watching the late afternoon game at Lambeau, where the Lions went into Lambeau Field and beat up on the Packers. It's pretty clear the Lions and the Chiefs are easily the two best teams in football. I don't know how there's any debate. And honestly, if somebody wants to say that the Lions are a better football team right now, I'm not going to argue with you. Now, I would say it doesn't really matter because you won't play them in the Super Bowl, and the Chiefs are undefeated. But the Lions right now look like the most impressive team all the way around. The difference is the Chiefs, I think, have some wiggle room to get better. I think the Lions are like they're to me they're peaking.
This is as good as
that's
they
the
are.
only danger I would have. Like this is as good as you're going to get, and it's pretty damn good. But this is as good as it's going to get for the Lions. I know what their best looks like. This is it right now.
I guess yesterday was funny because there were so many just like ass kickings of bad teams. I didn't think too much of it. Like I don't want to make too much of like the Bills almost losing to Miami because divisional games are weird, and so
Dude, favorites just dominated yesterday. I think 13-1 was the record for favorites. Just
straight
up favorites. So it was just a heavy day with what were perceived to be the better teams in football. All won yesterday, except for Dennis Allen's Saints, and he lost to the Panthers and got fired.
My biggest takeaway might be that Eberflus got to be fired now. Like, just get the hell out of it.
I think they'll wait all year. He's not going to get fired mid-season because they're not going to be like a 4-win team, which is what they currently sit at. I've told you, I think the best thing that could happen for the Bears, Caleb Williams gets them like 7 or 8 wins, so they're on the right track. They fire him, and they bring in Ben Johnson to be their head coach next year.
I hadn't realized it. This is the third straight quarterback, the third straight first-round quarterback that they have left the previous coach in place for. I'm like, what the hell? Have you not learned a single lesson? They just leave Fox around for, they just leave whoever around, right, for Mitch Trubisky, and then just leave the next guy around for Justin Fields to mess up, and then, well, Eberflus been no good. Let's just leave him around for Caleb Williams. Stop doing that. Like, at what point is an organization, and this goes down to Ryan Poles probably, but like, at what point is an organization do you not realize that plan stinks? And I would probably stop doing it. Like that part of it, sometimes I just don't understand NFL teams. The only other one that stood out to me, by the way, on the entire slate was probably Vikings-Colts, because I thought there for a second, I thought the Colts had a chance to be a good playoff team, and the Vikings seemed like they were in the middle of reeling. They got to win. Like that one felt like, okay, Colts still can't win with Joe Flacco consistently, and the Vikings are better.
The Vikings, remember that one of the losses was to the Lions in a nail biter as well. I think the Vikings are fine.
I just thought if they lost 3 in a row, they would have been reeling, yeah.
Going into the game, I think the Colts are better off with Joe Flacco. Did not like the matchup going into last night's game. We talked about it last week on the betting show. That was not a good matchup given the fact that Brian Flores blitzes as much as anybody in football. That's not what you want if you're Joe Flacco, and they're actually capable of executing that way. I think Flacco will get the Colts in the playoffs still, but that was not a game in which I expected them to cover either, and they didn't. So I wasn't surprised by last night's result.
How many of the current AFC playoff field do you actually think is making the playoffs?
So I believe
the teams that are in the 7 spots right now.
Yeah, so I think the Ravens are obviously going to be a playoff team.
Chiefs, Ravens, Bills.
But the Ravens are not leading their division. I'm talking wild card. So I take the division. I'm talking just wild cards. I think whoever's leading.
You might think the Steelers aren't making the playoffs.
I mean, do you? That's a pretty bold take. If you think the Steelers are going to fall off enough to not make the playoffs at all, dude, they're already at 6 wins. That would be a catastrophic collapse.
The remaining schedule, real quick.
Yeah.
Commanders, Ravens, Browns, Bengals, Browns, Eagles, Ravens, Chiefs, Bengals.
That ain't easy.
No, but they're a 6-win team. Like, we're acting like the Cincinnati game is tough. One team has 4 wins, one has 6. I know you had that memorized for a reason, Drew. I know why you had that memorized. I know you had that memorized for a reason. I would say overall, though, the wild card teams, because that to me, that's all we were talking about, is Chargers.
Ravens, Chargers, Broncos right now.
Broncos are out. Colts are in.
Other than that, you think it's the same?
Yep.
Okay. I definitely think the Chargers are making it. The Colts I'm not as convinced on.
I
actually borderline could, funny enough, I've been the biggest hater of all of them. Based on schedule, I could borderline talk myself into the Jets before I talk myself into the Colts. Jets schedules.
Are we sure the Chargers, though? Is the jury not still out on them? Their last 4, Broncos, Cardinals, Saints, Browns.
Yeah, the difference for them, though, is they're already at 5 wins, though. They already have a win. They have a leg up on a couple of these. They have one more win than the Colts. They have one more win than the Bengals.
They have a stretch. So they play the Titans next week. Then it's Bengals, Ravens, Falcons, Chiefs, Buccaneers.
Okay.
Bucs is winnable. Cincy's winnable.
I think we're going to learn a lot about. I mean, if they can get through that stretch 3-2, I guess.
Then they are.
Then I think they're in. I mean, that stretch is the key one for them.
Yeah, I just think it's funny how we all do this. Whatever we I'm obviously. I think the Colts make the playoffs, so obviously I'm trying to make a case for them, and you're making a case for whatever. That's how we all do this. I just think it's funny. We bring up the schedule for, let's say, the Colts or whatever. We're like, I don't know about that stretch, and then I look at Cincinnati. It's like, well, they have the Ravens, Chargers, Steelers, Cowboys, and Titans. I can say the exact same thing about them, And like, why is it? Why is the Colts schedule so tough when we say theirs?
I thought the Colts schedule was a little bit easier.
Or the Chargers, but then when I bring up Cincy's, it's like, oh well, those aren't. It's not that bad.
I mean, those are 3 bad teams. That stretch isn't that bad.
I just think
but
it's
the
because
Steelers twice.
When you look back at who they've beaten, who the Chargers have beaten, is that 5-3 a legit 5-3, just the same as much as is the Bengals 4-5 a legit?
But again, one team has 5 wins, one has 4.
I know, but it's one extra win. It's not that.
Well,
big
we're
of
talking
a
about the final
difference.
wild card spot, maybe.
I just think if we're judging the team based on what we've seen, I think it's. Are we sure that they're?
I think the Chargers are also a much better coach team. How about that? Like, I just think.
I think that's fair.
Raiders, Panthers, Broncos. I mean, those are equally as bad as the other ones you just mentioned from a wins. Saints, Browns. I mean, it's not a good resume.
I just in terms of, are the Chargers a playoff team?
No, but one of these
convincingly yes. I don't know if it's.
But one of these mediocre ass teams is going to be a 7 seed.
Oh yeah.
Like just one of these Colts, Chargers, Broncos, Bengals, Jets. One of these mediocre ass teams is going to be a 7 seed. I mean, we know that.
If you're just looking at the team on paper, the Jets should absolutely be the team that you're taking. If you're just looking at paper and picking, okay, which team looks the best? It's the Jets.
Wait, looks the best after 1 week?
Well, no. I'm saying if you're looking at if you're comparing rosters, the Jets should be the team that make the playoffs because of who they got.
Should be. I don't know. I mean, I'm not buying them after one.
Obviously, they're a little bit of a mess, but
they also have maybe the easiest schedule remaining. So we'll see.
All right, coming up next, what about the trade deadline? Tomorrow in the NFL, that is tomorrow afternoon. Latest report on who the Chiefs could be targeting. That's next.
Cody and Gold, brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. Follow the station on Instagram for ticket giveaways and behind-the-scenes content from the show at The Fan 965.
Cap off NFL Week 9 with a chance to win on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. New customers can get $150 in bonus bet if your first $5 bet wins on tonight's game. That, of course, is Bucs Chiefs Monday Night Football. You could build out a same-game parlay. Patrick Mahomes to go over 1.5 passing touchdowns, about Cade Otton to go over his receiving total, and Kareem Hunt to go over his rushing total. Just visit FanDuel.com/Alex. That's my promo code Alex, to make every moment more this season. FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL and 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Inside the Huddle is brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City. Discover the benefit of blue.
It's Derek Johnson, and this season, Sheet Metal Workers Local Number 2 are awarding one lucky school a $15,000 facilities enrichment grant. Tell us in 100 words why your school deserves the grant at helpmymocanschool.com and make this the best school season ever.
Do you wake up with joint pain? Does it hurt when you do even the most routine physical activity? Have they told you it's time for knee or hip replacement surgery? Hey, it's Bob Fesco. Stop what you're doing and listen. You deserve a life of comfort and ease with no surgery and no meds, and QC Kinetics can get you there. You can have real lasting relief from chronic joint pain without drugs, without surgery, and without downtime. Discover your options with advanced regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics. The consultation is absolutely free. This is an all-natural approach that harnesses your own body's healing properties to treat the root cause of your arthritis pain. So call QC Kinetics today, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. QC Kinetics off 435 in State Line and in Gladstone. It's QC Kinetics, 816-412-6299. Call QC Kinetics today.
Your attention is precious. Pulled in a million directions for a million different reasons. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City works hard to make sure your health insurance isn't one of the many things distracting you from what's important. By making healthcare easier to navigate, we help keep your focus on the moments that matter most. Like dinner with loved ones. Letting you focus on you. That's the benefit of Blue. Learn more at bluekc.com.
It's football season, and now you can get anything you need for game day delivered with Uber Eats. Well, almost anything. You can't get a running back, But baby back ribs? Yes. Uber Eats, official on-demand food delivery partner of the NFL.
All right, gentlemen, this is Emmitt Smith on behalf of Depend, and I've got the perfect play. Run straight to your doctor's office for a life-changing catch. Because when prostate cancer is caught early, it's up to 99% treatable, and one blood test might be all it takes. And now through November, Depend is donating to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for select purchases. Talk about a great play.
From September 1st to November 30th, Depend is donating 40 cents to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for Depend Shield Guards RealFit products purchased in the U.S. up to a maximum of $300,000 void in Mississippi.
It's football season, and now you can get anything you need for game day delivered with Uber Eats. Well, almost anything. You can't get a running back, but baby back ribs? Yes. Uber Eats, official on-demand food delivery partner of the NFL.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Pizza just goes better with Pepsi Zero Sugar.
Pizza.
Thank you. But don't take our word for it. In fact, don't take any words for it. Crispy and cheesy, paired with delicious and refreshing. My mouth is watering already. Ooh, too high. Yeah, we've all been there. Every bite is better with Pepsi.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. So at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited talk, text, and data for $30 a line when you buy 2. That's just $60 a month for 2 unlimited lines. So if you're 50 and up, make the switch and save. Come on, you've earned this. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today. Requires 2 lines of service, age validation, and credit approval, subject to system and area limits, taxes, and other fees apply.
Hey, what are you doing up on the step stool?
About to clean these light fixtures. The whole family's coming over, and if there's even a speck of dust in the house, my abuela will find it.
Here, I got a Swiffer duster to help with that.
A Swiffer what?
A Swiffer duster. It has this cool extendable handle that reaches 6 feet to get high and low, with fluffy dusters that easily trap and lock dust.
So, no more step stool?
No more step stool.
Easily trap and lock dust from hard-to-reach places with the Swiffer duster. Love it or your money back.
A Gain Scent Bead story. Jim was at the laundromat when he heard his ear said, "Maraca, senor," but his nose said, "Hey, freshest scent ever." Following his nose, Jim found a man pouring a bottle of Gain Scent Beads into the washer. The scent, the freshness. Jim blurted, "Sir, your scent Maraca smell amazing." Actually, Jim, most noses call them Gain Scent Beads. Try Gain Scent Beads, way fresher than detergent alone.
Arvest Bank, believing in the power of serving others.
Arvest Bank believes in the power of serving others. That's why we're committed to supporting those who serve our communities. We believe that all communities deserve a financial partner who cares. Arvest. We believe.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Back here on Cody and Gold. Game day in Kansas City, of course, tonight's game right here. 96.5 The Fan. You'll hear Mitch Holthus, Stan Hughes, Josh Klingler, Dan Israel on the call, 4 o'clock pregame as the Chiefs welcome in the Tampa Bay Bucks for Monday Night Football. Some of you that are going to get out there early tailgating, definitely got to have the old tent set up for this one. It is going to be a downpour. I know some of the meteorologists this weekend were saying that there's a chance during tailgating, some thunderstorms, some lightning and stuff. So be safe out there before tonight's game there in the parking lot. Tickets continue to dip. I don't know if you have checked any of the ticket pricing in the last 24 hours or so.
I haven't.
It keeps going down. I don't know if this is with fees or not. Just to get in the building, $81.
Well, that's pretty cheap
Wow,
for a Monday Night Football game.
7-0 football team. It's the weather. I get it. It's the weather. The biggest reason for that. But those are dipping down, man. It gets to a point where you're like, man, even with the weather, you're like, that's not a bad price. Okay, with fees, we're talking $102 with fees. So $100 a ticket just to get in the building. Looks like there's some lower levels for like $175 with fees, $170 lower level corner. So If you haven't been to a Monday Night Football game and you're willing to brave the weather a little bit, and it's been far worse before, then tonight's a good night to maybe head out to Arrowhead.
Maybe get a little extra time out there. Maybe there'll be a weather delay. You never know.
Well,
That's happened a couple of times on Monday Night Football.
Like that's a good thing. You don't want none. You said that like that's a good thing. Oh, maybe
for the person who's going, maybe they,
No, you don't. No, it's a work night and a school night. No, you don't want a weather. Oh, you might get a weather delay. No, you don't want a weather delay. That's the biggest fear I have with tonight. I don't want a weather delay. We're going to be sitting here and the game's going to start even later. No, nobody wants that.
I'll make a deal. If there's a weather delay, then when I get out of class, since I'll be on campus, I'll at least watch over and catch some of the first half of that Roos game. I'll be right there. I'll be right there at UMKC.
Someone says, chill with the weather talk, guys. Watch the radar, please.
What time does your class end? 6?
6:30. It's supposed to end at 6:30. Usually ends around 6:15, 6:10. Kind of depends on the day.
100% chance of rain, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 70% 4 o'clock. Stops at 5, then 37% at 6, 7, or 58% at 7. So chill with the weather talk. I don't know if that person
he's got tickets for sale. He's not trying to get his tickets.
Maybe that's what it is.
He doesn't want to go.
That's
he
what
wants
it
his
is.
tickets sold.
Yeah. Someone says because of the weather, I got a free ticket from work. I'm not saying no to free. It's free for them. Go for it. Why not?
Yeah, I'm not here to complain.
All right, let's talk about what could happen tomorrow too. Maybe tonight impacts this, but tomorrow's the trade deadline in the NFL. 3 o'clock our time, I believe, is the way the time zones work for the trade deadline tomorrow. And Diana Rossini over at The Athletic is saying that the Chiefs aren't maybe done with wide receiver. Quote, the Chiefs still might not be done if a wide receiver falls into their laps. I'm told they're going to try to land another one with Sky Moore on injured reserve. She also mentioned that Steve Spagnuolo has maybe been talking to Brett Veach a little bit about what he would like. The Fitz quarter, Steve Spagnuolo would love for Veach to get him a young, fast corner. Kansas City trying to land the final pieces on its mission to a three-peat. That's from Diana Rossini over at The Athletic, and I think you should feel really good about that. Who knows if they pull off a trade or not, but if you were wondering if they were done, if you're wondering they weren't going to be aggressive, no. They're trying. They're interested. And, man, if you could add a depth piece at corner for a future 6th, 7th round pick or another wide receiver for another 6th or 7th round pick, those are deals I will make every single time. I don't think I'd be stunned if they make a trade involving like a third or something. They've been pretty consistent steadfast, on not giving up day 1, day 2 picks. I think that will continue if they get another deal done by the deadline tomorrow.
So there are obviously some interesting names. Wide receiver all feel a little expensive, unless it's a guy you just don't know. Like it'll be some guy further down a depth chart. If we're talking a 7th round pick, some guy who's got 190 yards for his team and has finished 420 yards in the best season at any point during his career. It feels like it's that level. If it's corner, I could see it going a little bit higher. One of the people that Diana Rossini mentioned over the weekend as well that they've had a conversation with is Marshawn Lattimore. I looked it up because earlier we were having the conversation about how much he cost.
Yeah, somebody tagged us.
Yeah, Spot Track put out the numbers. The acquiring team would have to pay only $605,000 this year to acquire Marshawn Lattimore. They would owe him $18 million in non-guaranteed money next year and $18.5 million that's non-guaranteed in 2026. So the Saints would still wear about half of that for you if you were looking to say, I need corner. But here's the thing. I don't know that if they trade for a corner, I need something long-term. Nobody in the entire NFL has done a better job drafting and developing corners than the Chiefs. So do I really want them buying up a corner that they're on the hook for 3 seasons? I don't see the point. They could just walk.
Does Xavier Howard make more sense then for that conversation? A little bit older. He's 31.
How much does he owed?
Xavier Howard's a free agent, guys.
I was going to say, he is
Xavier Howard's a free agent. Are we really? I mean, wouldn't they have already brought him in? You know what I mean? Or are they waiting to see if they can't get anybody at the deadline? Otherwise, he's been on the street for a reason. He's also got some,
Benjamin.
he also has some off the field baggage. That's another reason why. You can do a Google search on that if you would like. For those listening on why there's some stuff. He was sued this past summer for some stuff involving a teenager allegedly. So that might be part of why he's not signed.
You think?
Yeah.
Think that might be having an impact, at least on it?
Yeah. Again, he's just accused of it. Not saying we know if
Marcus
he did it.
Peters still on a team, or is he also a free agent as well? I'm just thinking of guys that are...
But any of these free agent guys, wouldn't they have just brought him in already?
I think they might have just been like, well, let me see if somebody can step up so we don't have to go in. Like, this is like the last... If they go and get a corner, is almost not that they're forced to do it, but it feels like, okay, we went through all of our options. Now we need to sign somebody because or traded for somebody because the options that we have didn't work out.
Like, I'm thinking about the players. I see KJ Osborne or Tyquan Thornton.
I think Tyler Boyd would be interesting too.
If they get another wide receiver, it is going to be of that ilk. It's going to be Tyquan Thornton, a Kansas City Chief, for a provisional 7th round pick. The acquiring team owes him $600,000, and next year he's owed $1.6 million if you keep him. Like, that's where the level of move, if they're going after a wide receiver. I actually think I would prefer they make a move for corner gold, but I think the wide receiver one is way easier to make. There are not that many eligible corners available for trade.
Tyler Boyd has got 184 yards. I think he signed, was it a 1-year, 5-year deal? I know that Chiefs fans were.
Yeah, in the offseason I was interested. Yeah.
I mean, does that scare you that he only has 184 yards? I mean, he plays on the Titans.
Will Levis and Mason Rudolph for his quarterback.
You heard the report. They're looking for a Sky Moore replacement, man. 184 yards, perfect. That's like his career high.
He's one of the most reliable pair of hands in the league.
The 5th receiver for this team all of a sudden. So, yeah, I mean, again, it all comes down to the compensation. I'm not giving up anything more than like a 5th-round pick at this point for anybody. I already acquired DeAndre Hopkins for a conditional 5th, could be 4th. It is late-round pick stuff now, and maybe even 2026 to make it happen. That's kind of where I would be at if I'm going to go acquire anybody. I would be really surprised if they gave up anything better than that. Otherwise, to me, they stand pat.
Do you actually think they make a move?
I do. Yeah, I think there's too much noise.
Too active.
There's a lot of noise, whether it's Diana Racina reporting or Nate Taylor last week joined us, and he'll also join us tomorrow right ahead of the deadline. When Nate said, I know, I was like, are they going to make a move? And he's like, well, I don't know if they'll get the deal done, but he's like, I know they want to, though. So there's way too much noise. They're pretty aggressive out there. I think some of it depends on tonight in a weird way. Like, if suddenly tonight was a stunning result and there was another injury or something, that changes everything, or this Joshua Williams in the secondary, does he have a good night or does he struggle? If DeAndre Hopkins has a huge night and suddenly, just pick another wide receiver, if all of a sudden McCole Hartman comes up big again or Xavier Worthy does that change their thinking? All that can play a role other than the obvious injury stuff.
So we made a huge deal about when they acquired D-Hop for the logical reasons, and then we started making guesses as it. Excited a little bit for Uche's debut?
Yeah, why not? I mean, sure.
A little bit, little juice.
It's never going to be as exciting as a wide receiver just because,
less likely that I'll notice it.
Yeah, but sure. I mean, why not? I mean, it would be nice to see if he flashed a little bit right away in his first game. I'll be curious to see how they rotate him in. It is still his first game, and he's always going to be a rotational guy anyway.
If he's got just even like a little bit of juice, and a Minihue might be back in a couple of weeks, I mean, you might be looking at the best defensive line in football. And I don't say that lightly because I think that might be, from a pass rush perspective, it's been the Giants all year. But the Chiefs have been, obviously, in that range or near that range a good chunk of the year. I mean, if Uche's got even like a little bit of that 2 years ago version of himself to go with some of the other, like to go Turk Warden and Chris Jones and George Karlaftis or Felix Anudike-Uzama, if you got another fresh body who can get to the quarterback in pure pass rushing situations before a Minihue comes back, this is the deepest defensive line in the league. I mean, just like that. It's a good defensive line now. It's the deepest in the league. If Uche's got a little bit of juice and a Minihue comes back, okay.
Yeah, they made the move to strengthen already what was a strength, and the key part is depth. I mean, this year, the injury bug has really hit them more than in prior years. That's why it's so difficult to go back-to-back, why it's impossible, seemingly, to go three-peat. You got to have depth, and it's been tested, and so they've been forced to make moves. We saw that with the DeAndre Hopkins trade. I don't know if they actually make that trade if Juju doesn't get hurt. I really don't. Even though I think they needed to, but I don't know if they actually pull that off. The Uche move and these moves that they've been making are because of depth and injury concerns more than anything, in my opinion.
And I apologize. Despite the pressure numbers being okay, Kansas City ranks a lot worse than I would have thought. Now, played two less games than some teams in the NFL. So important to note is I give you this stat that versus half the league they've played 2 less games versus the other half of the league they've played 1 less game. The Chiefs currently ranked 4th worst in the NFL in total team sacks with only 15. The leading team in the league, the New York Giants, has 35. So 20 better. So they're not going to make that up in 2 games, certainly on that end. But I look at their pass rush and I'm like, okay, it's been effective. There's no doubt about that, especially effective with Chris Jones. But they need just 1 or 2 more bodies who finish the job getting to the quarterback. Look, if they get, because of the 2 less games they played, they'd rank somewhere near the top 10. They would not be a laughing stock, right? 6 more sacks would put them at 21. That'd put them top 10 in the league as it sits. So I do think that they're a mediocre sack team, but Chris Jones is a monster. And if Uche's got a little life, yeah, I kind of want to see that. I'm paying close attention to Uche tonight. He's one of the few players where I'm like, I want to see exactly what it is you bring to the table. Because that's not a player I've watched a ton of leading up to this point. I assume you didn't watch much of Uche tape.
Not a lot of Patriots games here recently that were intriguing to watch, other than when the Chiefs played them last year. Chiefs played them last year in a game which Kansas City, I think, blew them out, if I'm not mistaken.
So I guess he didn't stand out in that game to you.
No, don't remember anything about that game.
I didn't remember. I mean, I assume the Chiefs won. It's getting harder to remember those meaningless regular season games, you know? As time goes on.
Yeah.
Someone says they need 9 points from D-Hop tonight in fantasy. Am I going to get it? I don't know. Is it a PPR?
Yeah, if it's PPR, you're good. They won by 10 last year in December.
Only 10?
If it's PPR, I think you're good. If it's not, it could be a little bit of a sweat. Yeah, Bailey Zappi was the quarterback. Rasheed Rice had 9 catches for 91.
No wonder I ignored that game. Bailey Zappi in December.
I was trying to see if
Uche got a sack or something.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to pull up.
We only had like 3 last year.
Did he play?
He was hurt for part of the season.
I don't think he played. Oh, there we go. 1 tackle.
Dynamite effort.
But he's going up against the Chiefs, so it's fine. It's all
You
good.
realize, I mean, I think Vern probably had it right. Somewhere during the playoff run, he's like, we should be more braggadocious as a city about it. We don't rub it in enough people's faces.
That's where the 3-peat. I mean, we should already be doing it.
Rub it in their faces.
We should already be doing it, but that's the 3-peat. If this team 3-peats, as we've said the last week or so, that's when it's the ultimate middle finger. I don't care what you ever say to me when it comes to the NFL and my team and anything ever again.
No. Little NFL news, Adam Schefter reporting quarterback Dak Prescott is expected to miss several weeks, quote, with a hamstring injury per a source. He is seeking a second opinion to confirm the best treatment options.
I don't know if they start selling, but Jalen Tolbert is a wide receiver that potentially, I don't know if.
No offense. Why the hell wouldn't they
selling?
sell? They are 2-7. They are 5 games back in their division. They are 3 games back of a playoff spot in the NFC, and they stink. This is the biggest, like we talk all the time, the single biggest expectation versus reality. On the negative end is Dallas, and on the positive end is Washington. Those are the 2 biggest surprises of the NFL season. Washington is way, 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 way better than most people thought they were going to be, and Dallas is way, 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 way worse than most people thought they were going to be. Those are the 2 biggest surprises of the year, are they not?
Yeah, there'll be some people that will probably tell you they thought the Cowboys were going to stink, but not to this level. Now they're about to be a 7-win football team. It looks like with the injury to Dak, like they might be a 7-win team when this thing is all done. Cooper Rush is going to. Why even start Cooper Rush? Honestly, at this point, start what's his name's down there? Just because at least that's entertaining. The guy they traded with the Niners for. Oh my gosh,
Trey Lance.
Thank you. Yeah,
I got Trey. That was pretty close.
Yeah, but you were about to say Trey Young, weren't you? Because that's what was that was my head.
I'll be honest. I don't know what I was going to say. All I had was Trey. I was Rolodexing for the last name.
Trey Lance. Might as well start him.
How bad is Trey Lance? He can't even get in over Cooper Rush.
Next 3 games. What do they have to lose if you're the Cowboys? Start Trey Lance.
I mean,
you already paid Dak. He's always worried about a quarterback controversy. You might as well. If Trey Lance was good, maybe you'd be able to trade him in the offseason and get something for him. The Cowboys are officially a dumpster fire.
What did you say the record is?
Cody? 3-5.
And CeeDee Lamb got hurt too in the game. I don't know what his injury status is. He also
and they have
injured.
no Brandon Cooks because he got hurt too.
The most recent report is that he avoided serious injury.
And Zeke
doesn't mean he'll play next week.
Zeke didn't even make the trip because he didn't show up to practice on time. I mean, they're just that organization.
You know who had it right. Once again, Alex Smith, former Kansas City Chief. He was on NFL Live or Countdown or whatever this weekend, and his stance on the Cowboys was they have to just stop running. And he's like, I know how ludicrous that sounds. It's meaningless. They can't run the ball to save their life. They could have had Kareem Hunt or a million other decent on-the-street running backs, and instead they're rolling out the corpse of Ezekiel Elliott, and then they brought in the other corpse of Dalvin Cook and thought, well, this will probably solve it.
Yeah, they can't protect Dak either. I mean, the whole team's a mess. That defense, they lost Dan Quinn as their coordinator. The whole defense is a mess.
I know the running backs fall off, but Dalvin Cook's fall off has been steep.
That's how it normally goes unless your name is Derrick Henry and Adrian Peterson, honestly. That's usually how this thing goes. What makes Derrick Henry getting his 100th career touchdown yesterday that much more impressive?
I mean, how Joe Mixon's 30-31, and he's putting up 180 yards for the Texans in games.
Yeah, I put them in just a different category.
Yeah.
Joe Mixon was never peak anywhere near those guys. But I hear you. Yes, Joe Mixon is 28. He's still 2 years younger.
And I think he's the same age as Dalvin, actually.
Is Dalvin Cook 28?
I think he's
really.
I think he's 29.
No way.
I think
he's 37.
I think
no, he's 29.
He's 20. Yeah,
he's 29.
I've looked this up before. He's 29.
Dalvin Cook, of course.
Todd Gurley's probably like 24.
Dalvin Cook had a stretch of 4 1,000-yard seasons.
That's the only player they're missing. They
From 24 to 27, and then just fell off.
Todd Gurley might be like 30.
Not even kidding. Todd Gurley's only 30 years old.
That's crazy.
He hasn't mattered in the NFL in 2 decades somehow. And he is only 30. 30. Just turned 30 in August, by the way. He's like, he was pretty much Dalvin Cook's age.
Yeah, it's sad to see how quickly he fell off because, I mean, that fact that he's just now 30, Todd Gurley was incredible.
He hasn't been in the league in a few years.
For like 2 years, man.
He had 3,000-yard seasons and then fell off. Was Offensive Rookie of the Year, Offensive Player of the Year.
Led
All-Pro
league in
twice.
rushing touchdown, had a 2,000-yard from scrimmage year.
Mm-hmm.
No big deal.
Injuries will get you, man.
It's running
He's
back.
been out of the league since 2020.
He was
4 years. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Random question.
That's why I never blame players for holding out. He got paid at least. For you, Gold. For you, Drew, on the text line, 913-586-7965. A very simple into the algorithm explanation of a food item. So the very simple question of, would you eat this, is what I am curious about today. So hit us up, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, TheFan965. You can subscribe, like, or review our channels. Would you eat this? It was pre-packaged bacon. Good start, right? Just regular sliced bacon.
Okay.
Flavored, not kidding, this is a real item, with Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
I bet you
Would
that
you
tastes
eat it?
pretty good. Yeah.
You said yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
I think you would try it.
Yeah, why wouldn't I try that? I mean, bacon is delicious, and then a little cinnamon flavor on top of it. This is out. Hormel's come out with this thick cut bacon. Yeah, I would try it.
You're interested. You're
It
interested
looks weird to see the Cinnamon Toast Crunch logo on
bacon
on a packet of bacon, like the packaging. But yeah, what's this run? Buy now. Let's see. I'm on the website. Buy now. Find nearby. Out of stock at a Walmart. $5.98. But it's out of stock near us.
We
People are
cook
buying it
up
up.
some bacon for
Put it in the microwave. We even do a microwave if we have to for the work situation.
microwave bacon.
We're at
this is
work.
no way to live.
Oh,
we can bake it. That's how
We're-
I make bacon. We can
we're-
just put it on a cookie sheet.
We're at work, though. Just put it in the microwave and let us try it. Yeah, I would prefer to put it on a Blackstone, honestly.
gonna say,
Let's drag out the Blackstone.
But
and
we have an oven.
Yeah, for work purposes, I'd say we just pop them in the microwave and then give it a try. It's bacon with cinnamon flavoring. It can't be that bad.
Someone says candy bacon is delicious. I bet it's good. From the 785, would eat. Duh. I thought there was going to be more pushback on this.
Are you on the fence?
Sounds gross.
What part?
Really?
Cinnamon? Bacon? What part's gross?
You know what? Maybe it's just like the sugary cereal part of it coupled with bacon feels like an odd
Do
combo
you like
to me.
do you like bacon?
I do.
Do you like cinnamon as a flavor?
Sure. Yeah.
Do you like French toast as well, like even a maple syrup flavor?
Sure.
So what's the issue here?
I think the fact that
It's the
cereal
labeling
really
is
turning-
getting me.
The label's weird.
Because if I said Lucky Charms cinnamon, or Lucky Charms bacon, you're not as in.
Not as in, no. Cinnamon. I think cinnamon flavoring on bacon is good.
It definitely is the cereal aspect of it that is throwing you off. I
Max
think.
over on YouTube says yes. Austin would. I mean, it
Someone
seems like
says
across the board.
Perfect. Someone says the perfect breakfast. 2 slices of bacon and a cinnamon roll.
I'm also being accused. Phantom over on Twitch is like, microwave bacon is fine. It's like, I've never.
It depends how much time you have, man. It depends how much time. Are you trying to get
I'll
out
say
real
right
quick
now,
for the kids or whatever?
If
or
I
not?
don't have time to cook the bacon, I'm not eating it.
Interesting.
It is either on the stovetop or in the oven, or it's not getting made.
Stovetop is how I do bacon all the time.
I have lived 40 years in this life, and I have never personally microwaved a piece of bacon once.
Yeah, I mean, if we're asking what's better, of course not in the microwave. Like most things.
Yeah, like a Hot Pocket be better in the oven.
Yeah.
But also, like, it's a Hot Pocket. It's designed as microwave food.
Yeah.
Maybe this is also where, could you air fry bacon? I don't have an air fryer. I don't know.
I'm sure I could.
Probably, yeah.
I'm sure I should try that. I bet it'd be great.
That just opened up your world.
I bet it'd be great. Yeah, I haven't. You can air fry just about anything. So yeah, why wouldn't you be able to air fry?
frying hash browns actually is really good.
Someone says
I've never had a hash brown at home. Like, you know what I mean? Like
a frozen hash brown?
Yeah.
I've had hash browns, like, shredded.
Sure. Not at home though.
Toss some frozen hash browns
Yeah,
into the
at
air fryer and they're good.
Like I'm thinking of what are you talking about? Like
I'm thinking just like scattered and smothered.
scattered. Yes, I'm thinking. Are you talking about like it's already like a chunk?
No, I'm talking.
Because what Cody is mentioning, of course I've done it on the stove before. Hash browns are incredible. I thought you were talking about like a frozen puck.
No,
and you're putting that in the,
no.
the
I
the
bet
air
you can
fryer.
buy those at Costco or something, though.
You probably could, but no, and it's not the puck.
So this is air fryer, best way to make the bacon.
I think here's the problem that's getting me is that if I reversed it, I'm out. Does that make so? Like, if I had a bowl of Cinnamon Toast Crunch and someone's like, "I'll just sprinkle a bunch of bacon on top," I'd be like, "Pass. I don't want that." Right? That doesn't.
I agree.
I think it's
agree.
like the reverse sounds no good.
I agree.
So I'm stuck on the inverse making sense. But it sounds like you're in. You know,
They're just putting the dusting of like Cinnamon Toast Crunch on the bacon.
It might be a ratio thing. A lot of people saying sweet bacon goes great with Bloody Marys, works all the time, and then everyone else telling us that we should have been air frying breakfast food this whole time.
Air fry frozen Uncrustables. What? Huh?
Your whole life's about to be changed. It sounds like
a little extra crunch on the outside, maybe.
I'm trying to think how that would taste. Air fried Uncrustable. Somebody obviously just decided. Somebody just literally one day was like, "I'll just put a bunch of random food in the air fryer and see how it tastes.
See what happens.
See what happens." So a lot of people saying they would air fry. Use some bacon right now if you would take the one punch for $965 for the show fund.
I thought the one punch from Mike Tyson meant I got
Just from any
the
listener,
10,000.
actually, any listener. Or if you're not confident with a listener, Drew or I, maybe that makes you feel better.
How you gonna get Mike Tyson here to punch me? Oh, $965 from just one person? Just one
for charity.
ticket?
One
For
good
charity,
chunk.
for charity.
One good punch.
But I got to put the mask on.
Yeah, you get the headgear on, so we're not trying to knock you out.
I got to put a cup on. They don't get to like change their punch
No,
to the.
no, you don't have to put a cup on. Nobody's gonna. No, it
Yeah,
has to be
you don't need
the
a cup.
face. But you have the headgear on, glasses off. So you're not getting cut or anything.
Okay.
You still could break your nose.
Oh, so
Still could break your jaw, I guess.
So you're not going for the hook. You're going for the straight at the nose
jab
punch. Yeah.
I think if you want power, you're going for the hook.
The power is
Oh,
definitely the hook. It depends. For the charity, I hope you're not trying to do actual damage. You're
The
just
hook
trying
is a
to
haymaker, yeah.
say
You know,
you punched him in the face, and
Just
so
get
you
a video of me
and-
slow motion taking a punch to the face.
Yeah.
I'm guessing if you got a good enough punch, you could knock me out.
Text line says the punch has to be from Mike Tyson.
For the 10,000,
I don't know how we're arranging that one.
For the Spags bust, I'll do it. But you know, you're gonna have to get Mike Tyson here, which seems like a challenge.
Don't think that's possible. That is the random question of the day. Up next, let's get back into Michael Wacha's extension. What does that actually mean for Brady Singer and the rest of the lineup, and the disappointing weekend for local college football?
This is Cody and Gold on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Your attention is precious. Pulled in a million directions for a million different reasons. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City works hard to make sure your health insurance isn't one of the many things distracting you from what's important. By making healthcare easier to navigate, we help keep your focus on the moments that matter most. Like dinner with loved ones. Letting you focus on you. That's the benefit of Blue. Learn more at bluekc.com.
We're hiring residential garage door installers at Overhead Door Company of Kansas City. Join the team trusted here since 1927. Apply today, get a call today. No experience necessary. Paid training for motivated applicants to install garage doors. Hiring bonus up to $2,500. Mechanical, carpentry, or service industry experience is a plus. Good benefits include health, dental, vision, and pension. Earn as you learn to service the best garage door customers in KC. Apply today at overheaddoorkc.com.
Hi, everyone in Kansas City. This is Chris Hodge, the longtime host of Sports Investors Daily, which you hear every Saturday and Sunday morning, which is sponsored by TakingVegas.com. We have a big free pick tonight between Tampa Bay and Kansas City. It is available on our text line. Just text the word WIN to the number 545454. Again, text the word WIN to the number 545454. You get this play absolutely free. Not only will you receive this pick, you will also get a big NBA play as well. So all you have to do to get this action is text the word WIN to the number 545454. And look, we all are aware that Kansas City's probably going to win tonight, but the most important question is, are they going to cover the spread? We have the answer for you. Text the word WIN to the number 545454. Get this pick absolutely free. And for more picks, just visit TakingVegas.com.
Hey, it's Rex here with RexBuysKC.com, your local KC home buyer. If you own a property in the Kansas City or surrounding area and want to sell it fast and at a fair price, write this number down, 816-330-6000. I'm a private real estate investor, not some hedge fund or large national chain. My family and I live right here in KC. I can pay cash and close on your timeline, even in as little as 3 days. Here at RexBuysKC.com, we're improving Kansas City one house at a time. I buy inherited houses, vacant houses, foreclosure houses, behind in payment houses, my tenant won't pay the rent houses, and properties that need complete rehabs. Do you own a house that's trashed and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at this number, 816-330-6000. That's 816-330-6000, or go to RexBuysKC.com. That's RexBuysKC.com, and I look forward to working with you.
Our favorite reason to choose Diamonds Direct over any other jeweler? Free service for life with no fine print. That's right. When you buy your engagement ring or any piece of jewelry at Diamonds Direct, you will never have to pay a dime in the future for sizing, cleaning, or routine maintenance. At Diamonds Direct, there's no gotcha clause, no fine print, no looking for ways to void the warranty. Diamonds Direct, the jeweler you can trust with a no questions asked 100% free lifetime warranty with no strings attached. Come see us to learn more.
Reason number 52 to choose Diamonds Direct over any other jeweler. Only Diamonds Direct gives you a 110% diamond upgrade guarantee. Diamonds Direct will give you 110% of your original purchase price toward the new stone. That's 10% more than you paid the first time. Guaranteed appreciation. Who else does this? There's no fine print and no minimum purchase requirement. It's 10% more, period. Buy with confidence. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
Hey, it's Bob Fesco, and I'm here with my friend Brian Manning of Manning Roofing. Why is it important to deal with a roofing company that understands the insurance side of the business?
First of all, you want to make sure that you get all of the damage covered at your property. We have a very experienced team that's licensed and insured. We do roofs, windows, siding, and gutters, along with some interior trades, and we can make sure that all of the damage is taken care of.
I've used Manning Roofing at my house, so set up your appointment today at ManningGC.com or 816-448-8208. The choice is simple. It's Manning Roofing.
It's time to review the top 3 highlights of the day. I'm joined as always by my co-anchor, Snoop.
Hey, what up, though?
Snoop, number 1 has to be getting the new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence at T-Mobile.
Yeah, you should hustle down to T-Mobile like a dog chasing a squirrel chasing a nut.
Nice analogy, Snoop. Dogs do love to chase squirrels.
And squirrels love to chase those nuts.
On to highlight number 2, at T-Mobile, families can save 20% every month versus the other big guys.
That is very impressive. You know, y'all can take some of those savings and buy some Snoop merchandise.
That's exactly what I'm planning on doing with my savings, Snoop. Now, take it away, Snoop.
Head to T-Mobile.com and get the new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence on them. Now drop that jingle.
24 monthly bill credits. Eligible trade-in on Go 5G Next. Well-qualified customers plus tax and $35 connection charge. Cancel entire account before receiving 24 bill credits and credits. Stop and balance on required finance agreement too. Bill credits end if you pay off device early. See how you can save versus the other big guys at T-Mobile.com/switch. Apple Intelligence coming fall 2024.
All right, gentlemen, this is Emmitt Smith on behalf of Depend, and I've got the perfect play. Run straight to your doctor's office for a life-changing catch. Because when prostate cancer is caught early, it's up to 99% treatable, and one blood test might be all it takes. And now through November, Depend is donating to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for select purchases. Talk about a great play.
From September 1st to November 30th, Depend is donating 40 cents to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for Depend Shield Guards real fit products purchased in the U.S. up to a maximum of $300,000 void in Mississippi.
Hi, I'm Angie Hicks, co-founder of Angie, and one thing I've learned is that you buy a house, but you make it a home. Because with every fix, update, and renovation, it becomes a little more your own. So you need all your jobs done well. For nearly 30 years, Angie has helped millions of homeowners hire skilled pros for the projects that matter. From plumbing to electrical, roof repair to deck upgrades. So leave it to the pros who will get your jobs done well. Hire high-quality certified pros at Angie.com.
Inside the Huddle is brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City. Discover the benefit of blue.
You're listening to the all-new 96.5 The Fan, your home for Kansas City sports. KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
1 o'clock hour here on Cody and Gold. Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you. course, Chiefs, Bucks tonight, right here, 96.5 The Fan. Pre-game coverage begins at 4 o'clock. We were joking during the break with Drew. He got like a $50 free bet from one of the betting companies just randomly. You know, if you haven't bet with one of them for a while, sometimes they send you $50 is a good size free bet, by the way. And Drew was just messing around on his phone. It has to be an NBA bet, you were saying?
Well, it has to be a basketball bet. I figure NBA. There's every single team plays tonight. I was like, you know what?
Maybe the text line can help you build out your bet because Drew was messing around. He's like, what if I just took all the underdogs, which obviously is not going to hit.
Underdogs.
And how much was that going to pay?
The odds are, I'm not even going to give you the odds. There's too many numbers. $50 would give me $2.9 billion.
Okay.
Dead serious.
There's no way they're taking that. There's no way they're taking that bet even. Like, there's just no way.
But also, there's no way you can win it.
Correct. There's that's
just do it on a. Oh, it has to be.
What if you do? By the way, what if you do the opposite? What if you take all favorites?
I don't know, but it says right here.
Only
bonus,
$10,000.
It says right here I can put the bonus bet in, and I can hit place bet. It's not like it's not.
Well, don't do it. I mean,
don't
just
throw
throw it away.
$50 away.
Just do 50. Pick like 4 or 5 games you like tonight at 50, and see if you can't win like $800.
I'll tell you what. How about this? I'm not going to tell you guys who I pick, and if it happens and I just happen to not show up at work tomorrow. Then you know that I
$1.9 billion.
Then you know.
Yeah.
You've also it'd actually be kind of big news. I know why, because like it'd be big news that like whatever BetMGM just went bankrupt because Drew took all their money.
Yeah, like
to pay him in
it's one thing to win 100,000 or whatever, but if you won $1 billion from them, they're in some trouble. They're in some trouble at that point.
I think that's what it would take, Cody. By the way, we've had our conversations of how much money would it take for you to quit.
$1 billion?
$1 billion? Sure, I'm out.
That's why I need legalized sports betting.
I'm gone.
I need
tomorrow, man. Tomorrow could be the day. Amendment 2 in Missouri. You vote yes, that would legalize sports wagering, and then it would still take some time to get it up and running. But this is your best shot. I mean, I'm dead serious on this. Like for those of you that have been on the fence for a while or whatever, if you're like, oh, well, they'll figure out a better option or a better plan. It's maybe not the perfect plan, the perfect tax rate or whatever it may be. That might be true. But the legislature hasn't been able to pass it. And I understand some of the individuals are not there anymore that were. There's always somebody else that's willing to block it. And it'll be pretty simple for them to say, well, look, the public said they don't want it. So if you think the legislature is just going to get it done in the spring, they're not. So this is your best shot. If it doesn't pass tomorrow, this is not like trying to like BS you. I think it could be 4 or 5 years if it doesn't pass. I'm serious. I think if it doesn't pass, it could be 4 or 5 years before you get it in Missouri, and it could end up being one of the last states to legalize. So this is your best shot if this thing passes tomorrow to have sports wagering in Missouri.
It's in every single bordering state.
Eight bordering states.
Must
all
we
but
do
one.
this?
Yeah, it's an eight bordering states. I think only one doesn't. Oklahoma, I believe, is the one that doesn't.
And a little updated, and that's probably just because of there's a few different rules.
Tribal stuff. Otherwise, yep.
And a little bit of updated NFL news. According to Tom Pelissero, Christian McCaffrey will return to practice today.
Hallelujah.
They have opened up the practice window. Adam Schefter is saying he is tracking to play on Sunday versus the Bucks.
Thank you. Finally, some of us kept you on their roster as a keeper. As a keeper from last year, and used a first-round pick as a keeper.
You have him in the guillotine league, Cody, right?
Yeah. Had him the entire year in guillotine.
So
I've had him and Isaiah Pacheco. I've been staying alive with him and Isaiah Pacheco the entire year.
Bravo to you
I
guys.
actually put in a bid for Nico Collins, even though he's hurt, because I just figured, if this is my team, if they're the all-hurt team that if they ever get healthy is good, and I lost the bid somehow. I bid like a pretty good amount. But yeah, Christian McCaffrey could return against the Bucks this Sunday if he feels good this week.
All right. That's good.
He'll be starting in guillotine. I can promise you that.
Against a run defense.
He went to Germany. He went to Germany. Did some magic blood circulation surgery thing or whatever it was that we don't do here, and he's all right.
I'm gonna say we should be doing whatever these like platelet spinning things is they're doing.
I think that's what it was. Yeah, blood
great.
platelet. Is it spinning? I don't know. I don't know the exact medical terminology, but it was something with platelets and spinning or circulating.
Dude, in guillotine, I started Cole Kmet in my flex this week. Like, I'm desperate for somebody.
Yeah, you survived, right?
Yeah, I did.
You survived. You didn't get shot.
That's all that matters.
You don't get shot. That's all that matters. All right, we'll get to some college football and a disappointing weekend that was, and now the chances of us having a local school in the college football playoff just got a lot less likely. The Royals did make some exciting news yesterday, confirmed today, press conference today. Michael Wacha back on a 3-year deal. We talked already about that decision. We both love it. Makes a lot of sense. There's potential options it creates, though, for other players and for this organization the rest of the offseason, now that you know Michael Wacha is back. And right away, the name that everybody kind of draws their attention to is Brady Singer. What does this mean for him? Right now, he's the fourth starter for this baseball team. He's under contract.
That's a pretty good fourth starter.
Yeah. Oh, heck. By the way, if that's what ends up happening and he's the fourth starter, no problem with that whatsoever. That's a great spot to be in. But it does now allow you the option, if the right opportunity was there in a trade to help you where you need some offensive help at the leadoff spot, even if, I agree with Vern, who are you kicking out kind of thing. But if there's an option to parlay or bundle Brady with somebody else to bring back a bat, I'm open to that as well. And now it's a trade that I could actually stomach. Whereas if you lost Wacha, well, then I would say, no, you need Brady Singer in the rotation for sure.
I guess the question I have when it comes to Brady is, why is everyone so quick to run him out of town?
Yeah, that's interesting too.
That's a serious question, and I'd love an answer. You can call if you want. 913-586-7965. Hit us up on YouTube. Let me know in the chat. I don't care wherever. I am curious why it is everyone is so fast to run him out of town. Because the truth is, for the numbers he's put up last year, over the last 3 years, career, you do a lot worse at the number 4 starting spot. Way worse. Some of this is, I think, expectation versus what it was. Sometimes this is the first-round pick conundrum, where you've turned yourself into a viable NFL player who contributes to a team, but because you're not Shohei Ohtani on the mound or Garrett Cole, you stink, and they don't want you here anymore. Brady Singer, for multiple years of cost control, is a good player to keep around your organization, especially considering the starting rotation is your strength. Do I think it opens up the door for talks for teams to call on Brady? Yeah. Do I think they should trade him? No. I don't.
I think there's a couple reasons why his name has come up among fans. One, he was also, let's not forget, he had been part of the losing. Like, not him, it's not his fault, but he was part.
But he was on the losing teams.
He was part of the losing teams for many, many years. That's all we kind of knew his role as. He was on teams that weren't winning. I think you're correct that the class that he was drafted in, the heavy pitcher class, he's the only one that's really made it. And so when there's only one of
him with all the other ones that didn't work.
Yep. And when he's the only one, you hope, a lot of it is just based off of what you were hoping him to be. And yeah, it's the unfair spot that you're in. That none of, only one of them panned out, and then you were hoping if he was going to be the one that he panned out to be an ace, let's say. And he's obviously not an ace, but he's a very, very good big league pitcher that's going to be in this league for a long time, going to make a ton of money whenever he gets the opportunity to actually be a free agent or get an extension here. And so that, I think, is part of it. Other people have said, hey, his ties to Whit Merrifield and otherwise have rubbed some people the wrong way. I don't think that's his fault. But we asked for people's reasoning, and that's why. But the opportunity does present itself now that you could explore that path. That's why I like Wacha coming back as well. It doesn't close the door on potentially if you needed a piece to be involved with bringing in a bat, he could be that.
I like the flexibility because we talk about Brady Singer all the time. What stops them from moving Bubic or Lynch?
Yeah. Well, I think Singer's worth more, but go ahead.
Yeah, but those guys have control.
Yeah.
Lots of control, would be interested to other teams, right? Maybe, like you said, what they might be looking for in the outfield or leadoff spot might be more of a platoon player anyway. Maybe you don't need to sell the whole arsenal and you just need to move on from one player, lower down on the order to do it. Like, look, people have said sometimes it's the attitude thing. He does seem like he's in a sour mood sometimes. But you know what? When people are winning, we just call it competitive. Like when it's Max Scherzer, you don't seem to care that he's acting. Like the way he acts on the mound. I think because he's had struggles against good teams sometimes as a result of that, it comes off as petulant or something, or maybe that's the part of it that does it. And I think I see multiple people that are like, I'm not trying to run him out of town. This just feels like a sell high opportunity. Multiple years of control. He's coming off his second best season as a major leaguer. He's coming off career highs and strikeouts and innings and things that you would want to see if you were somebody else. Because the only other thing, because someone said from the 816, what about just Singer signing an extension?
Don't need to do that.
That's the only thing I just don't think they'll do. I just don't think you paid Wacha Maybe you pay Reagan's down the road, although his price tag, good God, who knows what it could eventually escalate to. And you don't have to pay Reagan's for a while. He is under control even longer than Singer. But it's like, yeah, I'm kind of stuck in the middle where I'm curious why people are so quick to run Singer out of town. I understand the idea of flirting with any trade. I think the Royals should be transactional because this offseason is going to be a hard one for that, Gold. As it sits right now, they could run out a starting rotation today. A 5-man starting rotation, full bullpen, full of players who played mostly for them this year. Same with the lineup. They don't have to be transactional this offseason if they don't want to. They should. Sometimes you just got to shuffle things. You take a starter out, you put a different starter in who's already in your organization or a free agent, and then you put a different position player in and you move a different position player out. Sometimes shuffling the chairs helps. I know it's like, is it movement for movement's sake? A lot of times in baseball, it's not. You got to keep things fresh and different and challenging. Try to be different try to be good in a different way.
So Michael Wacha back with the Royals on a new 3-year deal worth reportedly $51 million. There is a club option on the 4th year. That would be pretty stunning if it was exercised, but that could bring it all the way up to 71.
What, 36 then? How old is he? 32?
Michael Wacha. Let's see.
33.
33 years old. Oh, he was born the same year I was. How about that?
So you should now forever know Michael Wacha's age.
I don't know what his birth date was. July 1st, 91.
So he's a little younger.
A little younger. By he's like 4 or 5 months younger.
We're talking about it like he's about to die, and he's younger than you.
As you know, in baseball world, much different. Much different.
How's it work in radio? When are you old in radio?
I think it's all age doesn't matter as long as you stay relevant and up to not to get too down the rabbit hole. Dan Patrick, great example of this. Older guy, right? But he's very good with staying hip, if you will. Dan Patrick, he's thrived at that. It's a big strength of his. He stayed young. He doesn't feel that old, but he is older. He's like the oldest. He's older than some of the other national hosts in the country. So that would be my answer. As long as you aren't out of touch and you're not keeping up with the trends.
You're not just like analytics are stupid and you just decide to do it. Dan Patrick is 67 years old.
And he doesn't feel 67 when you listen to his show.
I haven't listened to his show in a while.
Well, fair enough.
But I do like Dan.
You're killing my point, but yeah.
This is not a knock at him. I listen to very few national shows.
Yeah.
It's not.
We've had Dan Patrick on this show before.
I actually think live local radio is what you should listen to.
100%.
Exclusively.
I agree.
In terms of radio, it feels like the window's like narrow. Like I'm almost 30, and whenever I tell people I'm age, like, oh yeah, you young. Like the window is
to be almost
tight.
30 again. Damn. Those were the days.
So someone says, how old was Fesco 10 years ago?
My age. Pretty much.
37 or 38 10 years ago? Yeah, something like that.
Does that mean Fesco's old?
Is that what somebody's trying to say?
Or is that when Fesco was old?
I don't know. Someone just says, how old was Fesco 10 years ago?
I think a lot of it is also, I think you're right. I think some of it's energy-based. Can't be bringing a bunch of old man takes to the air, you know?
Yeah.
We're talking cinnamon bacon on this show. We're up to the trends.
That's right.
We're up to date. Who's the most recent person you had to look up? You're like, I don't know who that is. And it made you feel old? Mine was Troy Sivan. I was like, I don't know who that was. And somebody mentioned
No, mine was somebody
I guess I'm going to have to look up that person because I'm not sure who that is.
Mine was last week. There's somebody that I guess is famous on TikTok. And every once in a while I'll check TikTok, but I don't really actively. I have a TikTok account, but I don't use it.
So
and
who was it?
This kid that's like the Riddler. The
Rizzler?
Rizzler.
This kid from the Yankees?
Yeah.
Boom! That kid?
Yeah.
I only saw him because of
He's like 7 or 8 years old, and he's like very popular on TikTok.
Yeah,
That's when I felt old. I was like, who the hell is this kid?
You could feel way worse. 3 weeks ago, Speck didn't even know who Chapel Roan was. So,
well, that's...
Like, it could be way worse.
Yeah. But no, I didn't know.
And Speck's younger than me, right?
What
But
was
he's
this
not
kid? You
saying
said the Rizzler?
The
I didn't know who the Rizzler was, and he's a 7-year-old kid that's TikTok famous, I guess. And I was like, and what is he famous for? Just like this weird like eyebrow thing?
Well, they do this like Yankee stuff. He does like some man on the street stuff. Don't you remember when Vinny told us he was up in a suite in a Jets game, and the kids could not care that Vinny was a professional Major League Baseball player in the thing. They were blown away by Kugler, this guy who does like food reviews based out of huge YouTube and
100%.
TikTok guy, and they were all over it. Dude, my kid's my kid's favorite person, if he could just meet anyone, Desmond, he's 6. His favorite, like if I say he could meet anybody, he would not choose Patrick Mahomes or Travis Kelce. He would choose like Justin and Adam from Lanky Box or whatever. Dude, it's just like
who?
That it doesn't. You should know that. That's for kids. You really should
Lanky box?
Well, so
they do the donuts. I don't know, dude. I only know about this because of my
It's
kids.
kids. Okay, yeah.
Those YouTube people are like getting commercials now. Like that's how, like Kai Cenat, for example, has the McDonald's.
Yeah, I do know who that is. I do know who that is. Yeah.
Okay.
You had to look up, like, SNL just did a whole skit on influencers, and it was like this big deal because it's like crossed a cultural norm.
Yeah.
Not a movie star, not a TV star, just YouTube and TikTok and whatever. There's a couple of times I'm like, I don't know who the hell is this. I'm gonna look
They
stupid.
have streamers playing in the NBA All-Star game, the celebrity game.
I do remember that from last year.
And I had to look up some
There
of
are
them.
some people who I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
That's all. Sorry to get us sidetracked. I thought it was.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about college football because heading into the
So
season, we were
disappointed.
excited. All three had a great chance, I think, to get in to the college football playoff. Expanded field, big year for all three locals. Biggest fall we were all talking about. We know Kansas was disappointing right away. We know Missouri, due to some injury and poor performances, I think they're done with their blowout loss to both Alabama and Texas A&M. Then you're like, okay, still got K-State. They just beat Kansas in a close one. They're on the path to still get in that thing.
Just keep winning and you'll be in the Big 12 title.
They lose to Houston over the weekend, a bad loss. Their schedule still has Iowa State on it. They'll get that head-to-head. BYU is undefeated, and now K-State needs help. K-State needs help to get in the Big 12 title game for starters, and then I think it's a one-bid league. Unless you think BYU somehow is going to get in as a one loss, they lose in the Big 12 title game. So I think K-State, the chance of them getting in is down to like 20%, 25%. They have to win out, need help to get in, and then they would have to beat BYU, let's say, who they lost to earlier, to get in. I don't think there's an at-large. I don't think there's an at-large bid there anymore for Kansas State. They have to win the Big 12, and that's why that was a huge loss.
3 bites at the apple. Kansas just, pooped the bed from day one. Just right out of the gate. Through any hopes they had it like a bowl game in the early part of the season away. I guess maybe they still do one out. They'd still be in a bowl.
Technically have a shot still, yes.
Technically
they have to run the table.
Run the table.
Starting this weekend against Iowa State, I think.
Missouri had quarterback issues and injury issues, but in their 2 biggest games, they got beat. I think it combined like 130 to nothing. I don't know, man. It was bad. That is not hyperbolic enough. They got beat bad.
75 to 10, I think.
In their 2 biggest games. And then all K-State had to do was beat Houston. And I'll be honest, I haven't watched a lot of Houston football this year. But I did see Houston lose to Kansas by multiple touchdowns in what was not a close game. When I, on this show, questioned you, Alex, you're like, well, they're going to beat Houston. I'm like, relax there, man. You sure that they're just – you seem awfully confident for a team that only had a couple of wins.
They did beat Houston.
And they beat them comfortably, which told me a lot about Houston. And then Kansas lost to them. I don't care about the weather, man.
Kansas State, yeah.
Kansas State lost to them. I don't care about the weather.
K-State was a 13-point favorite. It wasn't as big of a favorite as you would have thought, but still it's a terrible loss. I understand the weather wasn't great. Both teams were playing in the rain.
You can't use that as an excuse. That's like the saddest.
Yeah. That's just that is a devastating loss because now you need help. I think K-State could win out, but they need help in addition to that. I think they could win out. They could beat Iowa. Iowa State just lost to Texas Tech. That's the saving grace for them. And suddenly Colorado's
they're in it
right there in the picture. I think if Colorado wins out and Iowa State drops one, Colorado gets in the Big 12 title game, right?
Yep.
And they would play BYU, who's pretty much, I don't know, they could lose multiple games, but they're probably a lock to get in the Big 12 title game unless they fall apart out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It would be pretty stunning if BYU started to lose games. They're undefeated.
I'm curious where they're in the college football poll. They've always been way down in the
Well,
AP.
the AP
undefeated, and they're 9th.
AP poll doesn't matter, though. You know that.
No,
tomorrow
I know,
night,
but I'm saying I think they're
the
rated too low.
Let's see what the college football playoff ranking is tomorrow night.
I bet you they're still around there.
I think they should be more like 5th or 6th. Their schedule's pretty good. They've got plenty of quality wins. They're undefeated in a major conference. Why the hell are they 9th?
Same thing with Indiana being 8th, I think, right now in the AP poll.
Indiana's legit. Legit.
Their head coach is freaking awesome.
It's impressive how they're not just winning; they're destroying teams. It is impressive.
They've won every
what
game by double
Indiana
figures.
has done.
Did you? I guess you probably didn't, but Kurt Cignetti, the head coach, in his opening presser said, "I win. Google me."
Oh yeah, we have the audio in the system somewhere. Yeah.
I actually thought that was kind of a joke when that guy said that. His team's pretty good.
He's backing it up.
He's damn good at
Google
JMU.
me, man. I'm undefeated. Yeah, that was awesome audio, and he's backed it up. That's the thing. If you're going to say stuff like that, you better back it up. But here it is. Yeah.
You sell your vision of your culture. I mean, what's the
Who are you talking about? The high school guys, the transfers? Who?
all of the above? I mean, how do you? Is there?
It's pretty simple. I win. Google me.
So badass. So badass. He said that before the season started or whatever it was, right? and
He was,
or when he got hired, I guess.
He was dang good at JMU. I mean, he brought them up to
Google me.
He brought them up to FBS level and went undefeated or almost undefeated in his first season in college.
I'm Alex
in
Gold.
FBS.
Google me. Imagine if you. I'd actually ridicule you.
Well,
if you
I
said
would
it
hope.
separately.
I would hope you would.
If I heard you say that in public to somebody,
This
like,
guy's backed it up, though, man.
unbelievable.
This guy is backed
Their
it
offense is
up.
legit for sure.
People keep pointing out the K-State tiebreaker over Colorado. We all agree, right, that doesn't apply unless the conference records are the same? So Colorado still just has to lose, right, because they only have one conference loss?
Colorado cannot afford to lose, yes, in order to make it. If they lose, then K-State has that tiebreaker.
By the way, if Deion Sanders in Colorado get to the Big 12 title game, he can get an even bigger job in Colorado if he wants it.
That would be what his son and everybody's leaving, so that
I
would,
think
Travis
according-
Hunter's gone. Shadir Sanders is gone after this year.
I think Travis was asked about that, and he said he's home. However, to your point, Cody, if he takes him to the playoff for whatever reason, he can have any job in the country that he wants to at that point, essentially.
I mean, that was the worst, other than
That
Kansas.
would be available,
Over the
theoretically.
last decade, Colorado's been one of the 5 worst Power 5 programs in a la college football. If he gets into a Big 12 title game in 2 years,
yeah,
be deserving of a conversation around a job like that.
Yeah, the exact, by the way, for people still asking about this tiebreaker thing, here's the Big 12. They announced their new tiebreaker format. If 2 teams are tied in conference standings, the following is used in this order. A, the team's head-to-head record.
If they're tied in conference.
If they're tied in the conference standings, then the tied teams will be compared based on win percentage against all common opponents, and it keeps going all the way down.
That's the difference. Whereas the conference record is Colorado just has the 1 loss, K-State has the 2 losses. So even if they've both finished 10-2, it doesn't matter.
That's the setup for it, man.
It's just I guess
That's
it goes,
why the loss sucked.
You can almost call it just pure missed opportunities. Like Kansas missed opportunities; they've been leading in every single game. K-State missed opportunity; they got outscored by 14 points in the fourth quarter. Missouri haven't been able to stay healthy, but it's missed opportunities because the schedule was weak.
Coming up next, we will get to what's trending and then talk a little bit more about tonight's Monday Night Football game that you'll hear right here on 96.5 The Fan, our game predictions and what it could mean for the rest of this season and tomorrow's trade deadline. Next.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Storms coming through Kansas City tonight. There were some over the weekend, of course, too. This is when you find out whether or not your roof's okay. Century Roofing can take a look at that for you. If you've been hearing that drip, you're worried about that little water spot in the corner, don't wait. Don't wait till small problems become big problems, and work with a roofing company that's been putting roofs on Kansas City homes for 34 years. 34 years, over 30,000 roofs. Experts in hail damage, working with your insurance company. They'll handle all of those things from start to finish on your product. So whether it's a roof replacement or you just need some roof repairs like me, those things you can take care of. And why not work with a local company? I said they've been in Kansas City for a long time. They're also trying to do good, which matters, I think, as well. And when you're talking about companies you want to work with, you want companies that do good things in Kansas City and to continue to give some away the rest of the year to Operation Breakthrough this year. Go to Century Roofing and find out for yourself how you can make this better and be in better shape so your home is taken care of. Schedule your estimate today from KC-based and female-owned Century Roofing. Trust the pillars of strength. Go to centuryroofingkc.com and tell them that Cody sent you.
Men, this is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health. It seems like everything we hear these days is about political races, and yet there's a far more important race that you run for yourself every day. It's the race to be the best that you can be. But if your libido is low, if your workouts aren't productive, if you've got brain fog and you're tired all the time, you may feel like you're losing that race, and maybe even that your best days are behind you. But the truth is that they're likely not, because if you're feeling like this, it's probable you're simply suffering from low testosterone, a condition that affects a huge percentage of men as we age. At Heartland Men's Health, we're experts in treating low T. We've successfully treated thousands of men for the condition, and if you're like most guys, you'll start seeing results in just a few weeks. Better sleep patterns, higher energy, improved mental clarity, more productive workouts, and your libido will likely increase as well. So get back to winning your race by calling us. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on testosterone the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com.
Truck drivers, don't wait until 2025 to find a more reliable career. At Schneider, you'll enjoy reliable freight, a consistent schedule, the home time you want, and top quality driver support. No matter what kind of driving job or home time you're looking for, we have an opportunity for you. Plus, by driving for one of America's busiest carriers, you'll stay busy throughout the holiday season and into the new year. Don't wait. Search jobs near you and apply now at SchneiderJobs.com. That's SchneiderJobs.com.
Fall in the Midwest is pleasant. The air is crisp, the temperatures are mild, and all is right with the world. But every one of you knows that lurking around the corner is creepy old man Winter. He wants to come into your home, put his feet up on the couch, and take over the remote. That's why you need to replace your drafty old windows with triple glass replacement windows from Thermo King. Triple glass? But weren't you told that double glass windows were all you'd ever need? Think again. Triple glass windows offer double the insulating barriers against creepy old man Winter than double glass windows. And their super strong frames are guaranteed to never twist, warp, fade, or fail. And right now, Thermo King is selling their triple glass windows for the same price as double glass. Who would do such a thing? Thermo King, that's who. So don't let this beautiful weather fool you. Protect your home from creepy old man Winter and call Thermo King today. 888-KING-WIN or online at thermokingwindows.com.
Hey folks, I've got a couple of important questions for you. Do you know how much money you need to retire? Do you have a plan in place for your loved ones? If your answer is no, it's time to get your financial planning on track with UMB Private Wealth. It's never too late to start. Plus, their team supports you at every step of the planning process. Go to umb.com/privatewealth to schedule your appointment. That's umb.com/privatewealth. Why not start today?
Robinhood is introducing forecast contracts so you can trade the presidential election. Through Robinhood, you can now trade financial derivatives contracts on who will win the U.S. presidential election, Harris or Trump, and watch as contract prices react to real-time market sentiment. Each contract you own will pay $1 on January 8th, 2025 if that candidate is confirmed as the next U.S. president by Congress. Learn more about the presidential election contracts on Robinhood at robinhood.com/election. The risk of loss in trading commodities interest can be substantial. You should therefore carefully consider whether such trading is suitable for you in light of your financial condition. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Commodity interest trading is not appropriate for everyone. Displayed prices are based on real-time market sentiment. This event contract is offered by Robinhood Derivatives, a registered futures commission merchant and swap firm. Exchange and regulatory fees apply. Learn more at robinhood.com/election.
What if I told you that there was a single management software that could handle your CRM, accounting, manufacturing, marketing, inventory, sales, and everything in between for a fraction of the cost of the dozens of disconnected platforms most companies rely on to manage their business? Sounds pretty good, right? Well, that's Odoo. Odoo is the end-all, be-all for any business of any size, and it's ready to help your company reach the next level and beyond. Learn more at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Getting ready for more rain and longer nights? We've got you. Right now, you can earn up to $25 in bonus rewards when you buy 2 Sylvania Silver Star Ultra bulbs and 2 Rain-X Quantum Elite wiper blades. More rewards and better visibility at America's #1 lighting destination, AutoZone.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Offer valid for AutoZone Rewards members. Restrictions apply.
Balance of Nature supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
Well, I'm Phil Sims. I played pro football for 15 years. People always ask me, what am I doing now? And I've been teaching kids and trying to help them throw the football better. The confidence I can see in them, that's what makes it all worthwhile. And taking Balance of Nature makes me feel happy and just living a good life.
Go to balanceofnature.com and get 35% off with your first order as a preferred customer by using discount code
Phil.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. What's trending?
What's Trending is presented by Baker University, where graduates earn higher salaries and land jobs faster than any other university in Kansas. Apply today at bakeru.edu. Well, obviously, number one is the fact we got a football game tonight. Monday Night Football at Arrowhead, right here on 96.5 The Fan. Pre-game coverage starts at 4. Chiefs 9.5-point favorites against the Bucs, trying to stay undefeated, get to 8-0 before taking on the Broncos next week or later this week, I guess, in week 10 at that point of the season. The Bucs banged up heading into this one at the wide receiver spot, as we know. No Godwin, no Evans. For Kansas City, there will be no Juju Smith-Schuster. There will be no Najee Johnson. And they will try to get D-Hop going some more tonight.
Next up on What's Trending, local college basketball in general. Kicks off tonight. Kansas will take on Howard at 7. K-State versus New Orleans is tomorrow. MU and Memphis at 7 tonight. UMKC will start their season as well. Remember,
Hannibal LaGrange.
Number one preseason
You should
game.
go dressed as Hannibal to the UMKC game
tonight. I'll be on campus.
Dressed as Hannibal.
My class goes later than tip-off. You think I still get a good ticket to that game tonight?
Something tells me you can sit wherever you want, man.
I think they just
don't even need a ticket.
I think you can sit right behind the bench. They might even let you sit at the scorer's table.
And as a professor, I feel like you should be able to just walk in there and be like, hey, I'm a professor.
Excuse me,
your ID. You're good to go.
I teach one class here. Excuse me.
In fairness, they never gave me an ID.
What?
I need
Really?
that.
Did they actually give you a background check or not?
I don't think so.
You don't have anything that you like scan into the.
No.
How do you get in? I guess we shouldn't talk. You just walk right in?
To my classroom? They gave me a key.
Oh, okay. All right.
They gave me a key to the room.
The one you set the alarm off on and then ran away?
They gave me another key to a different room, so they gave me 2 keys.
A different room? An equipment room?
That key might work to the rec, too.
It's like a room where they do their television.
Have you talked to any of the other professors? Have you had any conversations with one other professor at all?
One other. His name was Steve Kraske. I spoke to him for a few minutes.
Yeah, I'm talking like you knew him before. I'm talking about like
Joshua Jackson. I spoke to him. Former TV guy around here. He's there. But he also I had to talk to him. It was like a meeting episode. So.
Oh, I had to talk to him.
Well, I didn't go out of my way to be like, yo, what's up? We've talked a couple times, you know. I haven't gone to any of the mixers yet. Should I go to like some of these like employee mixers? They'll have like little hey, we're gonna have like treats
middle
and snacks.
school, junior high?
I think they want us to know each other. Someone says, who holds class on opening night at college basketball? Well, I only have class 1 day a week.
The students want to get to the Ruse game, man. And there's Chiefs football on tonight, and you're holding class.
In fairness, I'm sure that KU had classes. Like, I had classes before, the same night as a college basketball. However, if it was later at night, and there's a lot of people who are.
At KU, when there was a basketball game, if I had an evening class.
You're not going.
Usually the professor would know, and they would let us out like an hour or so early to make sure we get to the game.
They're aware.
Someone says they don't give out passes to temporary professors. You're out after this year.
No, aren't you?
They already invited me back for next semester, jerk.
Nice.
Yeah, you're back for the spring semester.
Just as long as enough kids enroll, I'll be a two-semester teacher.
This all sounds fake and made up. Imaginary podcast class.
We need to go in and find your Rate My Professor in January.
I don't think I have a Rate My Professor.
I told you, all I ask
as soon as it's done.
At the end of the semester,
1 or 2 voluntary students.
1 or 2 students to come in studio, get a little radio experience, and I want them to the grades will already be submitted, and I just want their honest opinion on what their first opinion of you was right when you walked, what it was when you walked in, and just how the class went. Be honest. Was there a moment where you thought, what the hell is this guy talking about? What is he doing? He made a joke. It wasn't funny. Was it something like that?
Don't ask those. There's I cuss maybe too much in the class sometimes, so I got to be careful there. There's a couple kids who judge me for that. Moving on.
Yeah, where were we? How about award winners? Bobby Witt Jr., Seth Lugo, both winning Gold Glove awards yesterday. Also, Bobby and Salvi, finalists for the Silver Slugger Award. It's that time of the offseason for baseball where they tell us who won these awards for a season that ended a long time ago.
I mean, they're deserving of it. I'm glad that they got a couple of things, but yeah, I don't understand why they wait so long to do their awards. Next up on What's Trending, NFL news. Christian McCaffrey returning to practice this week. CeeDee Lamb has a sprained AC joint. They're saying there's still a chance he could play this Sunday against the Eagles despite that. But Dak Prescott, his quarterback, is out several weeks, quote, several weeks, due to hamstring injury. He's still waiting on some further testing and a second opinion on proper precaution moving forward.
Lastly, this one for those of you in Lee Summit, going to be excited. I'm sure Dusty's fired up. Downtown Lee Summit, expected to turn into a merry Swift Miss Wonderland as fans prepare to celebrate Taylor Swift's birthday amid the holiday season.
Are you going to be there?
I will not. They said between 5 and 9 p.m. on Friday, December 13th, downtown Lee Summit will transform into the ultimate fan experience. one of the most anticipated events of the season.
I think I already have something on December 13th.
Pop-up bars are expected to pour "Look What You Made Me Brew" coffee, "Meet Me at Midnight" martinis, "Forever Winter" hot spice cider. Some of the drinks.
Is everyone else's schedule looking as bleak as mine the rest of the year?
It's
I already
bleak.
have something on
Busy
December 13th.
or bleak?
Busy.
Busy, yeah.
I already have something on December 13th.
And that is
So
Friday
like,
the 13th.
Do you
Is that-
keep? This is how I. This is how
unless you got your kids' activities and everything in there, yeah.
It's everything. It's work, school, whatever. December 13th. Already busy. Sorry, can't go.
No, it's not. It'll get busier. We're in the holidays. Like I said, got the wedding coming up to go to. Got the movie premiere for Hallmark Christmas movie at the end of the month. You know, there's gonna be so much media, I'm sure, to do that week. You know, yeah. And then Thanksgiving, right before that. Yeah, that's what's trending, by the way.
You're gonna have to give us an update in like December at all if you get a call, like not necessarily like a call back, but a call is in. Hey, we saw you in the Hallmark movie, and we like how you briskly walked.
Yeah, we like your walk.
We like you to come in for a trial.
We liked your fake conversation as you were walking down the street holding a shopping bag.
You're a
Alex does an audition. You either give him the role or he's not there.
That's right. That's right.
Not auditioning for your movie.
right.
You know?
It was like a long, grueling process to select me last time. You know, I submitted a photo of myself, and they said, "There you go, you're our guy."
They said, "Sure."
That's what it was.
You're in, man.
That's what it was. Yeah. No, that's coming up. We were actually talking before the show about trying to figure out if we're going to do any watch party thing. The problem is it's Thanksgiving weekend. That's the only hang up, I think, for trying to do something as a show or station. But it is November 30th on Hallmark.
So if we do something, we will let you know. We'd like to maybe get out in the public so
Someone
we can see the movie
says if
together.
you didn't spend so much time in Vegas, you'd have some more free time.
My third time in Vegas this year. Fourth for you. I don't have any other planned trips to Las Vegas.
As of right now, there is not a future scheduled trip at all. This is so.
Do you keep a calendar for yourself? It's just you.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but it's just through iPhone, just a pretty standard calendar / like some of it is events, some of it I still use as a reminder. I don't use the reminder app. I just put it all into the calendar with alerts.
I use reminders all the time.
Like
I
for
don't use the
example,
calendar.
like if we have like tomorrow, I'm doing a radio hit in Buffalo. Like I'll put a reminder in the calendar of that because that's that way I expect. Oh yeah, they're calling me at 3.
I do reminders for that. Calendars for I don't know more firm things.
I think if you have kids, so like having kids, you gotta have way more of that. Like I keep a calendar, but it's not nearly the same as if I had kids and dealing with their activities and trying to organize that stuff, you know?
It's impossible. There's not enough time in a day, man.
No. What do you see tonight looking like? Let's get to some of our predictions for the game.
Our predictions are, of course, brought to you by Volkswagen Lee Summit, where you could get a 0% APR deal for the next 60 months on any new car. Look, the truth is, I think that I don't know why it is, because I told you I'd been kind of wavering the last couple weeks. I'm really confident about this game. I'm kind of feeling blowout. I don't know why. My official prediction, I think, on our social media channel was like 28-13. I think it might be like 28-10, 30-10. I think that this is a really good matchup for Kansas City, especially considering the fact that they're down other weapons. The strength of their offense is in the play-action run game. Kansas City's done excellent in that. I think with teams like the Bucs, they often hit this bump in the road when they have suffered the amount of injuries they have, where they have to kind of like reset, come back down to earth, and then try to figure out a new way to win under Todd Bowles. I kind of feel like this is going to be that game for them. The only thing that throws me off is Baker's a pretty good big game quarterback. He likes to show up in some pretty big moments. I'll give him. So there's a chance he balls out. That's my only fear, is that they figure out a way to pass on an injured secondary. But for the most part, incredibly confident, way more than I probably should be.
Yeah, if he goes and has a good game, but who's he throwing to? I mean, Cade Otton will get his. I like the over for Cade Otton receiving tonight, 53.5 yards. That's been an issue, we know, going up against tight ends, but it hasn't really had an impact on any results. Let them get their yardage. That's cool. But he's throwing to, Trey Palmer and McMillan, Sterling Shepard. I mean, it's just at some point there's limitation. I think as long as the Chiefs defense holds up like they have all year against the run, and they limit Bucky Irving, who's capable of having a big play or two, if they do that, I'm not worried about Rachaad White. I know he's the local ties, which is a cool story and everything, but I think the Chiefs will hold them in check. I trust this defense. I think we all do. How can you not at this point? The official score I gave on our Instagram channel and everything was 28-10 26-18.
That's a weird score.
I felt like I was going to keep saying the same score over. So I went 26-18 instead of 27-20, which was last week's score, which I feel like is what it's going to be again. So I said, let's go 26-18. It has happened 10 times. It happened in the Monday Night Football game this past week with the Giants and Steelers. So it's not as uncommon as you think. It's happened 10 times.
I would have thought scoregami with that score.
Weird game, some field goals, maybe a 2-point conversion late because the Bucs are chasing the Chiefs a little bit. That's kind of how I see it playing out. I think Kareem Hunt will go and have success running it again because his Bucs yards per carry defense is his worst in the league. That's kind of where I'm at on this. So, 26-18, Kansas City does not cover, but they get the win.
Drew, what do you got?
I do think the Chiefs cover. I think it's going to be, I said 28-17. It's going to. I think it's another one of those where maybe they get a garbage touchdown. The Buccaneers do. It's comfortable. The defense does a really nice job of limiting what Baker is able to do. They might score a touchdown on the first drive and then not score again. I don't know. Or they score another one again. I mean, that is the theme basically for the Chiefs defense, where they give up the one and then they don't allow another.
I mean, the Monday Night Football game they had earlier this year, Saints, was 26-13. And they could have been in the 30s. Juju had the one pass batted up and it led to a Colin Saunders interception. That was the only time this year where it felt like they were in complete control. The Niners game ended up being a 10-point win, but there were still some dicey moments. I think this could be kind of a smooth, stress-free night. We'll see. Someone was asking about the weather. Does that impact? I mean, I think you lean on the run a little bit more, but it's not going to be super windy. So that's usually what impacts the passing game more than just rain. And by the time it gets to kickoff, it's supposed to, as of now, at least the hour by hour, it's supposed to kind of stop. Once they get in the game, it's more pregame. Could it delay the start of the game and things like that? The fun thing from a betting angle that someone just asked on the text line, you and I saw during the break, the most popular game special bet tonight is a long shot bet on, it sounds easy when you just say it out loud, Kareem Hunt and Bucky Irving, the two running backs tonight, to each have 10 yards rushing in each quarter. Okay? Sounds simple. Sounds
Simpler
so
probably than it is in execution. But
exactly. It's not that simple. And the reason why people are betting it is because it's like 100-1 or something tonight. So, yes, you could bet $10 to win $1,000. Bucky Irving and Kareem Hunt to each record 10 rushing yards in each quarter.
The Bucky Irving one's the way harder part of that.
Yes.
What's the leading rusher gotten on Kansas City this year? 50 yards total?
Yeah, it's tough.
So you need Bucky Irving to just get that like in equal doses.
Yeah, it is. It is really, really tough to see that happening. But I get why someone would take a $5 flyer to win $500 on. You hope, but that's the thing. Kareem Hunt could have 80, 90 yards rushing tonight, but does he just get 40 yards in the third quarter and didn't get any? Only had 8 yards in the fourth or something. That's the challenge here. 913-586-7965. Someone did ask, pop quiz. Can any of you name the Bucs receiver that once said he was faster than Tyreek Hill? Wasn't that Scotty Miller?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I think that was Scotty Miller. Anyway,
that was back when Tom Brady was quarterback. I think is when that came out.
My final answer is Scotty Miller.
I refuse to believe that was a serious statement at the time.
But I think that's the player. You can let me know on whoever texts that in.
If you're wrong or not. By the way, one other thing to look forward to the game tonight, NFL on ESPN, they are asking for any Andy Reid lookalike to show up to section 103, 104 at 6 o'clock tonight. Because the NFL, they want the countdown crew to decide who the best fake Andy Reid is.
I think
so. Very important. 6 o'clock tonight, ESPN is making a formal decision.
There's one.
On who is the best fake Andy Reid.
There is definitely one. There's some of you that, hey, good effort, good try. Maybe you're a little skinnier. Maybe you got your face just doesn't have the same shape to it. There's one individual
you don't quite have the voice nailed
that
down.
has come to our events before as well. That to me is the best fake Andy Reid. And I hope that individual goes to the game tonight.
We had him give some strategy at the Super Bowl in Vegas.
That's right. That's
your fake Andy Reid. You ride or die with one fake Andy Reid.
That's who should win. And I don't know his actual name. I think it's Matt, but I could be wrong. That is who should win this. Hopefully he's going to the game tonight, and hopefully he knows about this. I'm sure.
Maybe it was a new contender. Maybe it's just a guy who people always told him he looked like it, or he grows a great gray mustache.
The only way he loses is if some kid shows up, maybe a younger kid that's a little chunkier, but they make the kid look. That might win. That could win just because, it's a kid, it's doing it. Otherwise, this other guy should win.
Kid or baby is going to be tough to beat.
But if someone brings a baby that's got a little baby fat, dressed up as Andy Reid, that kid could win
with
this.
Like a fake mustache?
Yeah. Well, obviously be a fake mustache. Yes.
I mean, there are genetic disorders that could cause a kid to be hairy.
I would be surprised though if the 5-year-old had a full mustache. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I haven't seen.
When could you start growing a mustache? You know,
I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
You had a pretty thick beard. I'm guessing your beard started coming in early.
Yeah, but no, there was not junior high or anything. There was a kid at junior high who was like had to shave multiple times.
The kid who used to buy his beer in high school, he was like balding and had a full beard.
Hang on,
that guy.
Those kids were not actually their age.
I didn't have.
There's no way.
The kid in my school, he was like, he was 16. He wasn't making it up.
If you're,
some people bald early, dude.
Yeah, there was a kid in our junior high. He was in junior high, and he was balding and already was shaving all the time. In junior high. Now, I don't think. Yeah, you said my beard is thick now.
They're not trying to sign a baseball contract out of the Dominican Republic, dude. They're not like making it up for Major League Baseball teams.
Oh, you're talking about
middle schoolers.
Yeah,
I think that was out of.
Yeah. The way that I was referencing is that person might not have been 16.
Yeah, I don't know.
What do you think? Like, I went to school with some random high schooler who's making it up. I don't think that kid made it up. I think that was his look, and which meant they didn't ask any questions at the liquor store.
Yeah.
Oh, of course not.
That was until I had a fake. You had a fake ID in college.
In college,
I never have had a fake ID, which is
really.
I think now you got to get them overseas. I think and stuff. People are saying because they all have to scan and everything. It's a little bit different. There's more security features on the IDs. It was a little bit easier back in the day to fake them. So I'm told.
They put them in like a machine or something now.
I think they did machine back then too. They were made by a machine back then as well.
Friends had fake IDs.
Scannable. Yeah.
Mine weren't. When I
it was a good old state of Texas.
Was it Alex Gold? Was that your name on it?
No, hell no.
I didn't know. You can put your real name?
No.
What do you remember what it was?
Wait, did I? Actually, you know what? No, I did have my real name on it
the
because
good ones had your real name.
Yeah, had the real name, had the real photo on it. It was in Denton, Texas, was the city and state.
Oh, it's where North Texas.
No
is.
accent.
It's a Dallas suburb.
You didn't have an accent, even though you were from Denton.
A drawl?
No.
Oh.
No.
Seems a little.
Told you, only place I ever had an issue was Ames, Iowa.
I feel like
that college town was the only place that gave me a little bit of a problem with it.
Ames,
Iowa. Halloween in Ames, Iowa.
Ames.
The guy almost took it.
You said toddlers?
Yeah. I didn't think Iowa stopped anyone from drinking. I just thought it
Ames,
was like
Iowa. That was
served at
bar. One of the bounce. Yeah.
Somebody from the text line brings up a good point. They're going to determine the winner of the Andy Reid thing by saying whoever can say Bundle Rooski the best, like Andy Reid.
Bundle Rooski.
That commercial, man.
Mm-hmm. You like that one. You brought that up. This is the third time you brought that up in the last couple of shows. You like that commercial, don't you?
I don't
Andy's
like it
pretty
very
good in
much. Andy's very good in the commercials, but I don't.
I didn't know if that was just something that you would pay for.
Pay for that pleasure?
Not that.
No.
It's your turn, Gold, to say pleasure now in an awkward scenario. You're up next.
Someone says Alex McLuffin. Now that was. Hope everybody has a good rest of the day. Stay safe out there. Seriously, if you're going to the game tonight, I know there's supposed to be some thunderstorms during tailgating, so be safe this afternoon, early evening. We're back at it tomorrow talking about hopefully a team getting to 8-0 on the season. It'll also be trade deadline Tuesday, so a lot coming your way. But for now, we hand things off to C-Dot and Rob right here on 96.5 The Fan.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Right now, 38 states allow sports betting, including 7 of Missouri's neighboring states. Amendment 2 gives Missouri sports fans the freedom to bet on games too, and that will generate over $100 million for our schools. Amendment 2 is endorsed by the Chiefs, Cardinals, Royals, Blues, and Missouri's 2 biggest newspapers, the St. Louis Post-Dispatch and the Kansas City Star. Here's Hall of Famer Ozzie Smith asking you to vote yes on 2.
Back in my day, I was the wizard of the infield. Now, I'm a grandfather. That's why I'm voting yes on Amendment 2. It means over $100 million for Missouri schools and teachers, and no more broken promises. There's a constitutional guarantee that the money goes to our schools, and legalizing sports betting is great for us fans too. That's why the Royals, Chiefs, Blues, and Cardinals all join me in saying yes on Amendment 2.
Paid for by Winning for Missouri Education, Mike Pridmore, Treasurer.
Hey everyone in Kansas City. This is Chris Hodge, the longtime host of Sports Investors Daily, which you hear every Saturday and Sunday morning, which is sponsored by TakingVegas.com. We have a big free pick tonight between Tampa Bay and Kansas City. It is available on our text line. Just text the word WIN to the number 545454. Again, text the word WIN to the number 545454. You get this play absolutely free. Not only will you receive this pick, you will also get a big NBA play